Welcome, sweaties, to my most important video series that I'm going to make. Hey, sorry if you've never seen my face before. My name is Hannah. Hang on, I'm frothing at the mouth. Well, let's address it. I've been wanting to do this forever. Really, since I started the breakdown series. I don't know why, I jumped in with American Horror Story. That was my first go at everything. And that worked out okay. I had no idea what I was doing. I still don't know really what I'm doing. Whatever, you guys seem to like these. I like doing them, for the most part. To be honest with you, I did the Hunger Games series as kind of like a test almost to see if I could handle doing a book series. It did take a lot out of me. I was pretty mentally drained, but I felt very fulfilled when I was done with it. And I'm so glad because there were so many of you guys that hadn't read the series before or weren't really into it when it was really hitting the scene. You got into it watching my videos. I really wanted to test the waters first because I wanted to do this series right, because this is going to be my Harry Potter breakdown series. I'm gonna break down while doing this series. I have been a Harry Potter fan since birth. The first one came out in like 97. So I was a year old. I couldn't even read at that point. That'd be very impressive if I could read. Harry Potter's always been in my life. That boy has been in my life. My whole family is obsessed with this. My very first tattoo was a Deathly Hallows tattoo.
I will clarify and say,
I only really pay attention to the Harry Potter verse. I don't really like Fantastic Beasts. Yeah, I'll say it. I don't like it. It's not that I don't like it. I just don't care about it. I don't really care about like the Cursed Child. It's just not me. I'm very content with the 7 books we have here. My area of expertise is within these 7 books right here. And we are going to talk about every single one of them, and I don't care what you think because I love this series so much. I realized when I set this whole thing up that I was trying to make this look all really aesthetic and cute. I actually did make a video of how this whole thing behind me came to be. Want to see that? Well, there's a card somewhere. I guess I'll upload it right after I upload this one. I don't know when it's coming out. Don't look at me. I don't know. But I didn't angle this right because I put on a Harry Potter shirt because I've got plenty and you can't even see it. I'll show you. Hogwarts alumni. And I do have my Ravenclaw robe from Party City. I actually bought this in a vlog when we went to Universal. Me and Maddie went and they wanted $100 for a damn robe at Universal. I said, I'm going to Party City. I need to address the elephant in the room. Thanks a lot, author. I'm just going to refer to them as the author. It's just embarrassing, okay? You had such a great series and a great franchise on your hands. You went and ran your damn mouth. Kind of a touchy subject with the author of these books. Completely understand. I want you to know I don't agree with anything that they have said in recent years. Their views on other people, I don't, I want this channel to be a place everybody can come to and enjoy things and we can talk about series and escapism. I use Harry Potter all the time as my means of escapism and imagination. And I know not everybody's able to, but I am able to separate art from the artist. With this series, my childhood has always involved Harry Potter and it's a source of nostalgia for me and it's a comfort. I find it hard to just forget all about it because of what the author has since said. If you're not able to separate art from the artist, this may not be the series for you. With that being said, I also really wanted to go ahead and get these videos started and rocking and rolling because another elephant in the room, we've got a brand new series coming out at the end of this year. Never watched or read or had anything to do with Harry Potter. It may not make sense what I'm gonna say. We already have 8 movies. We've done it. I know not everybody is a fan of the movies. It's split 50-50. Some people are really not into the movies at all. I think that's just gonna happen with any kind of book series. Some people, like me, love it. I love the movies. I marathon them at least 3 times a year, at the very least. Frustrating to me that we're getting a whole series. We already have this condensed into 8 movies. Maybe if we wanted to revisit this years, and I mean years from now, okay, but you know what we really should have gotten is a Marauder show. Why? We could have had 7 seasons of all of their parents' friends going through school. Show us that. It's kind of a catch-22 because I do think that the author would be the only one that could really accurately tell us the story. And we don't need anything else from her. I'm sure somebody else could pick up a pen and start writing, right? If I'm being honest with you, I think it's a wasted opportunity to not do a Marauder show. And that's all I'll say. The new series coming out, I am going to be violently hyper-fixated critical over this show. I'm going through with a fine-tooth comb. And it's nothing against like the cast. I really actually don't have a problem with the casting. We'll talk more about choices that were made for the new show once we get to some characters. Okay, well, you know how I feel. I feel like I could go on like a 10-15 minute rant about how much I love this series so much. I would take my books off the shelf to show you. She's pretty thick. It's a chunky series, especially when we get to 4 and over. But we're gonna start. Oh my god, I had it all set up right. I had to around. One that started it all. Now, if you don't know, I am an American. If you couldn't tell, and the way the first book was marketed to me and my peers was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I guess it was thought that we over here in the States wouldn't understand Philosopher's Stone, and Sorcerer's Stone sounds more mythical and kind of spooky, oogie, kooky. And while I'm talking about our notes, and I'm going to refer to it as the Sorcerer's Stone, it's just because that's what I've always known it as, is the one that started it all. Maybe I should tell you the synopsis in case this is your first time experiencing Harry Potter. I feel like everybody in the world pretty much has an idea of what Harry Potter is. If you've never experienced the greatness that is the Harry Potter series, allow me to read it to you. Harry Potter never played a sport while flying on a Alright, we're gonna start that. Take two. Harry Potter has never played a sport while flying on a broomstick. He's never worn a cloak of invisibility, befriended a giant, or helped hatch a dragon. All Harry knows is a miserable life with the Dursleys. Harry's room is a tiny closet at the foot of the stairs, and he hasn't had a birthday party in 11 years. But then a mysterious letter arrives by owl messenger, a letter with an invitation to an incredible place called Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, and there he finds not only friends, aerial sports, and magic around every corner, but a great destiny that's been waiting for him if Harry can survive the encounter. Oh my god, I'm gonna kill myself. Right. Got a boy, doesn't know he's a wizard, extremely famous, but he has no idea. There's a whole nother world that everybody knows his name in that world. Oh my god, it's so exciting. It's so exciting.
I'm so excited!
If you hear my chair, okay, now it doesn't want to do it. If you hear my chair moaning and groaning, sorry. Yeah, I'm sitting down for this series. In series past, I was walking back and forth using a bulletin board. First of all, I took my bulletin board down last time. I ripped a whole chunk of paint out of the wall. It's not that big, but it's big enough that you could see it. Changing it up, I've got my camera set up on a table. I've got space in front of me. I'm sitting down. I've got my microphone stand right here, so hopefully you don't hear all that and shaking it and shit. Now I don't know what to do with my hands. Alright, I think I've covered everything. Quit my whistle. I know it's not a Diet Coke today. I got to have my sodies, but I'm trying to do clear sodies. My kidneys were hurting. It's my treat to myself, and it also wakes me up. For some fucking reason, I decided to start this at 11:30 at night. Each of these chapters are actually named. Chapter 1, The Boy Who Lived. The boy who lived, come to die. I hope that wasn't spoiling it. I really find it hard to believe, though, that some people out there don't know shit about this series. I feel like there's a tier system where it's a nerd level like me. You're like a total fanatic freak and you know every single fine detail about it. Second tier where it's like, I read the books when I was a kid and I watched the movies from time to time. Then there's the ones that only have seen the movies, still enjoy it. You don't know everything that's going on. If you didn't know what was happening in the books, you may not catch it on the movie. And then there's people at the very bottom who've never picked up the books, never turned on the movie. So allow me to explain it to you. I'm gonna point out so many details. It comes time to watch the new show. We know what to look for. Each season is going to be one book, and they said that they are going to put every detail from the books in the series. So I'm looking for it. I didn't print out pictures this time, revolutionary, but I'm going to put them up on the screen so you know who I'm talking about. Don't you worry, sweaty. Anyway, chapter 1, it's Halloween. Well, we're actually starting in like 1981 on this day. If you're just watching the movies, maybe you wouldn't have noticed, but it takes place in the 90s. That's not really like a big plot point. I guess it is if you want to try and subtract years when we're trying to figure out timelines and stuff, how old people might be, but it's Halloween. First meeting, the Dursleys. We got Vernon Dursley and Petunia Dursley, and they have a son named Dudley. He doesn't look like this at this point in the story when we first open up with this chapter. He's a baby. In Surrey, little whinging Surrey. I wrote, they were very plain, boring people who did not like anything out of the ordinary, like very cookie cutter. You look at Privet Drive, every house is exactly the same, everything in order, everything's got a place. They don't want to draw attention to themselves with being bizarre. Vernon's a director of a firm called Grunnings, and they make drill parts, boring, snore, and he's a very fat walrus. He's a very large man, really thick mustache, but I'm thinking of a walrus kind of mustache, no neck, very round, gray, like a total bubble of a person. And he's very rude and nasty, stinky man. Petunia Dursley, she is a skinny mini, long necked. I picture the other mother from Coraline when she gets really scary. Skinny limbs, long neck to spy on her neighbors. She's a housewife. Their son Dudley Dursley, is about a year old, maybe a year and some change. He's just in a tantrum 100% of the time. Throwing things, he beats up his parents. Like on the outside, everything is done by the book, paint by numbers, and they would like to keep it that way, but they have a secret. And it's mainly Petunia. She has got a sister whose name is Lily Potter. She's married to a James Potter, and they have a son named Harry Potter. Harry is about the same age, Dudley, God bless, as Dudley. But Petunia does not speak with her sister because they're different. You hear my chair? Her and that James Potter live a more colorful lifestyle, and the Dursleys are like, A white refrigerator? I put that the Dursleys have never even met Harry, not even totally sure that that's his name. They're like, I think his name is Harry, Harris, or Harvey, or something like that. I've never met that kid in my life, and I don't plan on it. I don't even bother with them at all. Tuesday morning, Mr. Dursley wakes up, he kisses his wife. He's like, I'm going to work, bitch. I'm leaving. I'm going to work. Dudley's in his high chair having a fit. Petunia's trying to feed him. What he didn't see before he leaves is there was an owl flying by his window. Something like that one. He didn't see it though because he was distracted with saying goodbye to his lady. When he was leaving Privet Drive, he also saw a cat staring at a map. It looked like it was reading a map, but he's like, we don't have a map. And cats can't read, so he drives off. The cat was there, and the cat was looking at stuff. But we'll come back to that. He's noticing people out on the street are dressed very odd. Velvet robes, they're colorful, they're very flamboyant, they look very happy, God forbid. He's just like, what is this? What the hell is this? He's at work, doing stuff for drills. This is what I'm expecting to see. He's sitting away from the window. I want to see owls swooping behind, not seeing what's going on behind him. Owls are swarming everywhere. What the hell? At lunchtime, he goes across the street to the bakery. He bumps into one of these weird looking people that's wearing a robe, and then he took a good look at him and he was like, ugh, don't touch me, I'm gonna get cooties. And the person says, oh, don't worry, you muggle. Vernon is like, what'd you call me? What the you call me? The person that ran into him, he was like, it's totally fine, we're having such an amazing day, even you muggles can celebrate with us, isn't this great? And of course Vernon is like, what? Well, he hears a group of people talking and they're mentioning, what did they say? He passed by a group of the oddly dressed people and heard them saying the name Potter and their son Harry, trying to convince himself that it was not the same Harry Potter and James Potter and Lily Potter. Actually, I don't even know what my nephew's name really is, so it couldn't be him. No, it's not him. He didn't even bother telling his wife. He didn't bother calling her and asking like, hey bitch, have you been hearing shit about your sister? Because I just heard somebody say her name. I don't know, we might want to look into it. He didn't even bother with that. I didn't hear Potter at all. I'm just making this up. He's trying to deny. Denial is a river in Egypt. Your husband is gay.
Your husband is gay!
Comes back home. Now this time the cat is in front of the Dursleys' house, sitting on the garden wall. And he tries to shoo it away. It's just sitting there like... Vernon is watching the very end of the nightly news where they're making reports about owls suddenly are flying all over Britain and we don't know why. Scientists are saying like this is not in their flight pattern. They don't usually migrate here. This is weird. POV, I'm the news reporter. Y'all, this is just weird. I don't know what's going on. Don't ask me. And then they're saying there's random shooting stars all over the sky. What is happening? Petunia comes in. Vernon is like, do you think this has anything to do with your sister? Because I heard some people saying the name Potter. Petunia gets very anxious and very worked up. And she's like, what do you mean? This has nothing to do with them. Well, I just thought it might have something to do with their kind of people. You already know. I'm trying to be dramatic. I didn't speak any more of it. They go to bed. Now, what's happening outside? Somebody comes to the end of Privet Drive. An old man. An old geezer. He's got half-moon glasses, long silver hair, purple robes, beard that went past his waist, his half-moon glasses set on his long crooked nose. Okay, Jonathan Lithgow? Lord Farquaad? I'm expecting to see a prosthetic nose, but nothing too gimmicky, and you need to have half-moon glasses sitting at the crook. Well, anyway, if you couldn't guess, this is Albus Dumbledore. Out of thin air, pretty much. Nobody really knows how he got there. And he pulls out this little silver, looks like a cigarette lighter, and he goes like, tink! It sucks all the lights out of the street lights on Privet Drive. Dark as hell. Nobody can be spying out there. And he says hello to the cat. Oh, I thought I'd see you here, Professor McGonagall. Look over at the cat. She's not a cat anymore. It's a woman. Professor McGonagall. Square glasses that are supposed to mimic her fur as a cat, okay? I'm looking for that. Emerald green robes, black hair slicked back into a bun. He says, you should be out celebrating with everybody else. I'll tell you, don't you worry. She's like, no, I'm good. That people of their kind are being way too careless. Muggles are going to start picking up on it. They already are because they're doing news reports on the owls, seeing the shooting stars, the icing on the cake. If Muggles found out about our kind the same day that you-know-who disappears. Who the hell is you-know-who? I do have a microphone right here. I don't know why I use that as a microphone. You-know-who? Well, I think everybody knows who he is. Well, she looks at Dumbledore and she's like, did it really happen? Is he really gone? And he says, well, it seems that he's gone. Dumbledore, you'll find he speaks in riddles. He's a funny man. Okay, I'm really looking for Dumbledore to be very, very funny. When we get to book 6, maybe Order of the Phoenix, the 5th one, it gets very serious. Trying to talk about you-know-who, and he's like, I really wish y'all would grow some f***ing balls. He doesn't say that. I embellished that to use this man's name. His name is Voldemort. lightning strikes. What if I said that and like all my power went out? Okay, this is what he's gonna look like eventually. He doesn't look like this until we get to book 4. She says, well, you've never been afraid to say his name because he's always been afraid of you. What? And then he tries to explain that Voldemort has powers that he'll never have. Okay, they're wizards. Not trying to be dramatic anymore. And Voldemort, he becomes the darkest wizard that ever lived. Professor McGonagall is saying, you have all these powers, you just don't use them like he does. This is what has happened, okay? This is why everybody's celebrating. Partly. Catch-22. It's a bittersweet moment. She asks if the rumors are true, and he's like, yeah. Voldemort, on this night. Actually, I don't know if it happened this night. Where we are at the chapter, like when McGonagall and Dumbledore are talking, I'm not sure if it's the next night. So it could be November 1st. It doesn't really matter. But the events that I'm going to tell you happened on Halloween night, 1980 or 1981. I'll correct myself. Big fan right here. Voldemort goes to a place called Godric's Hollow. This is where the Potters live. Oh my gosh. Already. I want to tell you something so bad, but I can't. I would jump ahead like 5 books. It's not a random house. He wasn't just walking down the street and just happened to be like, I think I'm going in there. It was calculated. He went there, killed the Potters, and he was gonna kill Harry, but something happened. Nobody knows really what happened. Voldemort doesn't even know what happened. The rumors are saying that Voldemort tried to kill Harry as well, but it didn't work. He couldn't kill him, and when he failed, his powers broke, and that's why he's gone. After all the people that he's killed already, how can this be, and how did Harry survive? And Dumbledore tells her, we may never know. That's the events that have happened. So people are celebrating because they're like, oh, finally, he's gone. Oh, we can breathe. This reign of tyranny is over. They've been dealing with this dark wizard for 11 years, but it's also sad because the Potters have died. Okay, another thing I'm looking for. He pulled out a strange looking pocket watch with 12 hands on it, no numbers. Outside has planets spinning around it. If these little details are not in the show, I am going to contact Mr. HBO. Hagrid is running late. Hagrid is the one that told McGonagall that Albus was coming. Hagrid is bringing Harry to Privet Drive to live with his aunt and uncle because he has no more living relatives. They're his only living relatives that they know about. Hagrid's bringing him to the Dursleys to live until he's ready to go to Hogwarts and be a wizard. Hopefully. That was quite a gamble because he could be a squib. A squib is somebody that is born from magical parents that never gets their powers. Dumbledore is like, he's gonna stay here until he's old enough to come to Hogwarts. Well, McGonagall is like, I have watched these people all day and they suck. Meanie, beanie, fofini are the worst. Dursleys are just particularly nasty. You're mean and nasty, and I don't like you.
Insides are dark and nasty, and I don't like you.
We should have him grow up with people like us, someone of our kind. He's gonna be famous in our world. He's already famous. There's a line in the book where she says something like, one day every child in the world will know his name. She says that's exactly why he needs to stay here, because growing up around all that, around something so normal, it's painful. I guess he had the foresight to know that this is going to build character for him. It's going to be a shock when he finds out everything, but whatever. Oh well, we'll figure it out when we get there. Do you think it's wise to trust Harry, a baby, with Hagrid? And he's like, I would trust Hagrid with my life. Hagrid's a sweetie. He's a sweet pea. His heart's in the right place, but sometimes he can be careless. Okay, yeah. Okay. And, well, just then we hear a and he's coming in hot. He's coming in on a motorbike.
Y'all rode Hagrid's motorbike adventure at Universal Studios?
It is the best ride there. He's coming out of the sky. They fly here on a motorbike with a sidecar. And he lands and he says, I got the motorbike from a Sirius Black. He lent it to me. Oh. Hagrid, description for him, twice the size of a normal man. His face was covered in wiry black hair. His eyes are like 2 beetles, I think is how they describe it. Black beetles. Black beetles in the city. His hands are the size of trash can lids. His feet are the size of baby dolphins. In other words, a giant. We'll find out he's half giant. He's quite a large person. The Potter's house was destroyed, but he was able to get Harry out before all the neighbors started coming over and picking through everything. I don't know, if a wizard dies, how do you explain that? Paramedics are going to show up. We're going to see a house blown up and destroyed. They're going to be like, what is the crime? How did this happen? And what do they test for? Autopsy. What do you say? They both just had heart attacks and died. But whatever, we never find out. These are the things I think about. I'm like, logically, how would this work out in the Muggle world? Hagrid hands over Harry. They look at Harry and he's got a scar on his forehead. It looks like it's in the shape of a lightning bolt. Hang on, let me grab my wand. It's a curse. The shape of his scar is the wand movement for the curse. Hagrid gives him one last kiss on the cheek. He starts wailing like a dog. Dumbledore sets Harry down on the stoop. Honestly, he might have had a better chance of taking him to the fire department and leaving him in a basket. And he puts a letter with him. And the letter explains explains to the Dursleys what has happened and what he's expecting the Dursleys to do. McGonagall's asking if there's anything they can do for the scar. Oh, and this is so... Oh! Dumbledore says, sometimes scars come in handy. And howdy do they in this story. Dumbledore is like, you two should go ahead and head off and join the festivities. Hagrid is like, no, I think I'm just gonna go take the motorbike back to Sirius Black. Dumbledore tells McGonagall bye. We'll be seeing you soon, I'm sure. They're about to go back to school. She's a professor at Hogwarts. Dumbledore is the headmaster of Hogwarts. And then Hagrid is the groundskeeper. He goes to the end of the street. He takes out that silver cigarette lighter, flips it open. All the lights go back to their respective street lamps. I basically wrote it almost word for word in the chapter. No one on Privet Drive would be able to know the astonishing things yet to come. Harry would have no idea how famous he was from that very night, that all over the country people were holding up drinks and cheering his name, Harry Potter, the boy who lived. Chapter 2, The Vanishing Glass. 10 years later, Harry is now almost 11 years old. Dursleys have taken him in. The only thing in the Dursleys' homes that has changed since 10 years prior were the pictures in the frame, all of Dudley as he's gotten older throughout the years, but nothing to show that there's another child living in the home. They don't care about Harry. I'm surprised he was still alive. If I'm being honest with you, they did the absolute bare minimum of taking care of him. Describing Dudley now that he's older too, and actually this day is his birthday, his 11th birthday. Very round human being. He's a fat blonde kid whose favorite hobbies is beating up Harry and beating up everybody. He beats up all kids. Only if they could catch Harry, because Harry is very fast, and that's going to come into play when he actually gets to Hogwarts. He's very fast. He's very skinny legend. He wears thick glasses, round glasses like this. Oh, my back. Like, ow, shit. He wears glasses like these. Oh, these are filthy. And that's another thing too. How do you get the glasses? But if he was like, hey, I really can't see shit. Telling his aunt and uncle, like, you guys, I can't see anything. I bet that they would just really be like, okay, what do you want us to do about it? I can't imagine they would take him to an eye doctor. Probably went somewhere and found something lying at the bottom of a basket, and they were like, oh, here, try these. Harry, he's sleeping in the cupboard underneath the stairs. He's sleeping in a fucking closet, and that's where his room has been since he got there. His Aunt Petunia comes by, whacking on the door. Get up, you fat lard. Tina, you fat lard, come get your dinner.
Tina, you fat lard, come get some dinner.
So she's like, get up, you fat bastard. I need you to come in here and cook Dudley's breakfast for his birthday. Harry's like, ugh. I was having the best dream. I was having a dream, a motorcycle, and it was flying. I wrote a little description of what Harry looks like when we actually meet him, not in baby form. All Harry had was hand-me-down clothes from Dudley that were so large it looked like they swallowed him whole. He wore a pair of round glasses that were held together with tape from Dudley punching him so many times. He had knobby knees and green eyes. The one thing he liked about his appearance was his scar. He asked it when he was real little how he got the scar. He was told from Petunia. He says it's from the car crash that killed your father and your mother. Now, ma'am, now that is not true. She didn't want to explain. They've never uttered anything about wizardry, magic, sorcery, philosophy. They really try to shun him away from tomfoolery. Anything to do with magic, they're A thing that was not really pointed out much in movies. I saw a little clip in the trailer that I think they're going to acknowledge it. One thing about Harry, his hair is crazy. Major cowlicks going on. Picturing his hair completely just spiked and flailing out at every point. Uncle Vernon comes in and he grunts and he's like, you need to cut your hair. Get a haircut, you punk. No matter what Harry did to his hair, it wouldn't behave. Years after the series came out, there's a website called Pottermore. I don't know if things have changed, but at the time, it was like where you could get the most in-depth quizzes of your house and your Patronus. I'll talk about that. Your wand. It was said on the website that Harry's grandfather, I think his name was Fleetmont, the inventor of hair care products, Sleek Easy's hair potion. And this would be on his father's side. And I was like, I wonder if Harry's dad named him Harry because of hair products, and his hair is all crazy. Kitchen table is stacked high and low. That doesn't make sense. Presents for Dudley. Spoiled rotten. He starts hooting and hollering that he doesn't have as many presents as he did last year. He's like, what the fuck? Who do you think I am? I work day and night. I have had it up to here. Mom is like, yes, sir. His father is like, that's my boy. Asking for more, wanting his money's worth. A phone call comes in. Petunia answers it. She's like, are you kidding? Are you for real? Hangs it up. Comes back over. She says, Vernon, Mrs. Fig broke her leg. Their neighbor is Mrs. Fig. Harry was supposed to go stay with her while the rest of them and Dudley's friend Piers, whatever, it really doesn't matter. All of them were going to go to the zoo for Dudley's birthday. We're going to leave Harry with Mrs. Fig. They always dump him there when they don't want to travel with him. I really don't want to go over there. She always has to tell me about her damn cats. I don't care about your cat and your house smells weird. Harry's like, oh, I can just stay at home because he doesn't want to go either. He's like, I don't want to be around you guys. Be alone in the house. I could watch TV. I could sit on the couch, kick up my legs and drink a soda. But they're like, if you think we are that stupid to let you sit here alone, unsupervised without us, you're a fool. You got another storm coming. Petunia's like, well, I mean, he can come with us and we can just leave him in the car. Vernon says, that is a new car out there. I am not letting him sit in the car to destroy it. There has been no indication that Harry has been violent. Instances have happened with Harry in the past. It's all signs are pointing to him being a wizard, but they don't want to admit that. They're like, they take that as him being violent and just unpredictable. Dudley starts crying and bitching and complaining. He's ruining the fucking day. He's ruining my life. His friend Piers comes over and he shuts off the waterworks and he's like, no, I'm fine. Long story long, they just say, fine, Harry, you can go. Get over here. Get your ass over here. If there's any fucking funny business while we're out and about, you are not getting a meal until Christmas. And so Harry's like, all right, damn. So this is where Harry starts to explain, well, Harry, it's a third person narrator. Odd events did happen around Harry quite often that were unexplained. And one of the things, a little clip of it in the new series, Petunia was trying to give him a haircut. Anytime they went to go get a haircut for him, they wouldn't cut enough or grow back too quick. And she was getting fed the up. So she was like, fine, I'll do it. Damn near scalped him. But she left a little bit in the front to cover up his scar because she didn't want to see the scar. Overnight, he was so embarrassed because he was like, oh my God, I can't go to school like this. This is so humiliating. Wakes up the next morning and all of his hair is grown back. And Petunia's like, you're grounded. One time she was trying to put an old sweater of Dudley's on. I was not wanting to wear it. It was like well, actually, I'll tell you what it was. Brown with orange pom-poms, and the harder she tried to get it over his head, the more it shrunk. Got to be the size big enough for a sock puppet. Said it must have shrunk in the dryer. It was just because he didn't want to wear it. One other time, Dudley and his buddies, Piers being one of them, they were chasing Harry, were running around the school. He tried to jump behind some trash cans, and when he did that and looked around, he was sitting on top of the roof, sitting on the side of the chimney. I don't know how I got up here. So his headmistress at that school wrote home saying that he had snuck up onto the roof. Weird things were happening. On the car ride over to the zoo, Vernon, he was complaining about motorcycles, quite the abundance of motorcycles out. And Harry just mentions, you know, I had a funny dream about a motorcycle last night. It was flying. And Vernon slams on the brakes, turns around, and he's like,
Motorcycles don't fly.
you idiot. That's impossible. Well, they get to the zoo. For the majority of the day, Harry's like, this was actually the best day of my life, which is setting the bars so low. They go to an ice cream truck, and Dudley and his friend get a nice 10-foot tall ice cream cone. Vernon and Petunia are trying to hurry the group along, but the lady's like, does he want one too? And Vernon's like, fine. They give him like a cheap lemon pop. I'm expecting like a push pop. They give that to Harry, and he's like, this is the best. Distance away from everybody because Piers and Dudley get bored, then they won't come after him to beat him up in the meantime. Can you imagine if they just were in the middle of the zoo and they just were like, you know what? This. They go into the reptile house, the biggest snake, a boa constrictor laid over top of some logs. It's not moving, it's asleep. Vernon starts beating up on the glass. Wake up, Tubby. Time to perform. The snake doesn't move at all. Everybody disperses. Harry goes up to it, and the snake lifts his head up and gives him a wink. What? And so Harry's like, and he winks back. The snake motions over to the Dursleys, giving him a look like, I don't know if snakes can roll their eyes. Get this all the time. I'm sick of this. And Harry says, yeah, I know what it's like to be locked up in a cage. Only interaction that he gets is Petunia knocking on his cupboard door. It's like Vernon was knocking on the glass. He asks the snake where he's from. With his tail, he points to the sign outside, from Brazil. And he's like, oh my God, how was it? Do you remember it? And do you miss your family? He says, bred in captivity. Yeah, that's me too. I never knew my family either. Well, Piers, the friend, is yelling Dudley and Vernon, look at the snake now. Dudley comes over there and punches him in the stomach or something to get him out of the way, and Harry doubles over and falls. Well, he gets mad. He doesn't realize he's doing it, but in his anger at Dudley, he's able to make the glass of the tank disappear. The boa constrictor comes out of the tank and starts slithering away, and he says that he could swear that he heard something along the lines of, finally, thanks friend, I'm going to Brazil. Then on the car ride back, Dudley and Piers are making up stories. Snake almost came by and attacked us, ripped our heads off, and it was suffocating me. It did none of that. It just left the building. We never get confirmation if they rounded up the boa constrictor. He might have made his way to Brazil. I don't know. Piers mentions, I saw Harry talking to the snake last. What were you talking to him about, Harry? Harry doesn't answer, and Vernon hears this, and he's like seeing red, smoke coming out of his ears. He's like, yeets him into the cupboard, and he's like, this is where you're gonna stay at, with no meals for who knows how long. He just waits until everybody goes to sleep, and then he sneaks into the kitchen. He starts thinking about his parents' car crash that killed him, and he says he sits there and he really tries to figure out if he can have any memory of them at all. A year old, a year and some change. Like, do I remember? Because I was in the car. Apparently all I remember is a bright green flash burning on his forehead at his scar. Oh, Harry. And he always dreamed that like some distant relative, like a fourth cousin 3 times removed on one side, somebody would come by and be like, my boy, come on. Anything would be better than where he's at. Even some stranger on the street would be better. He does seem to attract a lot of random people that come to say hello to him. They stop him in the street and sometimes shake his hand, saying it's nice to meet them. His Aunt Petunia always badgers him like, how do you know them? Where do you know them from? What are they saying? Why is it nice to meet you? Why do they dress like that? What's weirder about all of that, after their interaction, he'll turn around to double check and they've vanished. They're gone. It's other wizards. Because it's 1 in the morning now. I'm starting to get sleepy. I'll be right back at you. I hope I can set everything up like continuity. She's not my friend. I'm back. Let's do something fun and let's all take our iron, okay? I'm bored. Let's take our iron. That'll fed the Deathly Hallows. Yeah.
I'm invincible now.
And that's on anemia. Anyway, I have a notebook right here. I bought this because I thought it looked like the Monster Book of Monsters. Don't look at that tag. Went and wrote down everybody's name. Wait! It's okay. I'm okay. Yeah, this is my very extreme nerd level. I might stop the broadcast every once in a while and let you know, like, we'll get caught up on a bunch of names. So we've met our first handful of characters already. Obviously, we have Mr. Harry Potter. So Harry is a Middle English form of Henry, which was a favorite of many English kings. Old High German word Harry, H-E-R-I, means army, which will come back into play once we get to book 5. Potter was a name, it comes from the 12th century wizard Linfrid of Stinchcombe. The potterer later evolved to Potter. I think there was supposed to be like a juxtaposition of like such an ordinary sounding name to his life in this wizarding world that's so out of the ordinary. Big name right here, Albus Dumbledore. Full name, Albus Percival Wulfric. Hold up, I can do it. Albus Percival Wulfric Brian Dumbledore. So Albus is Latin for white or bright, referencing his white hair or the light persona that he has. Dumbledore is an Old English word for bumblebee, chosen for its musical nature and his humming. These are going to be on your test at the end of this. Percival means battle, Wulfric means wolf power, and Brian means noble. Once we learn more about these characters, it'll be clearer why they get these names. We got Vernon Dursley. Dursley is a name of a town in Gloucestershire. I hope I said that right. Vernon means a place of alders, which ties to trees. The author, she picked the name because she didn't like how it sounded anyway, so it's fitting for somebody who's very detestable. As a whole, she wanted a very dull sounding name to fit the Dursleys' ordinary life. Dudley, a clearing or a Dudda's meadow, probably a tie to his mother's floral name and his father's tree name. And then we've got Petunia. The petunia flower often represents anger or resentment. It also means a trumpet-shaped flower, maybe because she's I was gonna say she's shaped like a trumpet. Got Lily Potter. It's Lily Evans and Petunia Evans are their maiden names. I guess. Petunia and Evans. I didn't write anything for Evans. Sorry. Lily symbolizes purity, passion, and rebirth, contrasting her sister's name. I mean, it was written in the stars. James Potter. So James signifies a sub-planner, or one who replaces mirroring something that's going to happen later on in the story that I will come back to. Also another common English king name. Professor McGonagall. Her first name is Minerva. Minerva is a Roman goddess of wisdom and war. Oh, hell yeah. And McGonagall comes from the Celtic name Conagle, which meant the bravest. What a fucking banger of a name. Okay, this is the last one I'll give you for right now. Hagrid's name, his first name is Rubeus. Rubeus means red or ruby, which highlights his flushed, warm complexion. And also, Hagrid likes to hit the bottle quite a bit, so it could be a flush look from drinking and drugging. No, I'm kidding. Hagrid means hag-ridden, symbolizing his exhausted nature. So that's just a handful of names. I find it interesting. I don't know if you do. I don't really care if you do because I'm putting it in. All right, get back on track, Hannah. Chapter 3, The Letters from No One. Well into the summertime, before Harry was able to come out of the cupboard, because remember he got locked up for making the glass disappear, even though there was no way to prove it. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove in court. Has anybody else seen Law Abiding Citizen? That is a great movie. Finally was able to come out during summer vacation. The summer vacation has been spent being chased around. He's dodging Dudley and his cronies. Do you care what their names are? We have Piers, Dennis, Malcolm, Gordon, and of course Dudley. So Dudley's broken all of his toys. He's broken all of his presents that he got for his birthday. He's got like a graveyard of his gifts upstairs. I'll talk more about it in just a second. It's all of his broken shit. I don't know why they're holding on to it, but they are. Harry has become his target of fun, beating the shit out of him. Harry was trying to wait him out until the end of the summer because they're going to different schools. Dudley's going to Smeltings and Harry is going to Stonewall High. I'm guessing that's public school. Do you guys have public school in England? Is that a thing? I went to public school. I think for a long time everybody assumed that people that went to school in Britain, it was Hogwarts. But I've always seen the kids that go to school, they're always wearing uniforms. So is it all private schools, Catholic schools? I don't know. Hey, sound off. Whatever. Harry's going to Stonewall High. Dudley was laughing at him because he's like, that is stinky of you. They shove people's heads down the toilets there. Dudley is going to Smeltings, private school that his father actually went to when he was a boy. They dress him up to the nines and make him look like fucking losers. They look like squares. Their outfits, I'm looking for it. Maroon tailcoats, orange knickerbockers, flat straw hat called a boater, and then they also have, they call them knobby sticks. I'm not sure what the point of them is. Most of them would carry them and use them to hit each other with, which I'm sure you put a bunch of 11-year-olds and give them a stick. What do you think is gonna happen? Lightsaber fights. They're gonna kill each other. Harry, he comes into the kitchen one day. It reeks, stanks. Petunia is steeping Dudley's old clothes in like a gray dye to give to Harry so he can wear them to school. And Harry's like, bruh, I'm 5 times smaller than him. It doesn't fit. And she's like, mail comes in. So Harry goes, picks it up. There's one letter from Vernon's sister, Marge. Not Madge. I'm on Hunger Games mode, sorry. Marge saying she got sick in the Isle of Wight. Bill in the stack of letters. And then there was a letter addressed to Harry. It looked something like this. That's the best I could do. I made this myself, yes, and that's the best we got. Stamped with purple wax. I did not have purple wax. Yellowed envelope with emerald green ink and a purple wax seal on the back, and it said, Mr. H. Potter, the cupboard under the stairs, number 4 Privet Drive, Little Whinging, Surrey. Bro, what the f? Wax seal on the back, H right in the middle of it, and then it was on a crest, and it had a snake, a lion, a badger, an eagle, okay? An eagle! Oh my gosh, it's for Ravenclaw. That's my house. And most people think the house animal would be a raven. That makes sense. But no, it's an eagle because eagles are smart. What the hell, Party City? No wonder you went out of business. That's a raven. Points docked. Now I have to get a real robe. Oh well, never gotten a letter before. He doesn't know of any relatives. Doesn't really have any friends. Nobody that would write to him. He brings the rest of the mail in. Well, then Dudley runs his big fat mouth and is like, Dad, Harry got a letter. No, but Dudley's like, oh, MG. Vernon is looking at the letter and he's like, get out now. Kick the boys out and they're listening at the door so they can hear. Literally, how the f do they know where he's sleeping at? What the hell? They've got spies. People are watching our house. Oh my god, no. And that's what they're saying. They're just not going to write back and ignore it and it'll stop. Nobody's going to keep writing back, right? Right? That's how it works. I summarized. Told Petunia he would not have anyone like them in his house, and they swore when they took Harry in that they would put a stop to all this nonsense. Vernon comes up to Harry's cupboard. Hi. Hey, look. Harry was asking him where the letter was, and he said it was addressed to the wrong place. And Harry's like, no, it was not, because it was addressed to my cupboard. So explain that, Vernon. Vernon just tells him, hey, shut up. I'm right, you're wrong. I'm big, you're little. I'm smart, you're stupid. And he says, well, I think it's time you get out of this cupboard. You're getting a little too large. Gather all your things, you're moving upstairs. Well, get this. In the Dursleys' home, in number 4 Privet Drive, there are 4 bedrooms upstairs. 1 for Petunia and Vernon, 1 as a guest room, and 2 for Dudley. Meanwhile, Harry's been sleeping in the cupboard since who knows how old. That's something I always pictured. He got dropped off when he was a year and some change old. I'm assuming almost nonverbal. I don't know, when do kids start talking? I mean, had to be fed and had to be taken care of. His butt had to be wiped. I cannot picture either of them, especially Vernon. I can't picture Petunia even doing that for Harry. So anyway, one of Dudley's rooms is used as his graveyard. That's the room that Harry's gonna get moved into. Let me give you a list because I'm looking for a panorama of all these broken gifts. A TV that Dudley kicked in when his favorite TV show got canceled. His video camera that he had just gotten for his birthday. A tank, which at first I read it like a fish tank or something, but I think they mean like an actual army tank because he says a tank that he ran over the neighbor's dog with. Empty bird cage that used to have a parrot, but Dudley swapped it with someone at school for an air rifle, which he broke by sitting on the barrel of it. I'm expecting to see all that and more in the show. Thank you. On any other day before he got his letter, he would have given anything to be up in this room. But now, since he knows that he has a letter, he's like, I'll take sleeping in my cupboard if it means I get to read my letter. Nobody tries to get in touch with you ever. And then finally somebody does, and it's addressed specifically to you, your location. That'd be like somebody writing to me, hey, Anna McKinney, apartment redacted, at the table in front of a ring light and camera. Well, Dudley, he got pissed. Somebody's taking his room. Everything in there is broken. That's what I mean. Y'all hoarding it? What are you hoarding it for? Get rid of it. Throwing a tantrum at his grown age. He got physical with them and even threw his turtle through a greenhouse window. Okay, so now we're getting abusive, not only to your parents, but now there's animals involved. Mail comes and Vernon is like, oh, Dudley, why don't you go get the mail this time? And sure enough, there's another letter. Dudley runs back in there and he's like, we have another one. I'm a winner. Ed McMahon came by. Vernon and Harry and Dudley are all wrestling each other. Vernon gets the letter. On the address, it says Harry Potter, the smallest bedroom. Everybody's like, well, this obviously meant the letters are going to keep on coming no matter where he is at in the house. The next morning, he devised Harry did, plan of attack. I'm going to wake up at the ass crack of dawn. I'm going to get outside, run down the street, stop the mailman, the postman, if there's any letters addressed to me, and take it from there. When he gets downstairs, he steps on Vernon's face. What? Because Vernon is laying down in the foyer, laying next to the door so he could catch the mail when it came through the mail slot too. Harry. Oh, sorry. I gotta hike up my leg. His uncle gets pissed and he's like, ow, God, you stepped right on my face. Tells him, go make me a cup of tea. Go make me a cuppa. By the time Harry does that, comes back, the mail has arrived. There's several letters now, but Vernon rips them up. Nails the mail slot shut. It's Friday. There are a dozen letters that were pushed under the door and some even through the bathroom window. Saturday, 24 letters made their way into the house. Somehow got put inside 24 eggs. Sunday comes around and he's got a wiry look in his eye and he's like, it's Sunday. There's no post on Sunday. No, we're fine. Everything's fine. Just as he thought all was well, letters started shooting out of the chimney, flooding the whole living room. Everybody go pack a f***ing bag. We're leaving. They're in the car. Vernon is seeing red. Sharp turns here and there. Stopped car at a rundown hotel outside of the city. You know what I realized I could just do? Because I keep looking at myself in the viewfinder and I start to slouch. I have horrible posture and I get down in the lower half of the frame and it's not flattering at all. I could have done this a while ago. Yeah, I got a push-up chair, so now I can slouch. Yeah, okay. I wake up the next morning eating breakfast and the hotel manager comes up to their table and is like,
Y'all got a Harry Potter here?
because there's about 100 letters at the desk waiting for him. And Vernon is like, I'll get them. If I were Harry, I would have sprinted up there. What's he gonna do? Outrun you? But they get rid of him. They toss him in the trash and they move on. Country to the mountains, driving up and down Broadway on my old stud Leroy. And the girls say, brump, brump. Vernon went up and left the car and left them all in the car. And he goes to speak with somebody. While they're waiting, Dudley is bitching and complaining. It's Monday. Monday Night Raw is coming on. No, that's what I would say. He's like, my favorite show is on tonight. Well, Harry doesn't care about the TV show, but what he does care about, today's Monday, tomorrow's Tuesday. And that is my birthday. His 11th birthday, and he's like, the Dursleys never cared about my birthday anyway. But you know, still, how often are you turning 11? She'd be surprised if any of them even remembered it was his birthday. Last year, for his birthday present, Vernon and Petunia gifted him a coat hanger and a pair of Vernon's old socks. I did see in the trailer for the new show, there is a coat hanger hanging up. Vernon comes back to the car, he's smiling, he's carrying a package. Tell you what it is at the beginning of the next chapter. He's got a bag full of food, and he's like, everybody out. I got us someplace to stay. Man in charge of this place takes them out on a boat for hours, choppy waters, and there's a rock island, really run down, ugly looking shack. Harry's like, this place smells like seaweed. There's salt water coming in through the walls. Dirty, nasty. I don't think there's indoor plumbing at all. Vernon had got them a bag of chips and a banana each. Petunia found some musty, moth-eaten blankets in the closet. I would not touch. I don't know. I get weird about blankets and bedding. I'm like, if it ain't clean, They tried to make a fire with the empty chip bags. Vernon was even joking with Harry, I wish we had some of those letters now to start a fire. Vernon and Petunia take the bedroom, and then Harry and Dudley are out in the living room, and Harry has to lay on the floor, but it's starting to storm. So Harry's watching Dudley's digital watch and watching the seconds count down to his birthday. Every second that gets closer to midnight, you hear like a bang and bang. Somebody is knocking at the door to get in. Rubius motherfucker Hagrid. We're in chapter 4 now. This one's called The Keeper of Keys. Petunia and Vernon come running in. Vernon had a shotgun. That was what was in the package. He bought a whole ass shotgun. He's... What? What is that? Hagrid. He beats down the door falls in, and he's like, oh, sorry, my bad. Props it back up. And he's asking if anybody can make him a cup of tea. Harry's a little bit more just curious. The Dursleys are like, oh my god, you're huge. Hagrid turns to Harry and he's like, I haven't seen you in like 10 years, bro. But now he looks so much like his dad. He has his mother's eyes. So this is a thing that gets brought up all the time throughout these stories, is that Harry has his mother's eyes. Lily's eyes are green, Harry's eyes are green. This is an interesting fact. Yeah, I think it's interesting. If you watch the movies, Daniel Radcliffe has got some blue eyes. They tried digitally altering the color of his eyes. The first movie was probably made in 2000, came out in like 2001. So CGI was not what it is now, and I'm sure it probably would have cost quite a bit to do it halfway decent, and even then, who knows what that would have looked like. So then they tried colored contacts with Daniel Radcliffe, which I think he had an allergic reaction to. Alas, they said, alright, just make sure the actress that plays Lily has blue eyes to match Daniel Radcliffe's eyes. I don't really get hung up on the eye color for being book accurate. It needs to be green, but as long as they both have the same colored eyes, who gives a shit? Doesn't matter what color. No, not really. It happens to be green. The whole point is that they have the same eyes. Don't shoot the messenger. It's one of the big quarrels a lot of book enthusiasts have with the movies. Vernon is over there in the corner. Again, he's strapped up and he says, you better get... Sorry, I keep touching my hair. I'm really sorry. Just caught myself doing that again. My bangs keep wanting to fall forward and I feel like I'm like, tonight will be the night that I will fall for you. Vernon is like, you need to get the out of my house, or this house. It's not mine. But Hagrid is like, I ain't leaving. Takes the rifle, ties it up in a knot and tosses it into the corner. He pulls out something, gives it to Harry, and he's like, this is for you. It's a piece of chocolate cake for his birthday, and he said, I'm sorry, I might have sat on it, but I think it should taste fine. Hagrid even remembered his birthday. Harry is like, who are you again? Thank you, but who are you? I am Rubius Hagrid, keeper of keys and grounds at Hogwarts. A fireplace full of old chip bags, and he's like, hold on, 1 second. And then there's a fire in the fireplace. Harry, of course, is like... You ain't never seen something like that before. Hagrid starts taking things out of his coat, sausages, a tea kettle, mugs, plates, and just stuff to have a nice tea. High tea at noon. It's actually midnight. A bottle of some amber liquid and took a sip of it. Because I told you, Hagrid likes to hit the bottle. That's alright. He's a big man. It takes a lot to knock him off his feet. But the first bit of sausages to Harry, who, poor boy's starving. And Dudley's over there licking his chops. Any for me? Vernon tells Dudley, don't you take nothing from that man. Well, Hagrid is like, that fat lard does not need any more food. I feel like Dr. Now when he's like, you've already eaten the food you would have eaten 10 years from now. Harry still tells Hagrid, I still don't know who you are. Well, you know Hogwarts, right? And he's like, what? Vernon jumps in. No, we said we would never talk about this with him. We would put a stop to it. Don't mention it. So Hagrid gets very upset and he's saying it's an outrage that they never told him about his parents, who he is, what happened in his life. He says family is, everybody knows their name. For what? For what? This is where Hagrid tells Harry, look, you're a wizard, Harry. Probably a very great wizard. Both of his parents they were head boy and head girl. His mom was extremely gifted. His father was too, but his mother, MVP. I might be spoiling it a little bit. Harry's dad is more of like a frat boy, and his mom is very nurturing and loving, protective, and caring about everybody. She's got a big heart. Big ol' heart. He hands him one last envelope, but inside the letter, let me read you what it says. Headmaster Albus Dumbledore, Order of Merlin, First Class, Grand Sorcerer, Chief Warlock, Supreme Mugwump, International Confederation of Wizards. Dear Mr. Potter, we are pleased to inform you that oh my god, hang on, take two. We are pleased to inform you that you have been accepted to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Please find enclosed a list of all necessary books and equipment. Term begins September 1st. We await your owl by no later than July 31st. Yours sincerely, Minerva McGonagall, Deputy Head Mistress. And then okay, first of all, war, bravery, and now deputy. Hagrid actually had an owl in his coat. He writes out a little letter. Dear Professor Dumbledore, given Harry his letter, taking him to buy his things tomorrow. Weather is terrible, hope you're well. Hagrid. And then he sends the owl out into the storm. Vernon still is trying to interject. No, this is not happening. Hagrid tells him, well, I'd like to see a muggle like you try. He explains that muggles are non-magic folk. Harry's upset, for good reason, with the Dursleys. Why didn't you tell me about this? You all knew about this? And Petunia speaks up and she's like, well, yeah, we knew. Of course we knew. How could you not be the way that you are with a sister like mine? My sister, Lily, the mega star of our family. She was always a freak. She always was doing weird shit. When she got this letter from Hogwarts, Lily became the favorite of the family. So that's why when I was reading out her name means resentment, and there's been a bitter seed planted in her from the get towards her sister. But then she says, met your dad over at that school, and then they had to go get themselves blown up. And Harry's like, you told me my family died in a car crash. So Hagrid says, what kind of bullshit? We have got wires crossed. Hagrid tells him it's just shameful, disrespectful that they never told Harry what happened to his parents, what they're famous for. And Harry's like, yeah, what are we famous for? Hagrid explained to him about you-know-who, Voldemort. He doesn't like to say his name. Dumbledore at this point is the only one that's ballsy enough to say his name. They're still afraid to say his name out of fear that he might come back. 20 years ago, he started to collect followers. Okay. You know what? Let me tell you something. Especially when we get to the Order of the Phoenix and forward, big parallel to something that happened in our world history. Voldemort mirrors Hitler. There's other people we can pick too. Hitler to me is the most known. Pay attention to certain patterns throughout the whole series. You know, we draw inspiration from real life events too. He's gaining followers. People followed along out of fear, and people followed along in the hopes that maybe they would gain some power out of it. And during the dark days, you couldn't trust anyone. A person who tried to stand up to him, he killed. The only safe place you can go to really was Hogwarts. And it might have been because Voldemort is and was afraid of Dumbledore. Harry's parents were top of their class, top notch. Once they left Hogwarts, time passed and they had Harry, and then Voldemort went to the Potter's house, killing both of Harry's parents. Was trying to kill Harry. Curse rebounded. It just didn't work. Then he dipped, and that's where I don't know what happened to him after that. Hagrid, he's like, I don't think he's gone. Hagrid said he isn't sure why Voldemort went to the Potters. Maybe he thought he could talk them into joining his side, or maybe he wanted them out of the way. But a lot of people lost their lives along the way. There's a family called the McKinnons, the Bones, Pruitts. Meet actually some of their kids. Harry goes to Hogwarts once he starts school. But for some reason, out of all the people that he killed, Harry was the one that got by. When we don't know yet. Harry starts to think about the dream, what he's dreamt up in his mind, and he thinks about the green flash that he always sees. This time he can hear really evil, maniacal cackle of a laugh. Honestly, I prefer movie Voldemort. If I'm being honest, to me, it kind of gets cartoony and gimmicky. Just a little bit, like he kind of teeters on the line of gimmicky. What do you mean he's just got a maniacal, like, I'm going to kill you. All right, bud. Maybe that's why you failed. Vernon, he's like, shut up. You shut the hell up. I admit there are some things about Harry that are weird and we can't explain it, but you know what? A good beating would sort him out. We're putting an end to this. Harry, you're not going to school. Hagrid, you need to leave. Well, Hagrid is like, nar. Oh, nar. Also, Vernon had the nerve to tell Harry his parents were weirdos and the world is better off without them. I'd be... They got what was coming for them, being mixed up in the wizarding world. So Hagrid, you ready? You ready to fight? Hagrid also has a little pink umbrella. It's probably little for him. To us, it'd be a normal size umbrella. A pink umbrella. Okay, hang on one second, I'll explain. But he points it at Vernon and he's like, shut the fuck up. So Harry, he says, tell me what happened with Voldemort. Where did he go? Some people think that he disappeared and just vanished. Then there's other people like him and he's like, I don't think so. I'm waiting to come back for, he doesn't say for Harry, but it's like, all the followers that he had were quick to come back though. Oh, wait a minute, where am I? I was in a trance, I'm so sorry. Then they came back to society. Hagrid said it was like they were waking up from a daze. Or Harry's like, I think you got the wrong guy. I don't think I'm this great wizard that everybody thinks I should be. I get pushed around by the Dursleys. The shit kicked out of me every day. Hagrid is like, well, have you ever made anything happen that you can't explain when you're upset or your emotions are high? And he's like, maybe. You know, when his hair got cut, he was really upset, and overnight his hair grew back, ending up on the roof of the school zoo when he made the glass vanish. Yeah, maybe. Vernon, one last time. One last time. George Washington's coming home. Sorry. Enough. This is not happening. You're not going to a school and you're not going to get taught by some crackpot fool. That was a dig. Some psychopath in a bathrobe named Albus Dumbledore. You want to talk about mother? Well, Hagrid, he takes his pink umbrella. That's his wand, okay? He takes the umbrella and he's like, I have fucking had it. And he goes, whoop-ah! He does not do that with his voice. He points it at Dudley and he has a little pink curly pigtail come out of his butt. The Dursleys start freaking out. They run into the bedroom and lock the door. Oh my god! Wilbur? And Hagrid says, I tried to make him into a whole pig. He was already more pig than boy anyway. He just needed the tail. Actually, do you mind not telling anybody at Hogwarts that you saw me do that? I'm not supposed to be doing magic. I was expelled. I love how he just like drops this information on Harry. Expelled my 3rd year at Hogwarts. When he was expelled, his wand was broken in half. We'll talk about what happened, why he got expelled in the next book. He was expelled. Dumbledore invited him to stay at the school as a groundskeeper. Hagrid takes off his coat, throws it around Harry, tucks him in for the night. Don't mind it if it wiggles. I've got some dormice in the pockets. Okay, sure. I think I'm gonna end it here. I'm not making any progress at all. This is so... I can feel myself getting sick. Is that bad? Well, it's not good, but I feel my throat like getting scratchy. Anyway, well, I'll be back in just a second. Well, I was right. I am getting sick. I'm not in the throes of it just yet. If I sound stuffy, I'm sorry. I don't feel horrible. I'm not at 100%. So if I misspeak or I don't catch myself, I'll blame that. I'm not firing on all cylinders right this moment, but this is the only time I have to film. Anyway, and we're getting back into chapter 5, Diagon Alley. It's supposed to be diagonally. The name is meant to serve as a playful phonetic hint that the hidden shopping district exists diagonally or at an oblong angle to the Muggle world in London. Harry wakes up because him and Hagrid slept out in the living room while the Dursleys like boarded themselves up in their bedroom. Harry was convinced it was all a dream, but he woke up, could hear tapping on the window. There's a freaking owl out there. It drops off some papers called the Daily Prophet, wizarding newspaper. I almost had printed out some to keep up here, but my little printer, she was struggling, and he's digging through Hagrid's coat. So Harry's like, Hagrid, hey Hagrid, the owl wants something. Hagrid's like, he wants to get paid, give him some money. Harry pulls out a pouch of money, coins that he's never seen before. The owl something called nuts, K-N-U-T-S. They're like little copper coins. Sorry, I'm trying to put my leg up here so I can get comfy. He said, give him 5. Oh, God, you might see me gag. I got all this phlegm stuck in my Maybe this wasn't the right time to do this. Pull it together, people. My God, it's not that bad. I'm gonna try to make this as discreet as possible, but I need to have this guy. Okay. Anyway, Harry gives him the coins. He puts it in a little pouch on the owl's foot. Owl leaves. And this makes Harry realize, I am broke as a motherfucking joke. I don't have any money, Hagrid. How am I going to pay for school supplies? This is fancy pants stuff. I don't have any money. The Dursleys are definitely not going to fund this. But Hagrid says, it's okay because we're going to London and we're going to go to Diagon Alley, go to Gringotts. That's the wizarding bank. Safest place in the entire wizarding world apart from Hogwarts, okay? Run by goblins, protected by dragons. They got their locked down. That's where your money's at. His mom and dad didn't leave him without anything. Potters didn't really have much of an actual job. Lily and James Potter did not hold traditional paying jobs. James inherited a massive family fortune, and the couple were able to dedicate themselves full-time to the we're getting ahead. Extensive family wealth came from James's father, Flamel Potter, as an accomplished potioneer. So it basically all came from Harry's grandfather. I don't know if that's canon. I think it was made up on like Pottermore expanding the universe, but I'm gonna go by that theory because otherwise it doesn't get explained, and I need an answer. Hagrid tells him goblins are very intense creatures. Do not try and cross them. Then there's a whole entire tunnel system underneath London full of vaults, and they're all protected by dragons. It's a lot. If you tried to steal from Gringotts, you'd die. Actually, that he needs to go to Gringotts anyway because he has to pick something up for Dumbledore. What? Leave in the boat that Dursleys came to the Rock to. They just left the Dursleys back in the house. They're like, y'all, find your way home. Harry's like, how did you end up over here? And he's like, oh, I flew. It didn't say that he had a motorbike with him. I picture him taking his umbrella and floating down like Merry Mermaid. They use a spell to get across the lake, the sea, to get back to land. Hagrid puts a spell on the boat to help speed the boat along, but he tells Harry, again, I'd really appreciate it if you keep this quiet between us that I'm using magic. He's reading his newspaper. It's talking about the Ministry of Magic. It's their government of the wizarding world. I want to go see it so bad. At Universal Studios, I haven't been. Cornelius Fudge is the minister. He's the head honcho. Hagrid is complaining, saying, what the hell? The Ministry doesn't know what they're doing. They're messing everything up for everyone. I don't know, in general. He doesn't really mention anything super significant happening. Dumbledore was asked to be minister, but he didn't want to do that. He wanted to be still headmaster. He denied the position. Cornelius Fudge stepped in. Fudge keeps getting in touch with Dumbledore to give him some advice almost every day about how to run the damn nation. Main job of the Ministry is to keep the existence of witches and wizards secret from the Muggle world. Otherwise, people would want a magical solution for all their problems. Just making conversation, Harry brings up the fact that Hagrid said that Gringotts was guarded by dragons, and Hagrid's like, yeah, man, I would love to have a dragon. Harry says, huh? Why? But that's kind of where they leave it at. That will come back maybe about halfway through the book. I need to point it out now that Hagrid mentions that he would love to have his own pet dragon. They're on the train to London. Everybody's staring at Hagrid because obviously he sticks out like a sore thumb. Hagrid says, go over your supply list. And Harry was like, there was a supply list? I didn't even know. I got so excited. It's required for first year students going to Hogwarts. Your uniform. First year students will require Number 1, 3 sets of plain work robes, black. Number 2, 1 plain pointed hat, black, for day wear. Number 3, 1 pair of protective gloves, dragon hide or similar. Number 4, 1 winter cloak, black, silver fastenings. Please note that all pupils' clothes should carry name tags. Your course book. Students must have a copy of each of the following. Standard Book of Spells, Grade 1, by Miranda Goshawk. A History of Magic by Bathilda Bagshot. She will come back around. Magical Theory by Aldebert Waffling. A Beginner's Guide to Transfiguration by Emmerich Switch. 1000 Magical Herbs and Fungi by Phylida Spore. Phyllida. Maybe it's a plant. I don't know. I did not look up the names of these people. Magical Drafts and Potions by Arsenius Jigger. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them by Newt Scamander. Dark Forces, A Guide to Self-Protection. I don't know who wrote that one. Their equipment. We need 1 wand, 1 cauldron, pewter, standard size 2, 1 set glass or crystal files, 1 telescope, and 1 set of brass scales. Students may also bring an owl or a cat or a toad. End up at a place called the Leaky Cauldron. It's in London. People passing by, Muggle people, didn't look like they were really paying it much attention. There was a bookshop on one side and a record store on the other. They were going into each one of those. He was wondering if it was actually disguised from Muggle people. It's the crossover point to go into the back alley through to Diagon Alley. Hagrid knows everybody there because Hagrid is a frequent flyer at the Leaky Cauldron. And Tom is the bartender. Oh, Hagrid, you here? You want your regular? He says, no, I'm here on Hogwarts business and I'm here helping special somebody go and get their school supplies. Pin drop. Everybody's like, oh my god. Oh my god. Is that Harry Potter? Flock to him. Some of them were the people that Harry had seen on the street, bump into him from time to time and be like, it's such an honor to meet you. And he would be like, okay. And then turn around and they're gone. Daedalus, I think that's how you say his name. Daedalus Diggle. He was one that Harry bumped into. Harry goes, oh my god, I remember you. You said hi to me on the street. Diggle is like, Harry Potter knows me. Everybody's just geeking out. Oh yes, you've returned. Well, there's one person there who is very witchy and weird looking. A pale man with 1 twitching eye came forward. This was Professor Quirrell. I actually have his first name. Maybe this was another Pottermore kind of thing, because I don't remember it ever being mentioned. Quirinus Quirrell. Again, I don't know if it's canon. I'm not sure. Who cares? Quirinus is from Roman mythology, referring to Sabine. Sorry, I did not take mythology when I was in school. War of God, or an epithet of Janus, two-faced god of beginnings and transitions. Two-faced. You're a two-faced, slimy bitch. And Quirrell just sounds like Squirrel for his skittish personality. He stuttered horribly. He's gonna be Harry's defense against the dark arts teacher. I want to tell you so much about that position in the school. Oh my god! Helping them protect themselves, God forbid, if they're out and about and they get into a duel. Maybe meet Voldemort himself. I don't know. But it's good to know how to protect yourself. A lot of people that stick with that course become what they call auras. They're like wizard police. I'm getting off track. I'm really sorry. And he needed a book on vampires. Okay. He looks scared to admit it and all around just uncomfortable. Hagrid breaks up the crowd. They go to a back alley. Harry asks Professor Quirrell's always nervous like that. Hagrid's like, yeah, poor guy. Ever since he went a year abroad. He took a year off of teaching to have first-hand experience. Dark arts, dark magic. Met a bunch of vampires in the Black Forest. There was some trouble with a hag. And that's what he said. And I don't know what to tell you. When he came back, he was scared of everybody and everything. And he's just been a nervous wreck. They're staring at a brick wall. Hagrid takes his pink umbrella. He taps up. There's a pattern to follow with the bricks. 3 up, 2 across. The bricks start unfolding and splitting the wall. And they arrive! Diagon Alley. All the shops lined up of a crooked street. There were shops lining each side of the street. Cauldrons stacked on top of each other. All sizes and types. Copper, brass, pewter, silver, self-stirring, collapsible apothecary. One lady complains about the price of dragon liver. He's just so blown away because so normal to everybody else. I have never in my life seen an owl emporium. Ilops Owl Emporium. That's where you can get your owls. Broomstick for sale. Nimbus 2000. I will come back to that. There was a shop for everything. Robes, telescopes, spell books, quills, rolls of parchment, potion bottles, globes, of the moon. Hagrid was saying, like, we'll come back and look at every store, get to Gringotts first, get your money. And at the door was a goblin, of course. She's a mammoth, of course. Just a foot tall, they're very small. Pointy beard, long fingers. Well, there's a sign above entrance, and it reads, "Enter stranger, but take heed of what awaits the sin of greed. Those who take, but do not earn, must pay most dearly in their turn. So if you seek beneath our floors a treasure that was never yours, thief, you have been warned, beware, finding more than treasure there. If you get caught stealing, which you will, your ass is getting locked up." Goblins are sitting on tall stool benches that line the entire length of this main hallway. They're counting all these gold coins and shit and brass scales. I'm looking for all this brass scales. Examining stones. Behind the desks are all the doors to get down to the vaults. Hagrid says, "This is Harry Potter. Gotta make a withdrawal." He says, "Also, I need to get into Vault 713 for Hogwarts business. Dumbledore himself has sent me here to pick something up." The goblin tells him that have another goblin go with them. This goblin's name is Griphook. Griphook. I know I keep saying it, but he's gonna come back. Well, definitely in the last book. I don't remember if any other point in the story off the top of my head. And he's a significant character in the last one. I'm picturing like Laverne Cavern, just stalagmites and stalactites. They get on a little cart, like a mining cart. There's one speed, fast, dipping and diving, zigging and zagging. Hagrid is about to barf. The cart seemed to know where to go. Griphook wasn't steering it. Harry couldn't keep up with the directions that they were going. Make it to Harry's vault. I'm not sure what number it is. Don't even ask me. Griphook unlocks it. Green smoke that rolls out. Green smoke. HBO. I love how I'm like giving them tips like the show isn't already made. Like they're gonna watch my video and be like, "Damn it, you're right. Let's go back and re-edit the whole thing." Stocked full of mountains of coins. He's set up for life. He's totally fine. The hair potions keep selling. I don't imagine it would dry up. The money system for the wizards. Gold coins are called galleons. 17 silver sickles to 1 galleon. 29 nuts to 1 sickle. I don't remember them anyway, so don't worry if you don't. It's not that big of a deal, just in case if you wanted to know. They fill up his pouch full of money and they go to Vault 713. Griphook had to unlock the door with his finger. I guess his fingernail is magic. They usually go and check in the vault about every 10 years to make sure nobody's fallen in and died. If anyone but the goblins try to open the door, they'd be sucked in and not be able to get out. Hagrid goes in, picks up a little brown bag. That's it. That's the only thing that's in there. And Harry's like, I mean, all right, if it's that big of a deal. Now that business is done, they go back out to Diagon Alley. They're gonna go shopping. Did I mention that Hagrid wasn't feeling good from the cart? He tells Harry, "Why don't you go in there and get fitted for your robes? I'm gonna go to the Leaky Cauldron and get something to settle my stomach. I'm gonna throw back a couple brewskis." He goes into a shop called Madam Malkin's Robes for All Occasions. So she's like, "Hogwarts, first year? I got another boy that's going to Hogwarts for his first year too." Stand up next to him. It's a blonde boy. I'm gonna hold on to suspense. Pointy, pale face. Madam Malkin began fitting Harry, and this other boy starts asking Harry questions. "I'm going to Hogwarts too. My father's over there buying all my books, and my mother's buying me my wand." Oh, excuse me. Okay, let me correct myself. Mother was looking at wands. Harry says that he seems to be bored with all of this. This is such a chore to be here. Fit me, woman, I guess. I am so bummed. I cannot bring a broomstick. Hogwarts has a stupid rule. First years can't try out for the Quidditch team. You know about Quidditch, right? Harry's like, no. His parents look at these brooms anyway, and he was gonna bully his father into buying him one. His father said it would be a shame if he's not picked to be on his house's team. Asked if he knew what house that Harry was gonna be going to, and Harry was like, "I don't know what the you're talking about. What do you mean house?" Boy says nobody really knows what house they're going to until they get there. I know I'm going to be in Slytherin. We all know the houses, right? Slytherin, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, and Gryffindor. I know I'll be a Slytherin just like the rest of my family. But if I'm not, God, can you imagine if I was sorted into Hufflepuff? I'd kill myself. Boy that Harry's talking to is just, he's a dick. He's just a bitch. He turns and he's like, ugh, ew, who is that in the window? It's Hagrid. Trying to get Harry's attention, and he shows him he's got 2 ice cream cones. Well, Harry says, "Oh, that's Hagrid." The boy is like, "Oh, I've heard about him. The servant at Hogwarts. Are you associated with that?" I heard he was the servant at school and sometimes gets drunk and tries to do magic but ends up setting fire to his own bed. Immediately, Harry's like, "All right, we're done." Corrected him and told him that he was the gamekeeper. Now I'm not liking the boy at all. "Why is Hagrid with you? And where are your parents at?" Harry's like, "My parents are dead, actually, you dick." The boy asks him, were they at least Arcane, as in magic? He doesn't think that the other sort should be let into the school. People that were born to non-magic parents, they don't fit in the same way people who were raised around magic just don't belong in our world because they don't even know about magic until they get their letter. Okay, and there's not a lot of them left that are pure blood. This boy, he's like, non-magic people? Ew. He asks him, "What's your surname?" And just as I don't even know if Harry would answer. Madam Malcolm is like, "Okay, you're done." And Harry's like, "Bye, I'm out." Him and Hagrid eat their ice cream. He brought up what the boy had said about people born to non-magic parents, and Hagrid is like, "Well, if he knew your last name, he wouldn't have said that. Don't listen to him. Some of the greatest wizards that we got were born from Muggle parents. Harry's mom. He explains about the 4 houses. Hufflepuff gets a really bad rep for being soft. The mom energy. And then Harry says, well, shoot, I'll probably end up in that one since it gets a bad rep for being a softie. Hagrid is like, well, you know what? Anything would be better than you going to Slytherin. Every single witch or wizard that went rotten or sideways was from Slytherin. Slytherin animal is a snake, so sneaky little sneaky snake. Not all are bad. I think a lot of people assume if you get Slytherin, you're like, damn, I'm a bad seed. Not all the time. It's just that everyone that has gone bad has been a Slytherin. What's that saying? Not all men, but always a man. Enough of that conversation. They go into Flourish and Blots, which is the bookstore. Curses and counter curses. Bewitch your friends and befuddle your enemies with the latest revenges. Hair loss, jelly legs, tongue tying, and much more. By Professor Vindicus Viridian. Hagrid has to pull him away from that one. No using magic outside of Hogwarts. First of all, hurting yourself. You don't even have your wand yet. We can't risk that. Or the existence of our kind. There's no use of magic in the Muggle world except for in certain circumstances. You should not be in at this current moment in time, Harry. So eventually they get the whole list. I'm gonna go get you a birthday present. And Harry's like, oh no, you do not have to do that. You have given me the best day of my entire life. Never been happier than today. And you already got me a birthday cake. Hagrid's like, shut up. I'm gonna go get you your owl. Toads are out. Toads are so 80s. Nobody has a toad anymore. You're gonna want an owl. A snowy white owl. Oh, like that one. I'm not touching that. My Marauders map thing right here will not stay up. Finally got it to stop moving. That's what his owl looks like. So then they go into Ollivander's wand shop. Maker of fine wands since 382 BC. Ollivander is one of the pureblood families. If I can remember who's a pureblood family, I'll tell you if you care, but tiny place with boxes neatly stacked tall. A man... Sorry, my fucking chair, dude. He was wondering when he would see Harry in there. And he feels like it was just yesterday he saw his parents in there buying their first wand. He recognized him from his eyes as his mother's eyes. That his mother's wand was 10 inches swishy and made of willow. Nice for charm work. He remembers every wand that he has ever sold. Human record book. Father's wand was mahogany, 11 inches, pliable, a little more power, and good for transfiguration. The wand always chooses the wizard. You can always use somebody else's wand. You're not going to get the same results as if it's your own. He apologized and he had sold the scar. What? On the wand, they gave him the scar on his forehead. 13.5 inches, powerful and especially in the wrong hands. If I had known what was going to happen with Voldemort when I sold him his wand, well, he doesn't even finish it. He turns to Hagrid. Oh, Hagrid, hey, I remember your wand too. Oak, 16 inches, rather bendy. And Hagrid tells him that he still has the pieces. He doesn't use them because that would be a no. He doesn't use them, almost feeling like he was being shunned by Ollivander. He takes measurements of Harry, the length of your arm, from your shoulder to your waist to your feet. Starts pulling some boxes off the shelf. None of them work. Ollivander is like, curious. Very, very curious. And he grabs a wand. Not this one. Don't get confused. Try this out for me. Let me read what I wrote. It's a holly phoenix feather, 11 inches. Harry grabbed hold of it. He felt a warmth, and red and gold sparks came out of the end. Hagrid and Ollivander started cheering. We did it! We found your wand! Yes! Gosh, that is so interesting that is your wand. And Harry's like, what you mean? I'm curious because the brother of this wand is the wand that gave you that scar. Henceforth, furthermore, hereby, Voldemort's wand and Harry's wand are brothers. Every wand has its own original strand up. They use unicorn hair, phoenix tail feathers. Oh, there's something else. What do they use? I think it's something to do with dragons. I think it's a dragon's... And I don't know, 3 primary magical mythical creatures that they put into a wand. And so the reason why Harry and Voldemort's wand are connected was that there was one phoenix who produced a feather for the wand, produced only one other feather. Both feathers went into the wands. They should expect great things from him because Voldemort did great, albeit terrible, but great things too. 7 galleons for a wand. A galleon in American US money with inflation and everything. Maybe it's about 20. So then 20 times 7, what are we at? 140. The day is coming to an end. Hagrid and Harry leave the same way that they came in, through the leaky cauldron. And Harry is confessing, y'all are putting a lot of pressure on me. I don't even know if I have a fraction of the amount of talent you guys keep saying I should have. How can I be this great wizard if I don't know anything? Hagrid tries to explain everybody starts at level 1. Plenty of people that are going to be in your position too. Muggle-born kids. He gives him his ticket to be on the train, the Hogwarts Express, and he tells him September 1st, you need to be at King's Cross Station. It leaves at 11 o'clock sharp. If you miss it, I don't know what we're going to do. I'm sure somebody would go and get him, but and if Harry had any trouble with the Dursleys, just write him a letter, have his owl give it to him, that she would know where to go and where to take it. After that, Harry and Hagrid parted ways. Hagrid just up and left. I don't know exactly how Harry figured out a way to get back home. Chapter 6 is called The Journey from Platform 9 3/4. Just like that. So it's been a month. Really hasn't been all that great at home for Harry. The Dursleys think of him as like a pariah. Get away from me, you devil. Treated Harry like he wasn't even there. It should have been ideal, but it was actually very depressing and lonely, and all Harry had to do all day long was stay in his room and read all of his new textbooks. And now he had his owl named Hedwig, and he found the name in the History of Magic book. What does the name Hedwig mean? German feminine name, Hadu, meaning battle or combat, and Wig, meaning fight or struggle. The name translates to battle warrior or warrior in combat. Historically, the name is tied to Saint Hedwig of Silesia, where she is officially recognized as the Catholic Church as the patron saint of orphans. Deliberately chose this name from a book about medieval saints because Harry is an orphan who was isolated at the Dursleys. The name perfectly symbolizes her role as his guardian and his primary connection to the wizarding world. At this point, she's actually allowed to go outside from his window, hunt for mice. The day before he's supposed to leave, and he's talking to his Uncle Vernon, I need a ride tomorrow. Are you able to take me to King's Cross? I think he said they were watching TV, and he just is like, I guess. They were going to be going into London too tomorrow, so that's why he was like, fine. I have to take Dudley to go get that pigtail removed. I asked where Harry had to be dropped off at, and he looked at his ticket, and he was like, well, it says platform 9 3/4. And the Dursleys are all like, yeah, okay, sure, we'll take you to platform 9 3/4. Well, where is Hogwarts anyway? And Harry's like, I actually don't even know. The next day, packs up the car. Weirdly enough, Vernon was actually pretty helpful with Harry in his cart and got his owl up there for him. They wheeled it to platforms 10 and 9, and he was like, here you go, 9 3/4. It looks like they haven't built your platform yet. Hope you have a fun school year. Bye. They just dip. They just leave. Oh my god, they hate this boy. Harry's getting embarrassed. He's got Hedwig's cage with him, which is drawing attention. He asked one of the attendants working, where is this place? And the attendant is just like, are you having a laugh? You having a go? Are you having a go? You taking the piss? Kids. Thank God he sees a group walking by full of red-headed kids, red-headed children. Catches the word muggles and he's like, The group was a small plump woman, 4 boys, and a young girl. All had flaming hair and pushing trunks just like Harry's, staying close behind just enough to hear them. And the little girl, her name is Jenny. She was pleading with the mother, Molly Weasley. This is the Weasley family. She's begging her to like, can I please go with them? And Molly is like, no. You go next year to Hogwarts. The oldest boy's name is Percy. He took his trunk that had the owl on it and he runs through the barricade in between platform 9 and 10. Right slam through the brick wall. There's a set of twins there, Fred and George. Woman calls for Fred to go next, and he joked that he wasn't Fred, he was George. And then he goes, I'm just kidding, I am Fred. From the get, you know that Fred and George are pranksters. They are jokesters. Harry then, he finally speaks up because there's only one more boy left. Excuse me, ma'am? How'd you do that? I don't know what I'm doing. It's okay because it's Ron's first year too. Last boy is Ronald Weasley. They're gonna be BFFs. Ron was tall and lanky with big hands and big feet and freckles everywhere. Say it with me. I'm expecting to see this. Just head straight for the wall. Go at a bit of a run if you're nervous. Don't stop in between because don't stop the beat. Don't stop halfway through because you're gonna get stuck in the wall. He's charging at it with his whole cart. Then he goes through and he sees this scarlet steam engine train. It says Hogwarts Express on it. Oh, I thought my tongue was yellow from my lozenge. He sees a sign just like this one right here. It says platform 9 3/4. Now, where the barrier was at sorry. It was a wrought iron gate, and children with their parents lined the whole platform, and trunks were being hauled on board. He passed a round-faced boy who looked very upset and said to his grandmother that he had lost his toad. This is Neville Longbottom. I want to tell you. I do want to tell you. This whole series could be so different, and it has to do with Neville. If you know, you know. I'll explain when we get to the 5th book. He goes to the back of the train. He tried to get his trunk up into the cart several times. Twins, Fred and George, came by. Need help? We can help you out. And then they take a good look at him and see a scar, and they're like, holy you're Harry Potter. Go say goodbye to their mother. Hear through the window the twins saying, you know who that boy was that you helped through the barricade? That was Harry Potter. Oh my god, no wonder he was by himself. Nobody's there to look after him, and she's such a nurturer. All the Weasleys were Gryffindors, but I feel like Molly is such a Hufflepuff. She forbade them for ever asking Harry about anything to do with Voldemort. Brother Percy came running down to say goodbye, and he's got a little badge. It has a P on it for a prefect. I always thought of them like the hall monitors. They're the ones that keep everybody in check. We're moving out and about throughout the school. Put a lid on it. All the prefects are sitting up at the front of the train. We're the cool kids. Fred and George always tease Percy about everything. Every accolade that he gets, they always tease him about it. Perfect Percy prefect here. Their mother is trying to wipe the hanky. All of them have like dirt on their face because of how they traveled to get there. I won't tell you much about that just yet. Look, just very homegrown. The farm life. They all hustle and get on the train, heading to school. Ron comes by the cart that Harry's in. Hey, do you mind if I sit in here? Because there's nowhere else to sit. That's fine by me. Come on in. The water's fine. Ron says, you know what? I thought that Fred and George were actually joking. I didn't think they were serious, that you were really who you are. Do you really have a scar? And Harry's like, yeah. Party trick. Woo. Harry tells him about that night. Sorry to bust your bubble. I really don't remember anything. I know that's not what anybody wants to hear. Just remember a green light and my scar was burning. They spend the time getting to know each other because each one is fascinated with each other's world. Harry is like, tell me everything about the wizarding world. Ron, because he's like, I've grown up around magic. The Weasleys are a pure blood family. I've just grown up around magic my whole life. I don't know much about the Muggle world. Harry asks if everybody in his family is a wizard, and he says yes, but I think there's one cousin on my mom's side who we don't talk to. There's a cousin who's an accountant on his mother's side, but they don't talk to him ever, which maybe he was a wizard. I wonder if anybody ever chooses not to partake in any magic at all after they've left school, or even if they choose not to go to school and control it to a certain degree, and they're just like, I don't want to have anything to do with this. I just want to live a normal Muggle life. What's it like living with all the Muggles? And Harry says, they're not all bad. It's just my particular family happens to be the worst type of Muggle there is. And then he was saying that he wished he grew up with wizarding brothers and sisters. Ron is like, yeah, well, I'm one of 7. Whoa. Okay, we got Bill, we got Charlie, Percy, Fred, George, Ron, Ginny. Yeah, that's it. Now, fun fact, Charlie is the only one in the movies that we never really meet. There's one scene. If you don't catch it, if you're kind of looking away, you'll miss it. One scene in all of the movies that I've been able to find. In Prisoner of Azkaban, the Weasleys had won a trip, so they picked to go to Egypt. There's a picture in the Daily Prophet of all the Weasleys in Egypt. And in the background, there's 2 people. One is Bill and one is Charlie. And recasted whoever played Bill because Bill does come back. And I don't know which one is which, but one is Charlie, one is Bill. That's the only time we ever see Charlie in any of the movies. I don't know why, because in this book, actually, Charlie does come around in one of the chapters. I'm not sure why this choice was made. He's not really around in the story, so I guess that's kind of why they were like, no need to cast a person that's hardly ever going to be here. Enough on that. I digress. Bill was head boy. Charlie was captain of the Quidditch team. Percy's a prefect. Fred and George have already got their reputation of being the class clowns, and everybody loves them. And of course, Ginny's the only girl. Ron is like, I feel like the runt. He doesn't say this, but this is his thought process. How am I going to prove myself against my brothers that have already achieved such great things? I don't know. Lord, the whole family are Gryffindors. And what if I'm the one black sheep, the one person that gets put in like in Hufflepuff, or even worse, Slytherin? If I get Slytherin, I'm leaving. I cannot be in that house. I think I'm gonna die in this house. Weasleys are they're not swimming in cash, okay? Molly stays at home and takes care of the house. They have a farm at home, and then their father works for the ministry, what the boys will describe as the worst and most boring department ever. Misuse of Muggle artifacts is where he worked. More on that another time. So it's a one-income house. Oh, so Ron is saying, I always get the hand-me-downs. Percy made prefect, so he got a brand new owl. Gets all hand-me-downs. His robes were Bill's. His wand was Charlie's. Remember what I said? Your own wand responds best to you. You know, the wand chooses the wizard. You can use other people's wands. It's never going to work 100%. For his pet, he got Percy's old rat, Scabbers. Scabbers gets me fucking hot. Not in a good way. I want to punt that little rat so far. Oh, Scabbers is just like a lazy sack of shit. He just lays around and sleeps all day. Harry could tell that Ron was kind of embarrassed that his family doesn't have all this money. And Harry says, I didn't have any money beforehand when I lived with my Muggle family. I slept in a closet. He doesn't tell him all that. He's trying to relate to him. I know how you feel. Still doesn't know hardly anything about magic. Only had just heard about Voldemort when Hagrid came by. And Ron is like, dude, oh my god, I can't believe you just said his name. And Harry's like, well, see, you know, that's what I'm talking about. I didn't even know I shouldn't say his name. Like, what's the etiquette here? Like an hour or two just chit-chatting and shooting the shit. A lady comes by with a trolley. Sorry. The trolley cart full of candy. Ron is like, no, I'm okay. He doesn't have any money to buy candy. You know, my mom packed me some sandwiches. And Harry's like, I'll buy the entire lot. I want one of everything. I filmed another part of this video, actually. This is your crash course in spells, magical objects, curses, this and that. And in that video, I talked about candies that are available. I'm gonna pass it over to myself. Take it from here. Hello, sweaties. Come on into the class. Hello. There's a bug. Anyway, hello my little sweats. I can't see you at all. I picked up some glasses that would fit the vibe of this persona that I'm portraying. They're readers. I cannot see. I already can't see anyway, but I am your professor, a study guide professor. Okay, I'm gonna be Professor Sweaty. I thought about looking up what the origin of the word sweaty comes from, and maybe we can make a professor name for that. Where does the word sweat come from? Sweat, meaning moisture of the skin. I'll be Professor Swat, and y'all are my swatties. We're doing a crash course in this class. Thank you for joining us. Oh shit. Sorry if I shook you. Sorry if you see this like billowing. We do what we can here. I wanted to look like Professor Trelawney, but now I look like Miss Frizzle. Can I get a grip? Oh, I should spit out my gum. Actually went ahead and started writing out what all spells, and charms, and curses. I was writing out all of them, like what they do, what book they show up in, how we learn about them. I went to Target. They had any actual textbooks. What they did have, Ultimate Harry Potter spell book. This is not a sponsor, and I have color-coded everything. It's insane what I have done. I'm pretty sure all the spells are in here. I haven't found one that isn't. I'm gonna cut in every once in a while, just give you your lesson on your spells so you can pass your OWLs, ordinary wizarding levels. I'm here for you, Sweaty. You swatty. Quite the assortment of candy here. Wizarding sweets are commonly made with a wide variety of enchantments and magical ingredients. Chocolate frogs are made of 70% cacao, and leap around just as real frogs do. Birdie Bot's every flavor beans come in every flavor imaginable. Disgusting. Drubal's best blowing gum allows the chewer to blow bubbles that won't pop for days and is guaranteed to never lose its flavor. Now that is something I need. Fizzy Whizbees are sherbet balls that cause a person to levitate while eating them. They supposedly make you levitate because dried billy wings sting, not an enchantment. Okay. Ice Mice. I was gonna say, that sounds like a rap. It sounds like Ice Spice. It causes teeth to chatter and squeak. If I got some of that, or somebody pranked me with that, I'd probably jump off a building. No. Pepper Imps cause smoke to emit from the ears and nose. Tooth flossing string mints to floss one's teeth while they're being sucked on. Ah, perfect. Ron is like, my mom always forgets that I don't like corned beef. She made me corned beef sandwiches. A poor thing. He is the runt of the family. There's another point in time where he's like, he never remembers that I don't like this thing and I always end up getting this. Maybe it's bratty energy. I don't know. On one hand, it's like, be grateful she took the time to make you a sandwich. But on the other hand, damn, I've told you 7,000 times I hate this thing. Gives her the benefit of the doubt. She's got a household full of 5 kids. My dad taking care of the entire house. Well, Harry's like, man, dig in. I bought the entire cart. Harry picks up one of the chocolate frogs. It looks like this. Like that. Of course, theirs is real and can hip hop around. Like, are these real frogs? Ron is like, no, they're just a spell and they got one hop in them. Cases look like this. And he's like, what people really want out of the chocolate frogs are the cards inside. You can trade them, you can collect them, like Pokemon cards. And who does he get? The main man, Albus Dumbledore. It's supposed to move, but I don't think this one really moves. Albus Dumbledore, currently headmaster of Hogwarts, considered by many the greatest wizard of modern times. Dumbledore is particularly famous for his defeat of the dark wizard Grindelwald in 1945, for the discovery of the 12 uses of dragon's blood, and his work on alchemy with his partner, Nicholas Flamel. Professor Dumbledore enjoys chamber music and 10-pin bowling. That's what I mean. He's such a funny guy. Harry turns the card back around, and Dumbledore's picture is gone. What the fuck? What the literal fuck? And Ron says, you can't expect him to hang around all day, can you? And Harry's like, it's a picture. What do you mean? Dumbledore comes back into frame and he gives a wink to Harry. After all the chocolate frogs were open, Harry had for his collection Dumbledore, Morgana, Hingeist of Woodcroft, I don't know if I said that right, Albeit Grunion, Cirque, Paracelsus, and Merlin. He's got his collection going. It's so much fun. This is fun. Next up was the Birdie Bots every flavor bean. Now these are expired by May 19th, 2025. In about 2 days, it'll be a year. I think they're fine. I thought we'd try a couple. This is just Bean Boozled before Bean Boozled was a thing. I don't like jelly beans at all. You can have grass, green apple, marshmallow, rotten egg, sausage, lemon, soap, tutti frutti, vomit, watermelon, earwax, earthworm, dirt, cinnamon, cherry, candy floss, booger, blueberry, black pepper, and banana. Oh, that banana one would make me sick. Let's play it safe and go with a grass one. What if I opened it up and they were all molded? Might actually just taste like matcha. You take a bite first. How'd they do that? I don't know how to describe that. I guess that's as close to grass as you're gonna get. Oh my god, should we try an earwax one? Oh, ew, it's got yellow spots on it. Oh, that could be rotten egg. What in the mold is that? It's supposed to be earwax. Now that ain't bad at all. Are we sure that's earwax? Oh no, that tastes good. It tasted like I bit into a pine cone that they sell at Michael's for Christmas. This is soap. Does this taste like soap? Some of them are fake, sis.
These taste like soap.
That might be fake, sis. Some of these are fake.
Ugh. Ah, that's so holy. I feel like we gotta try earthworm. That one looks like a potato. This is gonna be my last one. I think that's earthworm. Nobody's making me do this. I'm acting like I'm being held at gunpoint. Oh no. Ew, nasty. How do you bottle that up and put that in a flavor? I need another earwax one. It tasted like bacon and burning rubber. Anyway, moving on. Neville, the one that lost his toad, he's like, have you guys seen my toad, Trevor? Nah, bro. I don't want to say he's a punching bag, but he's a punching bag. Why me kind of guy? His whole entire character until the very end. String of rotten luck. Ron kind of jokes, what the hell is going to bring a toad to school? Although I did bring Scabbers, so I'm no better. He's told by Fred and George spell to turn him yellow. You want to see it? And Harry's like, well, yeah, I want to see you turn this rat yellow. Oh, also, Ron, when he pulled his wand out, the unicorn hair that was in the wand that he's using was starting to fall out. And he's like, damn it, so damn old. Like, the wand is falling apart. This poor kid. Just get him a new wand. And just as he's about to start doing the spell, Hermione Granger. She is a Miss Know-It-All. Sometimes she does get on my nerves. Where would we be at if we didn't have her? And is asking for Neville again. We've been looking for this toad. Y'all seen the toad? And she says, are you doing magic? Let's see it then.
Are you doing magic? Let's see then.
Sunshine daisies, buttermellow, turn the stupid fat rat yellow, and nothing happens. Hermione, she's like, what the fuck? That's it? I've been practicing a couple spells at home, and they've all worked for me, so I don't know what your problem is. Her mom and dad are Muggle parents, and they were so excited when she got her letter to come here, memorized all of her textbooks, some extra reading, like she is nerdy. Oh, I do remember hearing your name in one of the books, Harry. Like a couple, like history books, asking what house that they hope to be sorted into. I really hope I get Gryffindor, but I'd be okay with Ravenclaw too. She's just kind of like rambling. The boys are looking at her like, She leaves and Ron is like, whatever house she gets, I hope it's not ours. I don't want to be around her. You think that? Harry asks what his older brothers that are done with school, what does a wizard do for work after school? What kind of jobs are to be had? Bill is in Africa doing work for Gringotts, and at Charlie in Romania, he works with dragons. Speaking of Gringotts and dragons and all the like, nothing really to do with the dragon, but Ron is like, well, did you hear what happened at Gringotts? Somebody tried to break into Gringotts. Why would you even try that, you idiot? His father, who works at the ministry, is helping investigate that. Kind of leaves it at that, and we don't really hear about it for another couple chapters. Door slides open again. Two stocky-looking boys and the boy from the robe shop, Draco Malfoy. We got word that the Harry Potter was on the train when we had to come see for ourselves. And he sees that it was Harry in the shop with him. He's like, you're a Potter. The boys that are with him are named Crab and Goyle. Vincent Crab and I'll remember his first name. I have it written down too. Gregory Goyle. So he told him his name is Draco Malfoy. Ron snorted and laughed at his name. Well, I don't need any help telling me who you are, you freckled-faced, red-headed, poor boy. You're a Weasley, and you have a house full of people that your parents can't even afford. He told Harry, you might want to be smart and not go around making friends with just anybody. Find out that some wizarding families are better than others, and he shouldn't go around making friends with the wrong sort. Held out his hand for Harry to shake, but Harry was like, no, I think I can tell the wrong sort for myself, you motherfucker. I'm not gonna be your friend. Draco has the gall to say, you know what, you better be a lot politer, especially politer than your parents, because otherwise you might go down the same road that they went down and end up being killed. Ron is standing up because he's about to start swinging. Ron's got a little short temper on him. You need to leave. And Draco's like, no, we're not finished yet. They see the big pile of candy. They go and reach for it. Scabbers comes to the rescue and he bites what's his face? Draco. Just like blinked. I'm sorry. Flings him around. They back out and run away. Hermione ends up coming back. What was all that about? So Harry tells both of them, well, I actually met Draco in Diagon Alley, and he was telling me about how he feels about pure blood families, how Muggle-born shouldn't be coming into the wizarding world, blah, blah, blah. Ron told him that his father, Mr. Weasley, told the rest of the family that the Malfoys were one of the first families to come running back to everybody else once you-know-who left. Oh yes. They claim to be bewitched, but Ron's father doesn't believe so, and Mr. Malfoy didn't need any excuse to go to the dark side. There's that. So anyway, the train gets there, they arrive, they change into their robes, Hagrid meets all the first years out on we're gonna go get on some boats, and it's kind of like a tradition. Not kind of like a tradition, it is a tradition. The first years cross over the Black Lake to get to the school. Enchanted with the spell, so they don't have to row them themselves. Of course, we all know what Hogwarts looks like, and we have an idea of what Hogwarts looks like. Ginormous, never-ending castle on the side of a mountain, dark black lake in front of it, and mountains everywhere, and trees, foliage. whoa, with towers and turrets, and who knows how far down under the mountain it goes. Oh. The students were able to take in the magnitude of the castle. They docked the boats through the opening of the cliff. There was a tunnel through the cliff and whatever. Hagrid was pulling all the boats to shore, and he goes, "Did somebody lose a toad?" Neville's toad Trevor found his way. The whole group was standing in front of giant oak doors, and I'm gonna quit. Hagrid gave 3 big knocks to let them in. That is the end of chapter... I quit! That's the end of chapter 6. My battery's gonna die, so I hope it doesn't die on me. But go over some names that we've just learned. Okay, so we got Ron Weasley. Ronald means ruler's counsel, reflecting his role as Harry's trusted friend. Also means advice or decision. Middle name is Bilious. One of the 4 humors dealing with anger, ill-tempered, links to his occasional outbursts. And Weasley comes from weasel, which is a creature often looked down upon or misunderstood, just like the family's reputation in the wizarding world. Hermione Granger. I'm frothing at the mouth. The messenger god Hermes, and means well-born, stone, or messenger. Also known as the daughter of Helen of Troy. Name was taken from a Shakespeare play, The Winter's Tale. Her initials HG are the same as Mercury's periodic symbol, which is the Roman equivalent of Hermes. Okay, and then we got Draco Malfoy. Draco is actually Latin for dragon, and Malfoy could be split... Sorry, I gotta take my medicine. Could be split Mal, meaning bad, and Foy, F-O-I, meaning faith or trust. Bad faith. He's a bad seed. Neville Longbottom. Neville means new town / village. Longbottom means long valley or a long dell, derived from lang bottom. Could refer to an actual long valley or someone's nature to stay in a deep-rooted nature. He is a faithful friend, I'll tell you that. Neville is... Well, let's get through Crabbe and Goyle. So Vincent Crabbe. Vincent means to conquer. Ironic since he's a follower of Draco. Crabbe means bad-tempered or attitude, to be crabby. Gregory Goyle. Gregory means watchful or alert. Goyle is a pun for gargoyle. They're not working with a whole lot up there. I'm gonna tell you about the Weasleys, okay? The twins. Born on April 1st, on April Fool's Day, so it's very fitting for them. Fred or Frederick means peaceful ruler, which is an ironic contrast to his chaotic nature. Sorry, I feel like I'm really going fast, but I'm trying to beat my battery before it dies. George means farmer / inventor. I don't know if it's really spoiling it, but when they leave school, they end up creating a joke shop. Point out something else with their name when we get to the last book, because... well, whatever. When we get there, we get there. Percy Weasley. Percy could mean pierce the valley, pierce the veil, or destroyer. Alright, whatever. Ginny Weasley. Real name is Generva. Comes from a Guinevere and means white, fair, smooth. Honestly, Ginny is like one of my least favorite characters. Especially movie version. Movie version, Ginny, boring, snore. I guess book version is not that bad, but truthfully, I don't care. I don't care about Ginny all that much. Bill Weasley. William means desire / protection. Reflects his older brother role of all the Weasley children. Charlie Weasley. We don't really know a whole lot about him as the story goes on. We know he takes care of dragons. Charles means free man. He spends the whole series off training dragons is what I wrote. Arthur Weasley, which is their father. Arthur means bear and king, like a papa bear. Weasley men tend to all be named after legendary kings or knights. Molly Weasley, the mother. Molly comes from mollycoddle, which means to pamper or protect. And that's all I got for you. Hope y'all find that as interesting as I did. And I hope I'm not really spoiling it if you don't know how their stories go. All right, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna get myself in check. Come back with chapter 7.
Y'all, I feel like shit. I'm sick. Oh, hang on. Oh, I can't do that. Okay, joke's over. I can't do that. Well, I had planned to film this whole weekend, but that is not gonna happen. I don't think y'all want to hear me when I sound like this. Just give me 1 second. Uno momento, por favor.
I live, bitch. Yes, I'm alive, sort of well. I'm sorry if I sound just a smidgen stuffy. I gotta film this. I don't have much time. All right, well, let's get back into it. Chapter 7, the sorting hat. I wanted to get a sorting hat for myself, but everyone that I found online was fucking expensive or looked like shit. I didn't want a plushie. I wanted a real sorting hat. Okay, so we have arrived at Hogwarts. The reason why it's named Hogwarts, one of the founders, we got 4 founders of Hogwarts. One of them is Rowena Ravenclaw. She had a dream about a warty hog that led her to a cliffside in Scotland, and that is where the castle was built. They're at the doors of Hogwarts. Hagrid is beating on the door. Hello? Let me in, please. Professor McGonagall. My chair just sunk down. Professor McGonagall opens the door. They go into the entrance hall. I saw in the trailer for the new show that their entrance hall looks very full of trees. That's also something I'm curious about watching this new show is I see their iteration of things. Like I was thinking, how are they going to do Aragog? See Chamber of Secrets. How are they going to do the Whomping Willow? Like even their brooms look different. Cautiously curious. It was big enough to fit the Dursleys' home inside of it. Lit by torches like at Gringotts, and the ceiling reached so far up you couldn't see it. Be there. Harry says that he could hear a whole bunch of students behind closed doors to his right. The banquet's gonna start. They have a feast on opening day. 1991 Hogwarts draft pick. In a few minutes, we're gonna go in there and we're gonna have a sorting ceremony. Most of them are all like, what do we have to do? Going to sort them into their houses for the next 7 years of being at Hogwarts. I wonder if you could change. Things are not working out. Like you get through the whole year and you're like, look, I put up with this but I am not made to be a Gryffindor. I can't do it. I'm not brave. Put me in Hufflepuff. Your houses while you're here are like your family. You can get points for your houses for doing anything. Being a good Samaritan, answering questions properly in class, just doing your damn work. A model citizen. Break any rules, then you'll lose points for your houses. Now at the end of the year, points are accumulated. The house with the most points wins the house cup. We're going to be going in there in a couple minutes. Pull yourselves together. Everybody was kind of nervous because she didn't say how the sorting ceremony was going to go. What are we going to do? Do we have to fight? Do we have to show magic? And so Harry, of course, is thinking like, I don't know shit. Ron tells him that Fred and George had told him that there was like some strenuous nail biter of a task. They were lying. They just wanted to psych him out. Hermione was like rattling off spells and charms. Well, I've already memorized the books, so I should be okay. Bunch of not white, they're not Caucasian. I mean, like, well, they could be Caucasian, I don't know. Translucent, glowing, pearlescent people come floating in through the walls like a crossway of ghosts. Plenty of ghosts here. Well, people are screaming because they're like, what the there's ghosts floating around. I think it's so funny to think about the ghosts because they're so completely normal. Muggle world. One ghost roaming around. We lose our shit. Ghosts are not paying attention to the kids at all. They're just like, anyway, la 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 la. Some that are mentioned more than others. House ghosts. Sir Nicholas for Gryffindor. Fat Friar, who is like a monk looking man for Hufflepuff. The Bloody Baron for Slytherin. And the Grey Lady or Helena Ravenclaw for Ravenclaw. Rowena Ravenclaw, that is her daughter. Fat Friar is going back and forth with the Bloody Baron. They're saying, maybe we should give him a second chance. Who are we talking about? The poltergeist that is never mentioned in any of the movies. And a lot of people, this is their favorite point to bring up. This poltergeist, his name is Peeves. Would be the funniest thing if this show did not have Peeves. Of course I want to see him in the show because he is a part of the book. So funny if the show was like, we're gonna keep this a running joke and not put Peeves in. The ghosts are talking about how Peeves is such a nuisance, messes with everyone, even the teachers. Nobody's safe from this man except the Bloody Baron. The Bloody Baron's the only one that can keep him in check. Enough of that for a second because McGonagall comes back in, fly away, shoo fly. Then she tells the student, line up, we're going in. 4 huge long tables that line the entire length of this great hall. Now, this is the great hall, not the entrance hall. All the rest of the students are already sat down, and then on the back wall, all of the faculty and staff, and Dumbledore is sat in a golden throne. Hagrid's there, Quirrell is there. There's a whole bunch of other teachers that we have not met yet. I think we all pretty much know what the Great Hall looks like. To paint the picture for you, thousands of candles were floating in midair. I didn't have thousands. I only had about 12. Over top of 4 long tables. Tables had golden plates and goblets. Hermione was heard saying that she read in Hogwarts a history. Ceiling was bewitched to look like the outside sky. The first years lined in front of the teachers. Oh, whatever. Anyway, when they're facing the rest of the classes, McGonagall comes out with a stool, a really raggedy looking brown witch's hat. Not witches. Well, I guess it could be a witch or a wizard's hat. Harry starts thinking that maybe they're gonna have to pull a rabbit out of the hat or something. This is gonna be the easiest task you can do here, Harry, because all you do is you sit down, put the hat on, because the hat talks. The seam around the front and the brim started to move like a mouth. It started speaking to the first years. Oh, you may not think I'm pretty, but don't judge on what you see. I'll eat myself if you can find a smarter hat than me. You can keep your bowlers black, your top hat sleek and tall, for I'm the Hogwarts sorting hat, and I can top them all. I feel like I'm reading a Dr. Seuss book. There's nothing hidden in your head the sorting hat can't see, so try me on and I will tell you where you ought to be. You might belong in Gryffindor, where dwell the brave at heart. Their daring, nerve, and chivalry set Gryffindor apart. Who's a Gryffindor out there? Not me. You might belong in Hufflepuff, where they are just and loyal, as patient Hufflepuffs are true and unafraid of toil. My mom's a Hufflepuff through and through. I bet she would say she's Gryffindor, but Mom, you are a Hufflepuff. And I know you're listening, Mom. My mom's so excited for me to do these videos. Hi, Mom! Or yet in wise old Ravenclaw. If you're a ready mind, where those of wit and learning will always find their kind. Or perhaps Slytherin, you'll make your real friends. Those cunning folk use any means to achieve their ends. Put me on and don't be afraid, and don't get in a flap. You're in safe hands, though I have none, for I'm a thinking cap. It's gonna read your mind. The rest of the students cheer, hooting and hollering. They're really excited. It's the draft pick, 1991 draft pick. Ow, that hurt. Ow, I moved my potion bottle. I'm gonna read you every student that's talked about in the books, so I'm expecting to see all of them portrayed. So our first girl up is a Hannah Abbott from Abbott Elementary. Places the hat on her and it covered her eyes. Now what's happening inside is the hat is talking to them, but the rest of the students can't hear it. After some time, the hat sits there and he goes,
Hufflepuff.
and Hufflepuff cheers. Hannah goes over that way. Yay, Hannah! If you remember me telling you when Hagrid's talking to Harry about families that had been slain by you-know-who, one of them was the Bones. The Bones. Next girl to go up is Susan Bones. She goes to Hufflepuff. Terry Boot and Mandy Brocklehurst went to Ravenclaw. Lavender Brown, she's the first Gryffindor of the day. Yes! Millicent Bulstrode, she goes to Slytherin. Justin Flinch Fletchley, he goes to Hufflepuff. The boy standing next to Harry was named Seamus Finnegan. He goes to Gryffindor. He is a pyrotechnic. Everything he touches catches on fire. Hermione was next. It didn't take very long and it decided that Hermione goes to Gryffindor. I'm very shocked that she didn't go to Ravenclaw, but I was thinking about it the other night. I was thinking of Neville. And Neville's next up and he goes into Gryffindor. Ends up running off the stage, tripping over the stool. He takes the hat with him. He's such a klutz. Jesus, Neville, how did you get into this house? You don't appear very brave and courageous. You seem very timid and shy. You get to the very end of it all. You're like, oh, it was always in you the whole time. I don't know where I was going with that. Sorry. Draco, he goes up. I don't even think the hat touched his head. It like hovered over it and the hat was like, you're in Slytherin. And Harry goes. Of course, everybody's whispering. They're like, oh, the boy who lived. The hat starts talking to him and he's like, oh my god, you have got a brilliant mind under here. You would be great over in Slytherin. It said that it was a difficult choice. He has plenty of courage and not a bad mind either. And Harry kept thinking to himself, not Slytherin. He kept saying it in his mind, please don't put me in that house. So the hat said, why not? You would be really good at Slytherin, but if you're sure, I guess I can put you in old Gryffindor. Gryffindor loses their mind. They're raising the roof. We got the boy who lived. Face the teachers now and look at them all, and he sees Hagrid on one side, gives him a thumbs up. Dumbledore's clapping for him. I want you to pay attention. Harry ends up having quite a few father figures. I'll be your father figure. I drink the brown liquor. I could think of probably at least 5 men in his life that end up being there for him. When I hear about Hagrid, I always think Hagrid is, I wouldn't say a father figure. He's a fun uncle. Oh my god, does he care about Harry. Also can see Quirrell sitting up there with the teachers. Now Quirrell has got a purple turban wrapped around his head. Okay. What's so wrong about that? Nothing's wrong. We got the last 4 kids getting sorted. Dean Thomas, he goes into Gryffindor. Dean Thomas is Muggleborn too. I don't know if you care, but Lisa Turpin goes into Ravenclaw. Blaise Zabini goes to Slytherin. And Ron is sorted into Gryffindor. He's probably like, Dumbledore gets really funny. He wants to say some things before they eat. Nitwit, blubber, oddment, and tweak. All right, let's eat. Well, Harry looks over at Percy. Is this guy okay? He's talking about Dumbledore. Is he mad? And Percy's like, yeah, a little bit. You want some potatoes? And he looks down, covered in food everywhere. Bro, I have never in my life seen this much food for me. If you wanted to know, there's elves at Hogwarts that we don't really see much. Hermione's gonna be a big supporter of the elves. They're underneath the Great Hall in the kitchen. They clean up, okay? They clean house. All the things that you don't see. How does this get washed? How do their sheets get taken care of? How is their trunk moved up to their room? Where does the food come from? Who cleans these bathrooms? A lot of it's magic, but a lot of it also is elves. More on that later. I just thought if you were curious where the food is actually coming from. What's on the menu tonight, ladies? Roast beef, roast chicken, pork chops, lamb chops, sausage, bacon, steak, boiled potatoes, roast potatoes, fries, Yorkshire pudding, a Yorkshire pudding. I might get some flack for this, but Brits, what the f*** are y'all eating over there? A Yorkshire pudding? That is not a pudding. That looks like a damn dinner roll with gravy on top. It looks good until you start putting that green slop over everything. I don't know what that's supposed to be. Peas, carrots, gravy, ketchup, okay? And for some reason, peppermint humbugs. Now, let me tell you something more about these ghosts. Because Harry's sitting next to Sir Nicholas, and he's watching everybody eat. This stuff looks great. Wish I could eat it. And Harry's like, are you able to? And he's like, nah. He hasn't eaten anything in 500 years. Couldn't be me. Can you imagine how skinny I'd be? His name is Sir Nicholas de Mimsy Porpington. I can never remember it all. Ron shouts out, "Oh my gosh, my brothers told me about you. You're nearly headless Nick." Nick don't like that nickname. "Excuse me, I'm actually Sir Nicholas, you bastard. I was knighted." Well, everybody starts asking, "How can you be nearly headless?" And he's like, "Oh my god." Like this. Takes his head off. There's like 1 inch of skin and a little bit of tendon. Botched execution. They kept on whacking at him. The adult axe like 50 fucking times and he died. But at what cost? He's like, all right, enough of that. I hope you guys really band together. We win the House Cup for Gryffindor because we haven't won in the last 6 years because and Slytherin over there keeps on snatching it up. Let's all rally together. Bloody Baron, which is Slytherin's house ghost, will not stop talking about it. So why don't we rub it in his face? They look over and they see the Bloody Baron. He looks regal. On his ruffles is stained with silver blood down the front of him. I want to tell you, but then I'm skipping ahead too much and we can't do that. They're asking Sir Nicholas, what's all that blood on the front of him? And he says, I don't know. I've never asked. I'm afraid to ask. The dinner, everything clears away. They've got clean plates and forks. Now it's time for dessert. What do we have? Blocks of ice cream. Okay. Apple pies, treacle tarts, chocolate eclairs, jam donuts, trifle. I can up a trifle. Strawberries, jello, and rice pudding. Harry's listening to Seamus. Seamus is actually half and half. Dad's a muggle, my mom's a witch. His mom didn't tell his dad that until they were married, and she's like, hey, so listen, I can do this thing. So it was a bit of a nasty shock for him, but he's half and half. Dean is muggle born. Hermione's muggle born. Ron and the Weasleys are pure blood. Neville said that his grandmother brought him up. Neville's family thought that he wasn't going to get any magical powers. And he has an uncle named Algie. Torture this poor boy, trying to provoke, like with Harry, if he got really upset, if he got angry, that's when the magic would come out. So his uncle was always trying to provoke Neville, but doing it in the worst possible way. And one time he pushed Neville off a pier and Neville almost drowned. When he was 8 years old, his uncle held him outside of a window and dropped him, and Neville bounced like a bouncy ball and rolled down the street. They were like, Neville! Yes! Got your magical powers, boy. And then he got his letter from Hogwarts. His uncle was so happy for him. And then he bought him the toad Trevor. This is important. This is important. Harry's looking up at the table of teachers again. He notices Professor Quirrell. He's turned away like this, talking to a man, Professor Severus Snape. Snape. Severus Snape. Who watched the Harry Potter Puppet Pals?
Snape. Harry Snape. Harry Snape. Harry Snape. Harry.
That is very old YouTube. I'm sure some of you weren't even born when that came out. This is a point of contention with a lot of people, so let me explain. The show has picked an actor who is black. Like I said, I don't really have a problem with the casting. It doesn't bother me all that much, but I can see it both ways. It shouldn't matter what skin color he is, but also, was it the next chapter? You're gonna see it's a little bit like throughout 90% of this series, Harry doesn't like Snape. And from the get, the part in here where he's like, I don't know why, but I got the worst feeling ever when I looked at Snape. The feeling that I was not gonna like this man. People are saying that because they casted a black actor and Harry's supposed to not like Snape, that it's gonna look really weird. As far as we know, this is gonna be the only black teacher that they have on the staff, only hating on the only black teacher. That's the issue that people have. Wrote down his description: greasy black hair, a hooked nose, and sallow skin. Nobody's ever going to replace Alan Rickman. He is Snape to me and to most people. If I could cast anybody, thank you for asking, like an Adam Driver, but also he might be too swole. I'm sure he can adapt. Or maybe we should get an unknown. And I'm just interested to see where he takes this character. I don't even know the actor's name. Sorry, dude. That's the biggest issue of this show. Let me know what you think about it, if you have an opinion on who should play Snape. But look, the show's already filmed. I think they've already greenlit the second season. A lot of eggs in one basket, knowing that this is going to be big. So anyway, I was going to say, how is that going to look if they go into the second, third, fourth, and fifth seasons on? Because Snape is going to be like top 3 or 4 prominent characters in this series. I need to hurry up. I've been talking about this chapter for an hour now. Harry's looking at Quirrell, facing away from him. Quirrell is talking to Snape. Well, Harry leans over to Percy and he's like, who is that guy? Percy says, oh, that's Professor Snape. He teaches potions. He's been after the defense against the dark arts job for years. Everybody knows that he wants that spot. Snape looked past Quirrell right into Harry's eyes, and Harry could feel a sharp pain in his scar. Now, this is why Harry correlates Snape with being a negative thing, because he's looking right at him in the eyes, and he's like, God, ow! Couldn't help feeling like he didn't like the way this teacher looked at him, like he didn't like Harry at all. Their first encounter. I'm gonna say something. Me and my brother get into some arguments about this. I don't like Snape. Now listen, those who know how it ends with Snape, I know what happens. I know what this man has been up against. I understand. I feel bad for Snape, but I don't like him. Anyway, but it's time to go to bed. But before we do, Dumbledore has got some things that he wants to say. He let the first years know that the forest is forbidden. Well, not just to them, to all students. Mr. Filch, the caretaker, is asked to remind anyone not to use magic in the corridors between classes, because this man, he is crotchety and he is tired of cleaning up people's messes. Honestly, justice for Filch, only sometimes. The school janitor, and he's got to clean up so much shit. Quidditch trials will be held at the second term of the week. Wait, what? Second week of term. I'm alright. And lastly, third floor on the right-hand side is out of bounds for anyone that doesn't wish to die a painful death. Alright, before we go to bed, let's all sing the Hogwarts song. This one made me laugh because he told everyone to pick their favorite tune. We don't all have to sing the same way. Of course, it sounds like a mess. He uses his wand and it writes out in golden ribbon the lyrics to this song. Hogwarts, Hogwarts, hoggy warty Hogwarts, teach us something please. Whether we be old and bald or young with scabby knees, our heads could do with filling with some interesting stuff, for now they're bare and full of air, dead flies and bits of fluff. So teach us things worth knowing, bring back what we forgot, just do your best, we'll do the rest, and learn until our brains all rot. I have a feeling that Dumbledore wrote this in his study. Like, he worked on this for about a week. I just picture him being like, write that down, write that down. But they finished and Dumbledore was like, music, the common denominator that we all share. It brings us all together. What did Madonna say? Music makes the people, what? Come together. I used to have that on my hit clips. I think I have my hit clips somewhere. It sounds like death. Another world building scene. Prefects have to lead all of their houses up to their towers. Well, not all of them go to towers. Gryffindor goes to a tower and I think Ravenclaw goes to a tower. Slytherins actually go down to the dungeons. If you watch any sort of gameplay on Hogwarts, what is it? Hogwarts Legacy? I want to play it really bad, but I don't have a PC. My Mac computer would fucking blow up if I tried to play that. And I don't have like an Xbox. I don't have I'm not a gamer, but I would love to play that. I've seen some gameplay, and if this is really how it's laid out, it would take you 30 minutes to get to your dormitory to a classroom. It would take you so long. Because in the books, a lot of the times they'll say, ran from our dormitory down to the herbology greenhouse. No, you did not. No, you didn't just run there. It took you 45 minutes to get there. Well, they're going upstairs. Percy stops everybody because they see a bunch of floating walking sticks. It's Peeves. A poltergeist, a mischievous or destructive ghost or supernatural force believed to manifest its presence through physical disturbances such as loud noises, rapping sounds, and the movement of levitation of objects. The word originates from German noisy ghost or rumbling spirit. Founders that founded Hogwarts, they're like, nah, he comes with the castle, sorry. It's a package deal, you get Peeves with it. He likes messing around with the New Year's. Oh my god, with the first years, because they're easy targets. He drops all the walking sticks on Neville, portrait of a fat lady. That is not mean, because that's what she's called. It's not mean if that's her name. In a silk pink nightgown looking dress, and she sits there and she says, password. Oh, password. They change the password quite often. I guess word can get out. Right now, it's Caput Draconis. She opens up her portrait. They all step in through a hole in the wall. They're in the Gryffindor common room. Super cozy. We got hella armchairs, fire ablaze. It's just, yeah, dude, it's the hangout spot. The boys and girls split into their separate dorms. 5 4-poster beds were all ready for them, and their trunks were brought up. Crawling into bed, Harry has a dream about Quirrell's turban. Kept talking to him, telling him that he needed to transfer over to Slytherin because it was his destiny. Kept telling it no and tried to take it off. It only tightened and got heavier. Malfoy was there laughing at him. Then Malfoy turned into Snape, who was laughing at him. He saw a flash of the green light and Harry woke up sweating and fell back to sleep. The next morning, he couldn't remember the dream at all. What the fuck, Harry? That was one chapter, and for me recording it took 1 hour and 19 minutes. I'm a yapper. If they had a house for yapping, oh, you best believe I would be head girl. Maybe I'm the founder of the yapper house. We're going into chapter 8, the Potions Master. Sorry, Harry's getting a lot of attention being here. I think he's more embarrassed of it right now. People would be walking down the hallways and they'd run back down the hall and then turn back around so they could get a second look at him. He wished that they wouldn't do that because he was already having a difficult time finding his way around the school. There were 142 staircases, sweeping ones, narrow ones, and some that led somewhere different on Fridays. Some with a vanishing step that you had to jump over, otherwise you'd probably fall to your death. There were doors that wouldn't open unless asked politely or tickled in the right spot. Some weren't even real doors, just walls pretending to be a door. People in the portraits like to move and visit other paintings, and Harry swears that the coats of armor could walk too. Peeves the poltergeist would often lock the doors, jump out at people and scare them. He'd trick a staircase if you were late, throw things or pants people, and then he'd grab onto their nose and be like,
Got your conch.
excuse me? Above everybody else. The worst one was Filch. Argus Filch. He also has a cat named Mrs. Norris. Filch knows every secret passageway, pretty much. I don't think there's many that he doesn't know. He's able to cut people off, thinking if they're skipping class, going somewhere where they shouldn't go, and be like, what are you doing? Detention. Mrs. Norris, she is a snitch. She sees you out, she surely will go get her master and go find Filch and be like, meow. Harry's realizing how much magic there is, not just a flick of the wrist. He has an astronomy class, had to study the night sky on Wednesday nights at midnight to learn the names of all the planets. 3 times a week they had herbology class out in the greenhouse that was taught by a short, stumpy woman named Professor Sprout. Every house also has a head teacher. Professor Sprout is Hufflepuff. Professor Flitwick, who is the charms teacher, he is Ravenclaw's. McGonagall is Gryffindor's, and Snape is Slytherin's. They said the most boring class was History of Magic, and this was the only class taught by a ghost, Professor Binns, one day and fell asleep by a fire in the staff room, and he didn't even realize that he died, that he just walked up and left his body behind and just went and taught class like nothing was wrong. He always talks very monotone. Professor Flitwick is the charms teacher, head of Ravenclaw House. Heller. He's a very small man. I think he might be part goblin, who had to stand on a pile of books to see over his desk, and he ended up falling over backwards when he read off the attendance sheet, seeing that Harry was going to be in his class. He was so excited. McGonagall, she teaches. I think I need to take a break. She teaches transfiguration, where you shapeshift things, turn one thing into another. She ain't no one to with, okay? She's not a pushover. She is a tough old broad. She gave one warning that this subject was one of the most important, complex subjects that they'll learn while at Hogwarts, and any funny business will not be tolerated. You'll be asked to leave and not come back. And then she changed her desk into a pig and back again. For their first day of transfiguration, they were to turn a matchstick into a needle. It proved to be very difficult because the only one that got close was Hermione. She made it silver and pointy, and that was about it. The class that most people looked forward to was Defense Against the Dark Arts. But Professor Quirrell was teaching. They're like, well, this is a letdown because he's timid as hell, he's shaky, he's fidgety, he stutters so bad. The classroom reeked of garlic. Oh, hang on. My eyes are watering. It's fine. Stop. Literally stop. Because it reeked of garlic. He told the class that he had been given this purple turban by an African prince after ridding his house of a zombie. The students weren't sure of this because when Seamus asked, like, how did he do it? He's like, well, anyway, let's get started with our lesson today. Don't ask. I could smell a weird smell coming from his turban as well. When you know what's going on, oh my god, stinky. Well, Ron let them know, looking at their schedules, we got double potions class today. My class that I would take, be my forte, would be potions. I feel like I would rock it at potions. Based on no context. No, either potions, transfiguration, or charms. I don't really care about herbology. Astronomy, not for this old gal. There's also a class that they're going to take in their 3rd year. It's a requirement. It's called divination. Opening your 3rd eye, getting in touch with the world, the vibrations, reading tea leaves. I would be like Hermione. Hermione thinks that class is a fucking joke. I wouldn't treat it as aggressively as Hermione does, but I definitely would be like, this is the load of barnacles. I would love to believe in that stuff, but I can't. I don't get it. I think it's a bunch of hogwash. Yeah, alright, I'll say it. It's not written in the stars. Where was I? We're gonna have potions class with Snape, obviously being the head teacher of Slytherin House. Ron says that he really favors the Slytherin students. They wish that McGonagall would do that with them, but McGonagall's a hard-ass bitch. I don't care if you're in my house or not. It's mail time. Owls fly in and out of the Great Hall. They are swooping and swarming. They drop packages in front of people. Probably a good idea for Harry to get his own owl because school has owls that you can use, public use, but I don't know, get your own. Harry hasn't gotten any mail all week. Everybody else has gotten stuff sent from their parents. We can't confirm that every single person has gotten something. Hedwig brings Harry a letter. Finally! And it's from Hagrid. I hope you're having a great first week. I'd love to see you come down to my hut. We'll have some tea later on. So Harry writes back on the letter. He's like, yep, I'll be there. And he ties it to Hedwig's you. Fuck off. Potions class did not go according to plan. Went downhill quick. Potions class is in the dungeons, close to Slytherin common room. It's cold, it's dank. Snape reads off the attendance roll and he gets to Harry's name and he's like, Harry Potter, our new celebrity. Oh, that's what I mean. Snape is a fucking jerk. He's mean to everybody. He's rude. Tells the class up front, he's like, I'm not in the business of tomfoolery. Not gonna be any foolish wand waving. No silly words are gonna be spoken. Everything is said with intent. He can teach him how to bottle fame, brew glory, and put a stopper on death. And suddenly he calls out, Harry, do you know how to do anything? No, you don't. What would you get if you added powdered root of asphodel to an infusion of wormswood? And Harry's like, of course, Hermione's trying to answer. Keeps on going. He's like, oh, you don't know? That's funny. Where would you go to find a Bezoar? Well, what's the difference between, what is it? Monkswood and Wolfsbane. Didn't bother to open up any of your books before you got here? Not taking this seriously. From Harry's perspective, Harry's like, what did I do? What the fuck? But let me tell you what all those things mean. He told Harry asphodel and wormswood would make a sleeping potion so powerful it's called the Draught of Living Dead. Bezoar is a stone found in the belly of a goat and will save you from most potions. Monkshood and Wolfsbane are the same plant and go by the name aconite. As Harry had told him, I don't know, but it looks like Hermione knows. Maybe you should ask her. Fucking bitch. For lack of knowledge, 1 point is taken away from Gryffindor. Congratulations. Okay, let's just get to the lesson, people. The lesson for the day was to be put in pairs and make a simple potion to cure boils. Oh my god. Why don't we cure my hiccups? Well, Snape found a way to make everybody else seem stupid as hell. Everybody else had a problem with their potion, except it seemed like Malfoy was doing okay. Malfoy was actually one of Snape's preferred students. Neville and Seamus were in a pair, managed to brew something that burnt through their cauldron and onto the floor and even burnt some people's shoes. Neville somehow managed to make a potion, create boils. Snape told Seamus, take him down to the infirmary. Somehow turned this around on Harry and was like, why did you tell him not to add the porcupine quills until after it was taken off the heat? Could have saved him. Now he's dealing with boils. Is it just so it would make you look better? There's really no need for this. For that, another point. Whatever, the class is over. Going to Hagrid, Ron asks if he can tag along with them. Hermione's not really a part of the trio just yet. Hagrid lets them in, gives them some like rock hard biscuit cake things. He's got a really big dog, a hound dog named Fang. Fang is huge. It's a nice companion to have. He doesn't do much. But Hagrid about their first week of school, Harry brings up, I think Snape hates me. And Hagrid, he's like, what reason would he have to hate you? No, he doesn't hate you. Harry picks up a Daily Prophet article, okay, and it's talking about the Gringotts vault that got broken into. Okay, this just in. It talked about the latest Gringotts break-in that took place on July 31st, which is Harry's birthday. It is believed that the robbery was done by witches or wizards unknown. The goblins insisted that nothing was taken and the vault had been emptied that day. And he didn't know it was the day that him and Hagrid were there. So Harry's like, bruh. Did this happen right after we left? He knows more than he's letting on, but he's trying to be very subtle. Well, he's not very good at it. This is making Harry a lot more curious as to what was inside of the vault and why is somebody trying to steal this thing. Well, that's the end of chapter 8. I'm gonna take a fucking break. I'm good at getting 2 chapters in, and then I'm like, I'm done. I've done enough here. I haven't eaten yet, and it's 9 o'clock at night. Right, alright, I'll be back. Let's get back to it. Let me tell you a few more names that I have written down in the Hogwarts crest logo. I think I have it written out right here on my shirt, actually. Can you see that? Right there? Well, I'll read it for you. I don't know how to read this properly. Draco Dormiens Nunquam Titilladeus. It translates to never tickle a sleeping dragon. I don't know if I did Voldemort's name. I was gonna skip over it because Voldemort actually has 2 names. A name when he was a boy and Voldemort. And I thought I would just wait until both of them mean at the same time, but I feel like that's kind of stupid now. Voldemort, French meaning flight of death, theft of death. Vol means theft or flight. D is of, and Mort means death. He's got his other name that we will talk about in the next book. The teachers we've got here, Severus Snape. Severus is Latin for harsh, cold, stern, snubbing action, which reflects his persona. I mean, for real. Snape is Old Norse meaning to dishonor, outrage, or disgrace, or a name for someone living near a steep, sloping edge. The author also based this name off of a village in England, a character off of a former chemistry teacher that she had. Well, that makes sense because he's a potions master. Professor Phileas Flitwick. I don't know when his first name is ever said in in the books. That might be in like a video game or something. Phileas is Latin for son of, and Flitwick could just be from the motion of his hand when he's doing a charm. Professor Pomona Sprout. Pomona comes from the Roman goddess of fruit, trees, gardens, and orchards. Sprout represents new growth. It ties together. She's the herbology teacher. Do you guys say herbology or herbology? In America, when we say the word herb, we say herb. Britain, they say herb, which makes more sense. I've always been taught to say herb, but when I say herbology, I say herbology. Tomato. Ghost teacher, Professor Cuthbert Binns. I guess that's how you say his name. Cuthbert. Cuthbert. Cuthbert or Cuthbert. He's not a big character, so I don't know why I'm spending so much time on this. Cuthbert is from Saint Cuthbert of Lindisfarne, known as a hermit and one of the most important medieval saints of northern England. Ties to his history of magic. Binns is slang for glasses. I didn't know that. Madame Pomfrey, Poppy Pomfrey. She is our nurse. Poppy is a medicinal flower used to make opium or morphine, and Pomfrey is a play on words. Comfrey is a medicinal herb known as knitbone for healing injuries. Madame Hooch, which I always think her name is so funny. Madam Hooch is someone I'll talk about in a chapter or two. Quidditch teacher, professor. She's like a PE coach. Suggests high altitude or spirited personality. Amber, yellow, hawk eyes. Very bird-like. Then we have Madam Pince, who is the school librarian. Pince is French for pinched nose, reflecting her pinched vulture-like role. She's not very big in the books either. I'm just trying to let y'all know, people. The ghosts, the main ghosts, the ones that we interact with the most. Sir Nicholas de Mimsy Porpington. Name symbolizes his failed, noble, and somewhat pretentious past 15th century courtier who was executed with a dull axe. Peeves the poltergeist, and Peeve is supposed to be like a pet peeve. Then we have the Fat Friar. I wrote jovial, plump ghost of Hufflepuff. There's no real meaning behind his name. Bloody Baron. I want to talk about his story real bad. It is T. I don't know. Should I go ahead and tell you? We don't know his name. His actual name is just a Bloody Baron. But he's a Slytherin house ghost with silver bloodstains. He was in love with Helena Ravenclaw, which is the daughter of Rowena Ravenclaw. Helena is the Grey Lady in Grey, whatever they're calling her. She is the ghost of Ravenclaw. He was sent to find her in Albania, but she did not want to leave with him, so he killed her with a dagger and killed himself, and that's where the blood comes from. But there's more to that story too. Anyway, but that's the gist of it. We have Helena Ravenclaw. Or do you say Helena? Because when I see it, I think of Helena like My Chemical Romance. It's derived from Greek and Latin origins, meaning torch or shining light or bright one. Latinate form of Helen, fittingly, Helena Ravenclaw is often portrayed as a luminous, ethereal figure historically tied to Helen of Troy, renowned for her radiance and beauty, an untimely death, and her ghost persona is known as the Grey Lady, a nod to British folklore where various Grey Lady spirits haunt locations across Scotland and England. Well, there's just more to it, but I won't get into it until we get there. Founding members of Hogwarts. Godric Gryffindor. Godric means God's ruler or good power, and Gryffindor means golden griffin. Griffin is a lion's body with an eagle wing. Rowena Ravenclaw. Rowena means fame and joy, or famous friend. Ravenclaw represents Raven's intelligence, and Claw represents its sharp mind. And we have Helga Hufflepuff. Is Old Norse derived from Heligar, which means holy, blessed, and prosperous. Hufflepuff is similar to huff and puff. Could mean out of exhaustion, anger, annoyance, or making troubles disappear. I always picture the Hufflepuffs being very nurturing and motherly. Even if you're a man, it doesn't matter. You can be motherly. And then we have Salazar Slytherin, the troublemaker of all the four. Salazar is a reference to a Portuguese dictator, also is a surname meaning old hall or old house. And Slytherin is a play on words of slithering, referring to a snake. I think that's all of them so far. We're in chapter 9, the Midnight Duel. Closer to a month of school. Harry has come to the conclusion he hates Draco. He hates him more than he hates Dudley, which is saying something. This week, he's very nervous because Gryffindors and the Slytherins have to have their first Quidditch practice PE class. They have to have it together. And so he's like, I don't want to have Draco see me fall on my face. He's been hearing other students that have grown up in the magical world, especially Draco, brags about how he's a great flyer. That's what sucks. He is actually really good. I am the best, and when it's time for me to join the Quidditch team, you best believe I'll be there. Seamus has talked about how he flies around at home. Ron has flown, and so Harry's just like, I don't know anything about flying. Hermione's trying to read up on it. It's like trying to read up on playing football. It's like you either do it or you don't. Just a little interesting tidbit. Ron and Dean started going at it because Dean obviously is Muggle-born, and he was like, I love soccer, football, and it's so much better than Quidditch. And so Ron is over here, actually, soccer sucks. Play on the ground, there's no flying, there's one ball. Quidditch is supreme. The talk of the town, like, everybody's looking forward to flying. Of course, who wouldn't? I don't know if I would. I'm very large. I don't belong up in the air. Like on a skinny broomstick? Hell no. Neville said that his grandmother would never let him near a broomstick, which is probably for the best. You'll find out why. But before they go out, it's mail time. Neville gets a package in the mail from his grandmother. It's a remembrall. I think Professor Swat has said something about this on your study guide, so I'll send it over to Professor Swat. Alright, now we got a remembrall. It's a little ball orb full of white smoke. Whoever's holding it, if you're forgetting something, the smoke will turn red. Of course, it turns red for Neville, and he's like, I wonder if it was ever said what he forgot. It's never explicitly mentioned what Neville forgot. Widely noticed visual Easter egg in the movie adaptation. Notice that he's the only student not wearing his Hogwarts uniform. Forgotten to put on his school robes. Maybe that's it. In the book, it's never said what he ever really forgets. Draco, Crabbe, and Goyle come over, and they snatch up the remembrall. Thanks, Neville. This is mine now. Well, Harry and Ron are like, buck on him. McGonagall comes out there, and she's like, Ladies, I'm trying to work. Pick on Neville all the time. Neville's just a total punching bag. Tensions are hot between Slytherins and the Gryffindors. Quidditch time! Yay! Madam Hooch is out there. She's got short gray hair, spiky. I love the way she looks in the movie. I always thought she looked kind of cat-like. I don't know any other way that they can make her look like an eagle or a hawk. That's what she's supposed to kind of mirror. A flyer. She's gotta have really good eyesight to follow along, see everything from high up. There's 20 broomsticks lined out. Stand on the right side of your broom, put your hand over it, and say up. And when Harry does it, it just like shoots up into his hand. No problem. He is one with the broom. Hermione's is like rolling around on the ground, and Neville's, he can't get his to move at all. Harry says something. He wonders if it's kind of like horses. Horse sense, they can tell if you're afraid. Madam Hooch explains how to actually properly ride the broom. You don't slide off. And apparently Draco had been doing it wrong for years. So here is the task at hand. I don't know why she wanted to do this all at one time. You know what? She's got her method. I'm not the teacher. When I blow my whistle, I want you all to kind of kick off from the ground, hover for just a minute, and then tip it forward and come back down. Don't go crazy. Just hover and then come down. That's all we're doing. Well, Neville, something was going on with his broom. He didn't wait for the whistle to blow. Shot up in the air, and he kept going higher and higher and higher. Bye, Neville! And falls and slides off the side of his broom, and he ends up breaking his wrist. Not fun, but Madam Hooch, she says, all right, we're going to the hospital wing. Nobody better be up flying on these brooms while I'm gone, or you're gonna be expelled. Putting a lot of trust in these kids. I don't know, in my school, no. Well, when he fell, Neville dropped the remembrall on the ground. Draco goes and finds, and he starts taunting Neville, saying if he had fell on his big fat ass, this wouldn't have happened. Okay, that's a dig. Harry steps up and he's like, give me that back. And Draco's like, do you want to get it? Okay, let's go up here. Fight for it. I'm gonna fight you. So he flies up, and this is where Harry's like, damn it, he is a good flyer. Flies up to the tops of the trees. I think Neville likes it up here. He might be able to find it. Well, Harry hops on the broom. Of course, Hermione's like, let's not do this because you're gonna get us all in trouble. Make us lose these points that I have spent the whole month trying to gather. Pretty sure half of the points that Gryffindor ends up winning is because of Hermione. Harry doesn't listen. He gets up on the broom. This was also the first time that he's flying. And he says that this is easy. It's not something that he has to really think about. It's just natural. Flies over to Draco. He's threatening. Give me the remembrall or I'll, oh my god, give me the remembrall or I'll knock you off. You're not so tough up here now that you don't have your buddies backing you up. Draco is like, oh, f off. And he throws it. You want to go get it. Harry, he should be in the MLB, the NFL, or something like that. He's like, whoop, got it. And he catches it just before it hits the ground. The crowd goes wild. He gets off the broom. McGonagall's there. Oh no. She's like, Harry Potter! Reading him the riot act. Could have broke your damn neck. You could have killed yourself. Now you've done it. Once they get inside the castle, she's very quiet and she's like, just follow me. He's thinking, I just got here. Now I'm getting expelled. Dursleys are gonna have one hell of a laugh when I get back. Like, I can't even hack it at the school where I'm supposed to be at. Well, what the hell am I gonna do now? I really can't go back to Muggle life. Seen and witnessed and experienced the little bit that I have here. No way. And he's like, well, maybe I can be like Hagrid's assistant or something. He got expelled and he got to stay here. And then he starts thinking, if I did get to stay here and I got to watch all my friends now go through schooling for the next 7 years, learning everything, and I can't do shit. All because I wanted to get the stupid remembrall. Well, anyway, they stop outside Flitwick's classroom, and McGonagall is like, Professor Flitwick, can I see Wood real quick? Harry's like, 5th year student named Oliver Wood. McGonagall introduces him to Harry and says, Wood, I think we found ourselves a seeker. Oliver, he's like, yes! She explains what she saw. Honestly, I don't even think Charlie Weasley could have made that play. We might stand a chance at winning now if we have Harry on the team. Harry's like, So am I okay? I'm not leaving. I'm not Oliver Wood, he is the Quidditch captain of the Gryffindor team. And this boy takes this so fucking serious. Kind of funny at some points. Maybe the second or the third one. Some serious shit going on, and he's like, yeah, but Quidditch though. Yeah, I hear you, but what about the Quidditch? Asking Harry, well, have you ever even played Quidditch? I just flew for the first time in my life. No, sir. Wood tells McGonagall, we're gonna have to get him a really decent broom because, you know, the school brooms here suck. He's gonna need a really good broom, like a Nimbus 2000 or a Clean Sweep 7. These are all our broom names. You don't have to know all of them. All right, well, I'll speak with Dumbledore. Breaking the rule, first of all, we gotta make sure that he's able to actually play. First years are not allowed to play on the Quidditch team, or maybe we can make an exception. Now, I will say, there might be a bit of favoritism and a bit of nepotism because Harry's father was a seeker and he was fantastic. Strings getting pulled. And I don't know. Hey, look, I don't know. Is it fair? Yeah. I mean, is anything fair? We really need a win. I'm tired of hearing Snape talk about the win from previous years. Slytherin has been cleaning house for quite a while, but she told Harry that you better take this seriously or I might have to rethink this punishment of you flying unsupervised. They're trying to keep it under wraps too. They don't want anybody else to know Harry being on the team just yet. Have him be their secret weapon right out of the gate. The rest of the team knows, obviously. George and Fred are on the team. I will explain rules of Quidditch a chapter or two from now. Twins come by, they congratulate Harry. Maybe this year they'll actually win because they haven't won a Quidditch World Cup. What the hell? They're not at the World Cup. Jesus. Okay, slow down. They haven't won since Charlie left. He's informed Ron of what's going on, and he's like, shut up. Don't tell nobody. Malfoy, Crabbe, and Goyle come up. It's been nice knowing you, Harry. See ya. Never. Because they're thinking he's getting expelled. You seem a lot more brave now that you have your cronies with you. Draco says, bitch, I'll take you on. Name the time and place. Actually, I'll name the time and place. Tonight, midnight, dueling, the trophy room. And Ron stands up. Yes, we'll be there, you bastard. And I'm gonna be his second. Crabbe is gonna be Draco's second. And then they say, fine, meet me at midnight. And Harry's like, what the is a wizard's duel? What do you mean you're my second? And Ron says, it's not a real wizard's duel, because if it were, one of you would die. We're not doing that. The second is to step in. I mean, have we not watched Hamilton? Do we not know the 10 duel commandments? Send in the second, see if they can set the record straight. No, but your second, when there's reckoning to be reckoned. But they will step in if you lose your life. We're not doing all that. The most we're gonna do is just send red sparks at one another. Well, Hermione jumps in. Actually, I don't think this is allowed. You're gonna lose all the points that I gave us in Charms class, so let's not do that. And they're like, Hermione, shut up. Later on that night, the rest of the boys in the dorm are asleep, and Neville was gone because he was over in the hospital. They're going through the fat lady portrait, and Hermione turns on a lamp, and she's like, you dumbasses. I told you, no. They go outside. Well, Hermione can't help herself. She runs out there and is still telling them what for. The fat lady is gone. She left her portrait. Portrait closes, so Hermione's stuck out in the hallway. Well, damn it all to hell. I'll go with you, but if we're caught, I'm telling exactly what has happened. I tried to stop you and I got stuck out here. Well, then they hear a noise out in the hallway, I always use the clip of Stewie in Family Guy when he's crying. It's Neville. He got stuck out in the hallway. They had changed the password while he was gone. Got locked out of the common room. Oh, well, the new password is Pig Snout, but the fat lady's not there anymore. Just have to hang out here. And he's like, I'm not doing that. I'm going with you guys. The Bloody Baron has already been by 2 or 3 times, and he scares me. Well, okay, so all that to say, there's 4 of them moving throughout the castle. Well, they make it to the trophy room, and to no surprise, Malfoy is not coming. It was all a farce. It was a yoke. He wanted Harry and Ron to get caught by Filch and get them in trouble. Then they hear Filch talking to Mrs. Norris, and he's like, I know they're in here. Sniff 'em out, Mrs. Norris. They start hauling booty. Neville trips. He grabs around Ron's waist, and they fall into a suit of armor. Really, guys? They turn a corner, and they're on the same hallway as their Charms classroom. I don't know if that really matters to you, but I'm world building. Into the hallway, they can hear a doorknob rattling. Who comes out? Peeves. And they're like, literally, f***ing hell. Can we not do this right now? And he's like, oh no, we are doing this now. To stay quiet? Is that what you need? We need to hide from Filch?
Students out of bed!
Students out of bed! Book it down the hallway to this. There's a locked door. Now, Professor Swat, what's the spell to get through a locked door? Now, here's a classic one. Alohomora. Spell that unlocks doors. I'm sorry, my nose itches. Now, according to the author, the word is a West African word that means friendly to thieves. The motion is start up here, make a circle, and then go down. Exactly. They're turning it, and Ron's like, God damn it! And Hermione says, move out of the way. Alohomora. It opens up. They go inside. And they're listening. Hear Peeves talking to Filch. Peeves is also very rude to the teachers. I don't know how he treats Dumbledore. Filch is like, alright, where'd they go? And he says, I don't know. no. And they disperse. Neville had like death grip on Harry. Well, then Harry turns around and sees what everybody else is looking at. Third floor, the forbidden third floor, there is a ginormous three-headed dog that reaches from the ceiling to the floor. It's looking at them. They're looking at it. We're gonna go ahead and leave. They get out of there. Three-headed dog comes from, I think it's Greek mythology. I think the name was Cerberus. I've heard somebody say Cerberus. They end up all the way back at the common room. Why would they keep that in a school? No wonder that floor is forbidden. And Hermione says, well, you guys weren't looking. It's standing on a trap door, so it's guarding something. And she's like, but you know what? I'm going to bed. Before either one of you come up with another plan to get us killed or worse, expelled.
She needs to sort out her priorities.
Well, Harry starts thinking, Hagrid did tell me that there was no safer place than Hogwarts other than Gringotts. So whatever that dog is guarding is what was in Vault 713 at Gringotts. Know it in my soul. Getting into Chapter 10, Halloween. I love Halloween. Halloween's my favorite holiday. It's a fun discussion to think, is Harry Potter a Christmas movie, a Halloween movie? Where would you put it at? Because we have all seasons in Harry Potter. Harry explains to Ron, he doesn't know what was taken out of the vault at all, but he's like, I think whatever was in the vault is here and being guarded by that dog. Can I pet that dog? Can I please pet that dog? Hermione's sitting close to them, but she's giving them the silent treatment. She's got her listening ears on. Neville's just trying to pretend like nothing ever happened. I'm not hanging out with you guys anymore. Mail is coming down again. And this time, Harry, oh my god, he gets something, and he gets something good. 6 owls are carrying down a package. Opens the letter first, and thank god he did, because it's from McGonagall. It says, this is your new broomstick. It's a Nimbus 2000. Don't open it in front of everybody, because I don't want everybody starting to ask for one. Training with Wood at 7 o'clock tonight on the Quidditch pitch. Keep this on the DL. Ron is such a Quidditch nut. Never even touched a Nimbus 2000. Oh my lord. Have mercy. Well, they run out of the Great Hall to go upstairs to the dorm. They run into Malfoy and Crabbe and Goyle. They grab onto the package and they're like, this is a broomstick. You're not allowed to have this. I'm telling on you. You're leaving for sure now. Ron tells him, that is not just any broomstick, sir. That is a Nimbus 2000. That beats your, Comet 260 back at home. And of course, Draco says, bitch, you can't even afford a broomstick, Weasley. Professor Flitwick comes up to him. He's like, what is happening, guys? Look at this. Harry's a first year. He can't have a broomstick. Flitwick says, McGonagall did tell me about this, Harry. Congratulations. Heard you made the team. Draco, Crabbe, and Goyle are looking at him like, Ron and Harry run upstairs, finally unwrap the Nimbus 2000. Oh my god. It's a mahogany broomstick, and it's got gold lettering on the end saying Nimbus 2000. Ugh. Harry goes down to the Quidditch pitch. It's an oval-shaped field. 3 goalposts on each end of the field. The stands go up pretty tall. People watching can see it. Players flying around up in the air. He starts flying around on his broom to test it out, and it is nice. Oliver Wood comes out there. We're not going to do too much heavy lifting today. I'm going to teach you the rules of the game. We might do some catching. Now, Professor Swat, I'm sending it over to you. We're getting into Quidditch. We got your broomstick. Self-explanatory. Earliest known use was 962, as evidenced by a German manuscript. Wizarding folk were initially very careless with their broomstick use. Muggle depictions of witches and wizards regularly include broomsticks. Enchanted with breaking charms, disillusionment, cushioning charms, which is what I need, because I got a fat wide, everybody's favorite ball. I got it back there somewhere, but I don't feel like getting it. The golden snitch. It's gonna be Seeker. He needs to grab this ball. Will end the game of Quidditch, but it also gives you an extra 150 points. Now, it's not an automatic win, although most times it usually ends up being that they win. And my memory serves me right. I think the Quidditch World Cup that we're gonna get to in Goblet of Fire, I think actually ends with the other team winning. The other team caught the snitch to end the game. I think. I could be wrong. This is very important to know. Some enchantments are flight, obviously. Flesh memory charms. Metal charmer Bowman Wright invented the golden snitch in the 16th century. Beginning in 1269, seekers traditionally caught small birds called golden snidgets in need of a replacement when the birds became endangered. Then we got a bludger. Bludgers are just mean. 0 in on their target and they attack. A black ball 10 inches in diameter. 2 bludgers are present in every Quidditch match. Beaters must keep them away from their own teammates. We're known as blooders. First bludgers were rocks and had been bewitched to chase players. By the 16th century, metal balls were used. Oh god, they're metal? Oh, it's an iron ball. And then the quaffle. Quaffle is what you use to score points other than the snitch. It's like a red leathery soccer ball. The chasers will grab onto that and throw it into the 3 hoops, and that will give them 10 points. They're enchanted with gripping charms and anti-gravity to fall more slowly. I'm sorry, I'm slouching. Sorry, I'll sit up. Original quaffles were made of patched leather and finger holes, like a bowling ball, I guess. In 1711, the modern... Fucking hell. 1875, gripping charms allowed the straps and the finger holes to be discontinued. I clearly didn't read Quidditch through the ages. They'd be practicing 3 times a week. Explain there are 7 players on a team. 3 chasers, 2 beaters, keeper, and a seeker. Chasers are the ones that are handling the quaffle. Keepers are the goalies. They try to keep it out. All right, you got it so far? 2 bludgers are the ones that try hit other players, trying to knock them off course. Beaters, they're the ones that try and beat the brakes off these, and they can send them into another opponent's team. It's Fred and George on Gryffindor's team. The Golden Snitch. I have one back here. Whoa. Whoa! This is the Golden Snitch. Oh, I got fingerprints all over that. Sorry. This is the ball that Harry is going to be worrying about. Very, very fast. Most people can't ever see it. You have to be very fast, very quick. And that's what I was going to point out in the beginning of the story when I told you that Harry, one of his characteristics was that he's very fast and can get away from Dudley. Harry's asking about the bludgers and he's like, has anybody ever died? Because it's very intense. Wood goes, no, nobody's died at Hogwarts, but we've had a couple of broken jaws. I'm sure Professor Swat has told you about the snitch. To catch the snitch in order to win the game, well, to stop the game. Longest game that they've ever had was about 3 months long, and that they had to have substitutes come in. Instead of practicing with a real snitch, Wood was like, let's just practice with some little golf balls. They start flying around and Harry catches every single one of them. He is meant to be a seeker. This is in his blood. He's feeling really great about himself. And he says that since he's been here 2 months, felt more like a home than the Dursleys has ever felt. He has been so happy. There's some touch and go with some people. It's Halloween, an anniversary. It actually has nothing to do. They don't even talk about, I think it's ever acknowledged that his parents died on Halloween. This would have been 10 years. That has nothing to do with the rest of the charms class for the day. Professor Flitwick is teaching them how to levitate items. They're levitating feathers. Professor Swat, how do we do that? A classic. This is what causes the first little rift between Ron and Hermione. They are in charms class. They are trying to make, oh, that is complicated, feathers float and levitate. Wingardium Leviosa. In Latin, wing and ardus mean high or steep, and levo means to levitate. Wingardium Leviosa. Like, elongate that sound, that long O. Leviosa. They pair up in groups. Neville and Seamus, because they were in potions together and made some like weird flesh-eating concoction. Seamus was like, I don't want to be in a group with Neville anymore. Harry, you and me are going to be in a group, which means Ron and Hermione ended up being in a group. Hermione's been giving him the silent treatment, and she's a know-it-all. Start doing their Wingardium Leviosa spell. Ron is not getting it. It's a swish and flick motion, and Ron is being very aggressive with it. Also, Ron is still using Charlie's wand. His wand is not powerful enough as if he were to have his own. I wonder why Charlie gave up his wand. And Hermione's like, let me show you how it's done. You're saying it all wrong. Leviosa. Not Leviosa. Fine, you f***ing do it if you think you're so smart. And she says, okay, swish and flick. She does it. Ron is like, she gets praise from Flitwick. They leave the class. Ron is talking bad about her. What a fucking know-it-all. No wonder she doesn't have any friends, because nobody likes her. She's a killjoy. Nerd. Well, Hermione heard it, and she brushes past Ron, and she's got tears coming down her face. And of course, Ron is like, well, I didn't say anything that wasn't true, but you can tell that he's... Man, I shouldn't have said that. Hermione didn't go to any more of their classes. They end up going to the Halloween feast and notice that she's not even there at that. Neville says that Pavarti Patel, another first year, had heard that Hermione was in the girls' bathroom and she was crying all day about what Ron had said. Let's paint the picture of what the Great Hall is supposed to look like for Halloween. Bats, like hundreds of bats up in the rafters, swooping down towards the table. Wouldn't that be fun? Jack-o'-lanterns and more candles hanging up. Ooh, it's spooky. Ooh. While they're eating their feast, Professor Quirrell comes running in, runs up to Dumbledore. There is a troll in the dungeon. He passes out. He faints. We've got a troll in the dungeon, people. Oh, God! Students all start screaming, running all around, and Dumbledore lets off some purple sparks. Shut the f*** up, everyone. Prefects take all the students in your house, take them back to the dormitories. Teachers, let's go to the dungeons. Everybody cool down. Harry's like, how could a troll get in? Does this happen? Ron says, no, trolls are really stupid. Somebody would have had to let him in. I don't know how he would have figured out how to get inside by himself. Harry says, oh, Jesus. Hermione, she's in the bathroom and doesn't have any idea about this troll. So they turn around wherever the girl's bathroom is. They could hear footsteps. They hid out of the way because it was Professor Snape. Gets through a door going to the 3rd floor. and they can hear a dragging sound. It's the troll. It's made its way out of the dungeon and onto the floor with the girls' bathroom. Read the description for you. It smelled a foul odor. 12 feet tall, gray lumpy skin, small bald head, short tree trunk legs, flat horny feet, drug behind it a wooden club because its arms were so long. Yeah, so they're ugly. Towards the doorway, Harry can see that there's a lock and a key on the door. He shuts the door, locks it, and he's like, yeah, Ron, let's go back. Then they hear her screaming. That was the girls' bathroom, wasn't it? We just locked Hermione in the bathroom with the troll. Alright, let's go back. I can see Hermione is far side of the bathroom. Troll has broken all the sinks off the wall. Harry says that we need to distract it because they're stupid. They start throwing pipes at it. Well, Harry takes it upon himself. He jumps on his back and starts hanging onto the back of his head. And he ends up shoving his wand up the troll's nose. This distracted it long enough for Ron. Alright, step up, sir. Use the spell that they learned earlier, Wingardium Leviosa. He does it, and he have the troll's club float midair. He's able to drop it on the troll's head. They hear a crack. The troll falls. Harry walks away. He takes his wand. It's covered in troll boogers. Hermione says, is it dead? No, I don't think so. I think it's just knocked out. That is when the teachers start running in there. We got McGonagall, Quirrell, and Snape. What the happened here? What happened? Hermione takes one for the team. Go ahead, Queen. It's all my fault. I read about trolls and I thought I could handle it, so I went off looking for it. Ron and Harry ran after me to try and find me, so if they didn't come looking for me, I'd be dead. That's a lie. Harry and Ron are looking at each other like, Quirrell has to sit down, and Harry was thinking maybe he's just overwhelmed. You know, he did pass out earlier. Maybe the sight and the smell of this troll is too much for him. Just gotta sit down and take a minute. McGonagall just shocked as hell, and she says, girl, you are stupid as fuck. And for that, 5 points. She tells Hermione to leave. McGonagall tells Ron and Harry, y'all are very lucky that you're alive because not many first years can take on a fully grown troll and still be alive to tell stories about it. For dumb luck, you each get 5 points. Now go back to your dormitories, or I swear to God, they're having the rest of the feast in their respective dormitories. They meet up with Hermione again, and they kind of all give like awkward thanks. Thanks for saving our asses, Hermione. This is where finally formed the trio. The last sentence of the book was that from this moment on, Hermione was their friend. Chapter 11, Quidditch. We're in November now. It's colder. It's frosty. The Quidditch season has begun. The gig is up. Everybody knows that Harry's going to be the secret. I don't know who exactly told, but although they really weren't doing a good job of keeping it a secret, because McGonagall sent Harry a giant package in the middle of the Great Hall, wrapped up like a broom. But keep it quiet. Half of the people are really excited. Other half are like, well, I'll be underneath of you with a mattress trying to catch you when you fall. Our first game of the season. Gryffindor versus Slytherin. Hermione helps out with Harry, keep up with his homework with him, and she even let him borrow her book Quidditch Through the Ages. She doesn't seem like a very sportsy kind of person. She will read about every single nook and cranny of this wizarding world. There's 700 ways to make a foul in Quidditch, and if you wanted to know, there was a game in 1473, a World Cup game. Every single 700 fouls were played. Seekers are the ones that make the most fouls, and they're also the ones that get the most hurt. There really hasn't been a lot of deaths in Quidditch. Are a couple referees that every now and then they go out of bounds and then they end up in the Sahara Desert, find their way back months later. Seekers were always the smallest and fastest players. The day before the match, they're out in the courtyard, soaking up the sun. Harry's reading Quidditch Through the Ages. They see Professor Snape hobbling, limping. One of his legs is hurt. He goes up to the three of them and he says, what are you reading? Well, actually, I didn't mention. Hermione figured out how to make these small little blue flames. He keeps them inside of a jam jar. When Snape comes up, they hide the jam jar. This is something that he probably, for some reason, would find wrong with. What are you reading, Potter? Quidditch Through the Ages. He snatches the book up and he says, school books are not allowed to be taken outside of the school. 5 points from Gryffindor. Snape, what is your fucking problem, bro? Just leave him alone. That's what I mean. If you already know what Snape's MO is, why was that necessary? He's a big fat bully. Harry's like, I wonder what's wrong with his leg. Ron's really funny in the book. Well, whatever it is, I hope it hurts him. Later on that day, Harry says, I really want that book back. And so he says, you know what? I'm going down to the staff room and I'm gonna ask for my book back. Ron and Hermione are like, go for it, I guess. Good luck with that. I wouldn't do it, but... So Harry goes down to the staff room. He's knocking on the door. No one answers. Keeps knocking. No one answers. He opens it up and sees Filch helping Snape. Snape's got his leg propped up on a table. Blood is coming down his leg. And he hears Snape say something along the lines of, how is it possible anybody can keep their eyes on all three heads at one time? He's talking about the three-headed dog. Tries to close the door really quietly. Caught by Snape. Snape is yelling, get out of here! Harry runs up to the common room and he's like, He's the one that's probably trying to go get to whatever was at the vault that's now here, trying to get past the three-headed dog to get to it. And he was most likely the one that opened the dungeon up, let the troll in. Well, now it's time to actually play our game of Quidditch. The whole school is down at the stadium. Ron had taken one of his old bed sheets that Scabbers chewed a whole bunch of holes, and he wrote out Potter for president. Dean Thomas, actually a very skilled artist, drew out a lion's head on it. Hermione charmed it so that the paint could change colors. Wood is in there giving a whole speech. He gives the same speech every year about we need to knuckle down and really kick the snot out of really stick it to Slytherin this go around, and we need to win. They go out to the field. Madam Hooch is going to be the referee. She tells them all, and specifically to Slytherin, we are playing a nice clean game here. No funny business. Weasley twins, their best friend Lee Jordan, he is spitting on the mic track of the score. He's also commentating. McGonagall sits next to him to make sure that he doesn't run his mouth off. Chasers for Gryffindor. There's Katie Bell, Angelina Johnson, Alicia Spinnet. Fred and George are the beaters. Oliver Wood is the keeper. Harry's a seeker. On Slytherin, Marcus Flint, he is a chaser. Marcus Flint also could be part troll. He's got such a dumb look on his face all the time. Adrian Pusey, who I think is another chaser for Slytherin. I don't know every single one of them. There's the keeper for them is Bletchley, and then Terrence Higgs is their seeker. I think I'm missing a couple of players there, but they're not really all that important. Let me tell you what's going on during the game. Alicia Spinnet and Katie Bell sent the quaffle back and forth. It was taken by the Slytherin captain Marcus Flint. Wood blocked the goal from Flint, and it was caught by Katie Bell. It was hit in the back of the head by a bludger. Quaffle's taken back by the Slytherins. Adrian Pusey had a hold of it, but it was blocked by a bludger that was sent his way by Fred or George. Angelina had the quaffle, and it was able to get it past Slytherin's keeper, Bletchley, and Gryffindor scored their first 10 points of the season. Yes! Well, Hagrid makes his way out. I was trying to watch it from my hut, but I can't see shit. He was trying to find Harry, but he couldn't see him doing anything. Well, the strategy for Harry is that Harry just stay out of the danger zone. You come into play when you see the snitch. That's all you need to do. We don't need you to get hurt right out the gate. Harry could hear Lee say, "Oh, I think I just saw the snitch." Sure enough, the snitch is flying around. Harry is zigging and zagging. Harry and Terrence, the other seeker, he and Harry were in a race. Harry's broom was much faster. He was just about to reach it when Flint came by and blocked him. Gryffindor students are yelling that it was a foul, and Madam Hooch said, yeah, Gryffindor gets a free throw. So they get an extra 10 points. And Harry dodged another bludger when his broom started acting very funny. It wouldn't move when he motioned for it to. It gave a little jerk like it was trying to throw him off. Nimbus 2000s don't do that. No brooms really do that. He was trying to fly over to Wood, but the broom was totally out of his control. It was taking him higher and higher. Hagrid said it looked like somebody else was controlling it. Made Hermione grab a pair of binoculars, and she's scoping through the crowd, and she sees across over to where the teachers are sitting at. Ron, take a look at that. Snape is over there mumbling something, staring directly at Harry. I think he's jinxing the broom. Harry is on his broom. It's vibrating so hard that he has to let go. He's only holding on with one hand, and the twins are trying to fly close to him to scoop him up, but every time they get closer, the broom goes higher and higher. It's like hovering underneath of him in case he falls. Marcus Flint, he scored 5 times while everybody was distracted by this, 50-20. Hermione gets over to where the teachers are sitting, pushing Professor Quirrell out of the way, and he falls forward, face plants into the crowd. Well, she ends up lighting a little blue flame and catches Snape's robes on fire. And it took him like a couple seconds to realize what was going on, and he's freaking out. Everybody around them is freaking out. Hermione like scoops it up into a jar, and then she dips. Well, this is enough time for Harry's broom to chill out, because jinxes, you have to have constant eye contact to keep up with it. Harry was able to get up onto his broom. He starts going downwards, total nosedive down to the ground. They see Harry come off the broom like on all fours. It looks like he's about to throw up, and then he spits up the snitch. He caught the snitch in his mouth. He swallowed it. I don't know how he didn't choke on it and die, but he caught the snitch and they win. Marcus is obviously bitching because he's like, that does not count. And Madam Hooch is like, there's no rule against it. Gryffindor won 170 to, what was it, 50 or 60? Crowd is going nuts. They're celebrating. We got one. But after all the rigmarole, the trio, they end up down at Hagrid's hut. Ron and Hermione tell Harry, Snape was jinxing your broom. Hagrid starts saying, now why would he do that? Snape is a Hogwarts teacher. Why would he want to hurt Harry? Hermione tells him, you know, if you do a jinx, you have to keep eye contact. And Snape was not looking away. It only stopped when I caught his robe on fire. I don't know if she admitted to doing that around Hagrid. The jinx was broken when he looked away from it, so who else would it be? And he got his leg hurt by that 3-headed dog on the 3rd floor. Hagrid says, how do y'all know about Fluffy? Yes, it's called Fluffy. Well, he's mine. I won him from a Greek man one night in a pub. Well, I lent him to Dumbledore to guard something, and he knows as soon as he said that, he's like, I shouldn't have said that. Snape is not trying to hurt you, and whatever Fluffy is trying to guard, that is between Dumbledore and Nicholas Flamel. I really did not mean to tell you that.
I shouldn't have said that. I should not have said that.
The next chapter, chapter 12, The Mirror of Erised. I have this Inception. I picked this up because I thought it would look like the Mirror of Erised. So Christmas time has come. Iconic Christmas scenes of the first movie. The snow has fallen. Now this is funny. Fred and George had enchanted snowballs. Target was Professor Quirrell in the back of his head in his turban. During their potions class one day, Draco was trying to have a dig at Harry. Oh, what a shame. Some of these people can't go home to their families like I can for Christmas break because some people don't have families. Right, Potter? Any way to throw a dig at Harry because Harry is getting praise for being the youngest seeker of the century. Draco's very miffed about it.
Harry's not even that great of a player anyway.
McGonagall came around asking what students were going to be staying for the holidays, and Harry was one of the first ones to sign up. I'm not going back to the Dursleys. First, Ron was going to go home and see his family, but then his parents were wanting to go visit Charlie in Romania. All the Weasley boys were going to stay at school. Harry, totally happy with, I would much rather be here. No matter what happens, this is going to be the best Christmas I've ever had in my life. They leave potions class, they come upstairs, and they see Hagrid carrying a ginormous fur Christmas tree. And Ron's asking if he needed help with the Christmas trees. Well, Draco comes up behind him. Perfect, Weasley. Are you trying to make a couple more extra bucks? I know your family could use it. You could be a servant here. It's like this oaf. Ron starts to go to swing on him. Snape comes up. What's going on here? I can't do a Snape voice at all. Can't do an Alan Rickman voice. What's going on here? Hagrid tries to stick up for Ron and Harry. It was Malfoy that started it, and Snape is like, be that as it may. There's no fighting allowed, so 5 points from you. Hagrid says, look at the Great Hall. Look at what we've done to it. Beautiful. It is so beautiful. Oh my god. Giant Christmas trees lining everywhere. Icicles, holly, and mistletoe. Hermione tells Hagrid, all right, well, it's nice to see you, but we gotta go to the library because I'm leaving tomorrow and we really need to try and find anything. We can't find anything on Nicholas Flamel. We have been scouring. Is it scouring or scourging? We've been looking all over the library to find any mention of Nicholas Flamel, and we can't find anything. Unless you want to tell us anything, Hagrid. Save us the trouble. Hagrid says, just leave this alone. Of course they're not doing that. They've been looking for weeks since Hagrid had mentioned Flamel, and they can't find shit. Harry says, read the name or heard the name or something like that. I know it from somewhere. I wonder if it's in one of the books in the restricted section of the library. There is a restricted section. It's mainly for people that are going into 6th and 7th grade students that are wanting to pursue a career in the dark arts or not the dark arts, defense against the dark arts. I'm actually wanting to be the next dark wizard. Let me go and read up on it. Special permission slip from a teacher to go and check one out. First year students definitely do not have any business being in there. Hermione tells him, like, please just keep looking while I'm gone on break. Ron is like, because she says, if you find anything, just send me an owl. And he's like, well, won't your parents gonna say anything? And she's like, probably not, because they're dentists. They don't know anything about the magical world at all. Who are they gonna tell? Their patient? Well, the holiday started and Harry's having so much fun. Him and Ron and the Weasley boys, they have the whole place to themselves. Ron teaches Harry how to play wizard's chess. Now, wizard's chess, what is it, Professor Swat? All right. Oh my god, I can't see. I'm trying not to hold it this close to my face. You've got wizard chess, regular chess set, just enchanted with magical pieces that destroy each other. Ron is actually very good at wizard's chess. Pieces that they're playing with belong to Ron's grandfather. Again, another hand-me-down, old beat-up pieces, but they listen to Ron. They wouldn't listen to Harry, and they would sabotage against Harry. Harry's not that great at playing chess. One thing that Ron has up on Harry, Christmas morning, Ron's already awake looking at his presents that were at the end of his bed, and all that Harry was expecting to have that day was just a really nice meal. Poor boy's getting a coat hanger for his birthday, and you know damn sure he's not getting anything for Christmas. So he wasn't expecting anything, but at the foot of his bed he's got a couple of presents, and Ron says, my mom sent you something too. She spends the whole year making sweaters for all of her kids. Each year they get a sweater. She made one for Harry too. His was emerald green. Ron got maroon, and he was like, my mom always forgets that I hate maroon. I hate this color. Ron is kind of embarrassed because he thinks, I don't know, it's rinky dinky. Harry's like, this is so cool. I've never had anybody make me something. I love it. Let me tell you what else he got. Oh, also Mrs. Weasley sent over fudge. Hagrid whittled down a piece of wood to make a flute for him and made it sound like an owl. And then there was a small parcel that had a note saying, we've received your message and enclosed your Christmas present from Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia. Taped a 50-pence piece to the letter. Thanks. I guess that'd probably be like giving somebody a quarter. Ron is looking at it and he has never seen Muggle money before, and Harry's like, you can keep it if you want. Ironically and sarcastic, he's like, wow, they seem really nice. Hermione had given Ron Bertie Bott's and Harry some chocolate frogs. One last present from somebody unnamed. It's a invisibility cloak. hell. Silky silver fabric that almost felt like water. Ron had told him they're very rare, and Harry threw it around himself and looked in the mirror. All he could see was his head floating around. Well, the letter, it said, "Your father left this to me before he died. It was time it was returned back to you. Use it well. Very Merry Christmas to you. Signed from no one." The rest of the Weasley boys come in. Harry tucks away the cloak. He wants to keep it private. The twins come in there. "Oh, Ron, you don't want to wear your sweater?" Like, "No, I hate maroon." Twins are actually the only ones that have letters on their sweater. Because in the movie, Harry's got an H on his, Ron's got an R on his. Twins are the only ones in the book that actually have the letters on it so that their mom could tell who they were making the sweaters for and tell them apart. Twins tell Percy that he's going to be eating with them and not the prefects. What's on the menu today? 100 roast turkeys, boiled potatoes, platters of chipolatas? Buttered peas, gravy, cranberry sauce. And they also had Christmas crackers. That has just been introduced into my life, what a Christmas cracker is. You pull them apart. They're like little party favors. Paper crowns inside of them and a joke and a little toy. Wizard Christmas crackers are top notch. These ones let out a big cannon boom and a puff of blue smoke. Inside were different hats, and Dumbledore wore a flowered cap. Harry had done one with Fred, and it had an admiral's hat with several live mice inside. And Hagrid is up there. He's getting more and more drunk, and he ends up kissing McGonagall on the cheek. They're just having a really good time. When the feast was all done, let me tell you what everybody got. Harry got non-explodable balloons, a new chess set, a grow your own warts kit, and then they went outside, had a big snowball fight. They're eating some treats by the fire, upstairs going to sleep. Harry's still thinking about his father's cloak. Takes it out and he's like, "You know what? I'm going to that restricted section." Instead of waking up Ron, I want to do this by myself. Be in my dad's cloak. That sounds really weird. Climbs through the portrait hole. The fat lady. Who the fuck is that? I just picture her moved around like, what the fuck? Who is that? And it closes and she's like, who is there? So Harry goes to the restricted section. He's got a lamp sticking out so you can just see his hand holding a lamp. The restricted section is full of a lot of books that are very scary looking. Some of them are stained with blood. Some of them covered in figures like characters and symbols. Look scary. He could hear some of the books whispering. He took one off the shelf, opened it, and a blood-curdling scream came from the book. So immediately shuts it up. Well, me. Okay, Filch is coming in there. Anyway, they run past each other. He sees a suit of armor. Like I said, the suit of armors, they think that they move around on their own. I saw a suit of armor that I didn't see before, but he can also hear Filch use a secret passageway to cut off whoever in the library. Anyway, whatever. They're out in the hallway and hear Filch talking to somebody, and he said, "I was told to let any teachers know if students were out of bed." He hears the voice of Snape. Snape is telling him, "Couldn't have gotten far. Let's go look for him." They take off running. At the suit of armor, there's an open door. Well, now he's in a random classroom. It's an old classroom that is not being used. Desks are pushed up on the side. It's dusty. Over in the far corner, he can see a huge, giant golden mirror that looks like this one. But imagine like Harry's like this big. Reaches like from ceiling to the floor. Inscription around it read, now I'm gonna butcher the hell out of this. Erised stra ehuru oit ube on woshi. If you read that backwards, "I show not your face, but your heart's desire." The mirror of Erised is desire backwards. And Harry walks up to the mirror. I'm sure he damn near himself. And he's still got the cloak over him. He's still like this. But imagine I'm invisible. He can see himself without the cloak, and he's like, wonder if this mirror can see me through an invisible cloak. Then there's people right behind him, and he thinks he's caught because he thinks the whole classroom is full of people. Turns around, nobody's in there. In the reflection, what is going on? People that he's seeing in the mirror are his parents, the rest of the Potter family. I'm assuming it's just the Potters. I don't think it's all the Evans. Maybe it is. You can see his grandfather, that they have the same knobby knees, and everybody's staring at him and smiling. A woman was behind him, a pretty lady with dark red hair and green eyes. Dark green eyes, which were Harry's eyes. The man next to her was thin with black hair, and he put his arm around her. He also wore glasses, and his hair was untidy, just like Harry's. He could see the other people had similar features to him too, that he was there for hours. Noise broke him from his trance. His family, he told them, "I'll be back. Come back tomorrow to see you again." Then he runs back up to the common room. He told Ron what he had saw. He said, "I saw my family in there. I'll take you to see him tonight if you really want to." And he's like, "Yeah, I would love to see your family." And Harry says, "I really want to see your family too. I hear you got all of these Weasleys. I really want to see the whole Weasley family." They're thinking this only shows the family, so that's all they think this mirror is. Worth noting that Harry had forgotten all about Flamel and what was being guarded at Hogwarts, and all he could think about was going back to see this mirror. It's very entrancing. Is entrancing a word? Enticing. It's only been one night of him seeing it, and all he can think about is going to see it again. He takes Ron with him. Hard to find the room again as the suits of armor move around. Eventually he finds it after like an hour. Ron is getting irritable. He's like, "I'm cold. I'm tired. I want to go to bed." They're standing in the mirror. Harry can see his family behind him, but Ron is like, I don't see anybody. I just see us staring at each other. Well, here, stand in the mirror properly. Stand right here and tell me, can you see your family? Or can you see my family? And Ron is like, oh my lord. See, I told you, there they are. And he's like, no, I am head boy. I've won the Quidditch World Cup. I'm a prefect. Look fantastic. I'm shaking hands with Dumbledore. He wonders if this mirror would show the future. And Harry's like, I don't see how it could because I'm seeing my family and all my family are gone. They start arguing about who can stand in front of the mirror and look. Well, then Mrs. Norris comes in. They have to hightail it out of there. And Ron warns Harry, you really want to keep going back to that mirror, but something about it doesn't feel right. You really should not do that. I think you should just leave it alone. But of course, Harry's like, nah, bro, I'm going back. The next night, Harry's able to find the room pretty easily. He's just sitting in there again, lost in the sauce. He loves looking at his family. Well, someone comes up behind Harry and he's like, I see you have found the mirror of Erised, Harry. It's Dumbledore. Dumbledore had been seated on top of a desk behind him the whole time and broke the silence by saying he had come back again. Harry went cold. God bless America! Strike 3, Harry. How many times flew on your broom when you were told not to fly on your broom? You snuck out of bed, have a duel with Malfoy, and ended up on the 3rd floor, and now you're sneaking around after bedtime into random classrooms. Dumbledore's so wise, and he's got a lot of, I would say one-liners, but this whole dialogue is zingers. Being invisible seems to have made you nearsighted. Got too much tunnel vision going on. Do you realize what this mirror shows you? And he said, it shows us what we want. Dumbledore said, it shows the deepest desires of your heart. You never knew your family. Nothing more in this life than to know your family. And Ron sees himself winning all these accolades because he's always been in the shadows and always had the hand-me-downs of his brother, so he wants to be praised for being the best of the best. The happiest man on earth would be able to use the mirror as a real mirror, could look into it and see himself exactly how he is. The mirror does not give knowledge or truth, and men have wasted away in front of it. They have been entranced by what it shows or even driven mad, not knowing what it shows is possible. The mirror is going to be moved to another location, Harry. Don't go looking for it, please. Tells him that if he crosses it again, he'll now be prepared. It does not do well to dwell on dreams and forget to live. Okay, fucking Dumbledore. Don't forget to experience life, dude. You're living it right now. You're living the dream. Don't live up here too much. It's fun to explore, but you gotta come out. And he put his cloak back on and he was gonna head back up to bed. He stopped and he looked at Dumbledore and he said, what do you see when you look in the mirror? And Dumbledore says, you know what I see? I see myself holding a pair of nice wool socks. Everybody always gets me books. For some reason, all my Christmas presents are always books. I don't know why people want to give me that. I just want a nice pair of socks. Harry didn't ask any more questions, but he had a feeling he wasn't telling the whole truth, but maybe it was too personal of a question to ask. Because Dumbledore's got some skeletons. He's got quite a few skeletons in his closet. I'm gonna take another break. I'm very proud of myself. I got through 3 chapters. I beat my record, and then we will finish it up. Oh my hell. All right. I don't know what's going on with my hair today. I tried actually styling it for once, and now my layers they're layering. I'm back. All right. Chapter 13, Nicholas Flamel. I realized that I did not read off everybody's name. The students' names, I didn't really bother looking up every single student. Maybe I'll do that in the next one. I didn't look up Argus Filch. I was editing another part of my video and I was like, I didn't even think to look up this man. Deter for just a moment. Argus in Greek mythology, Argus Panoptes, was a giant with 100 eyes. Because of his ability to keep multiple eyes open at all times, he was considered the ultimate watchman. Filch, this is an English verb that means to steal or pilfer small items in a sneaky manner. This appropriately highlights his habit of confiscating students' belongings. You filch, you thief. Hermione's come back to school. She's a little disappointed that the boys didn't find anything else about Flamel. They didn't find anything about Flamel. Well, damn, what did you do the whole time? Also, Harry's starting to have more nightmares now that he's got faces to put to his parents, because he had no idea what they looked like. What if he thought his mom looked like Aunt Petunia? Wood had been working the team like crazy, practicing and... practicing. But Harry didn't mind this, honestly, because it kept him distracted, wear him out, and then he would just conk out. It wouldn't matter about his nightmares. Guess what? The next game Gryffindor is scheduled to play is against Hufflepuff, and this is going to decide if they overtake Slytherin in the ranking. But Snape is going to be the referee. He specifically asked to be the referee here. Yay! Aww. Everybody knows that this is going to be an unfair advantage. When Harry tells Ron and Hermione this, and they're like, well, get out of the match. Don't play. There's no other seeker. I can't. We can't back down. I don't know where that came from. While they're having this discussion in the common room, Neville comes in and he's got something going on. Professor Swat, what's happening? I sound so American. Locomotor mortis, to stick a target's legs together. A leg lock curse. Loco in Latin means place, moto means moving, and mortis means death. Well, you know, rigor mortis. Who's Morris? The wand motion is like a You know, that old thing. I should have turned my air off. Sorry if you hear that. He's got a leg locker curse on him, given to him by Malfoy. Hermione does a counter curse, but he's had to hop up the entire length of the school from wherever he was to the common room. He's probably got buns of steel. Try and tell Neville, you are worth more than 12 Malfoys. Don't let him push you around. You're in Gryffindor for a reason. We may not know it yet. They don't say that, but and to make him feel better. Sorry, I got something in my eye. And to make him feel better, Harry gives him his last chocolate frog. He asks him if he wants to keep the card to put with his collection. And guess who he gets? Another. Oh, I don't want to take him out. This stupid thing has been falling over almost every day. A stiff breeze will knock that thing over. I'm not touching it. But he gets another Dumbledore card. And at first he's like, I already have one. I don't need another. And he takes a second look at it. Did we forget Nicholas Flamel is on the card? He's mentioned here. Yes! We have found it! No wonder I knew where it was from. It was from the stupid fucking card. His work on alchemy with his partner Nicholas Flamel. So Hermione's like, wait 1 second. Let me go get my book. I checked this out weeks ago. Hang on. There's nothing in here. It's not much. He's really not. This man is living in secret. Nicholas Flamel is the only known maker of the Sorcerer's Stone, or the Philosopher's Stone. The ancient study of alchemy is concerned with making the Sorcerer's Stone, a legendary substance with astonishing powers. The stone will transform any metal into pure gold. You are rich, boy. If I was a rich girl. It also produces the elixir of life, which will make the drinker immortal. No, thank you. No, thank you. I do not want to live forever. I am like Taylor Swift and Zayn. Anyway, I'm not done yet. There have been many reports of the Sorcerer's Stone over the centuries. Only stone currently in existence belongs to Mr. Nicholas Flamel, the noted alchemist and opera lover. Mr. Flamel, who celebrated his 665th birthday last year, enjoys a quiet life in Devon with his wife Pernell, who is 658. Ron is like, well, no wonder Snape is after this thing that's being hidden here. Who wouldn't want to have the elixir of life? Turn any metal into gold? Yeah, sign me up. If everybody knew it was here, Jesus Lord. I looked up Nicholas Flamel's name and his wife Pernell. There's nothing really exciting about it, but just because I couldn't help myself. Nicholas means victory of the people, and Flamel means flame or little torch. He was an alchemist, so it could refer to that. Pernell is a stone, maybe like the Sorcerer's Stone. That's it. Harry then and there is like, you know what? I am gonna play this match of Quidditch, and I can't wait to wipe the floor with him, respectfully Hufflepuff, and watch Slytherin's faces, and especially Snape's, when we win. And you could take that to the bank. Game day, yay! Ron and Hermione brought their wands to the match just in case Snape wanted to try some shit. But also, Dumbledore is actually coming to the match. I don't know how often Dumbledore goes to the matches. Apparently, it doesn't seem like a lot. Harry felt a little bit more comfortable. Doubt Snape would try anything serious. There's two things that are happening at one time. You got Harry out on the field with Snape, Ron and Hermione, and Neville up in the stands. Well, the Malfoy crew sit behind Ron, Hermione, and Neville, teasing them the whole time. And Neville, poor thing, he stands up really nervous and kind of stuttering. Walk away, bitch. The office with Gabe, he's like,
Walk away, bitch.
Malfoy just keeps making jokes about Ron being poor and Neville being stupid. Respectfully, die. Because Neville is a sweetheart and he's very smart. His social skills are lacking just a bit. God damn, just give him a minute. I want to protect Neville. Oh my god, I ride or die for Neville. And Neville stands up, Malfoy. I'm worth 12 of you. I would imagine that he kind of fumbles. He doesn't say it right. And so he's probably like, you're worth more than 12 of me. But we know what you mean, Neville. Meanwhile, out on the field, the game has just started. Snape already has given Hufflepuff 2 penalty shots for no reason. Wood had told Harry to just go ahead and try and find the snitch as soon as possible. We don't need to be flashy. We don't need to drag this out. So immediately, Harry sees snitch flying around, starts diving for it. Well, Malfoy makes a comment behind Ron. Oh, he must have found some money. He's going to get it for you, Weasley. Well, Ron has had enough. Square up. They start fighting. Fisticuffs. Ron gives him a black eye. Neville gets knocked out. He's out for the count. Well, Harry played the quickest game in Quidditch history. He dives for that snitch, and within 5 minutes, this match is over. Gryffindor wins. Snape is sitting there. He spit at the ground and left. So after the game, Harry is putting his broom up. You can see a hooded figure walking from the castle to the dark forest. Snape. That is Snape. So he hops back on his broom and he flies over top of the dark forest. He can see Snape meeting up with Quirrell out in the dark forest, and they're talking in secret. About what? Quirrell was stuttering more than normal, very nervous, and Snape is saying, did you figure it out yet? Did you figure it out yet? Figure out how to get past that fucking dog. Pardon? Never mind. There's a TikTok account, I think it's Sophia, like a bunch of sisters. In my head, I've got vocal stems from their videos. They're talking to the sister Sophia, and Hannah goes, pardon?
Pardon?
I say that in my head all the time. I figure nobody's gonna know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna try and do my best Alan Rickman. You don't want me as your enemy, Quill. Oh, hell.
You don't want me as your enemy, Quill.
I can't go as deep as he can. You said what now? He starts to lose his balance a little bit on his broom, but when he catches himself, he catches the tail end of what Snape was saying. Something along the lines of, your hocus pocus, to Quirrell. He told him that they would have another chat soon. Figure it out! Harry tells Hermione and Ron what he just overheard. The stone is safe as long as Quirrell will stand up to Snape. And Ron is like, that thing is gonna be gone by Tuesday. Next chapter, 14. Norbert, oh my god, I knew this would get me. Norbert, the Norwegian Ridgeback. The next couple of weeks go by. I think we're in April, enter into like the Easter holiday. Quirrell is looking paler and paler by the day, and every time they pass him in the hallway, Harry's trying to give him like an encouraging smile, like Quirrell doesn't know anything about like what they're doing. Imagine if just somebody walks up to you and they're like, oh, Quirrell, Q, you got this. Ron tells people to stop making fun of his stutter. Let's ease up. Really trying to be supportive of this man. Hermione is taking like extensive color-coded notes, and Ron's like, woman, chill out. We've got 10 weeks till these exams. You're not, because the teachers are piling up work too. Our Easter holiday was not as fun as Christmas. They're in the library. Hagrid is in there. He's hiding something behind his back, a book. They say, look, we have found out about Nicholas Flamel. We know about the stone. I think there's more things protecting the stone, so what is this? And Hagrid says, I can't tell you everything, but come by my hut later and we can talk, okay? Ron goes over to the section that he was just at. This man is looking up books and facts and shit about dragons. Hagrid had told me that he wanted to get a dragon, and Ron's like, you cannot do that. Very much illegal to breed dragons and to have a dragon as a pet. No. Outlawed by the Warlocks Convention in 1709, to be exact. You can't do that. He says it's hard to... What the fuck? Look at my robe. Sorry. What the hell, Beyonce? It's hard to keep muggles from seeing dragons. A dragon is probably the size of like a plane. A big flying lizard in the sky. Yeah, it might be a little bit hard to miss. He says there's a whole department in the ministry that is dedicated to wiping muggles' memories in case they did see something. They're dangerous to keep. They're dangerous to train. So they go down to Hagrid's hut. It's hot as hell. Inside, he's boarded up all the windows. He's got a fire roasting in the fireplace. It's a sweatbox in here. Open the door or something. And they're like, can you tell us anything else about what's guarding the stone? Snape had said something about hocus pocus, and he says, yeah, there is, but I don't know it. All the teachers had put something in place to protect the stone. We've got Quirrell, and then Hagrid put Fluffy down there. Sprout, Flitwick, McGonagall. I put Flitwick up there twice. Wow, I'm a stupid bitch. Snape, and even Dumbledore. I can only speak for me, and the only people that know how to get past my work is me and Dumbledore. Harry's like, I can't breathe. Can we open the window here, please? Hagrid says, no, we can't. Actually, turn your attention to the fireplace. He's got a black egg sitting in the fireplace. Dragon egg. Did you hear my stomach? It's got to stay on the fire because it mimics the mother's breathing on them. That was what he was in the library. A book called Dragon Breeding for Pleasure and Profit. I got it off a fella in the pub the other night. He seemed to be pretty happy to get rid of it. The dragon hatches. He has to keep it full of brandy and chicken blood. There is a rare one. It's a Norwegian Ridgeback. Well, Hermione's sitting there and she says, I don't know if I need to be the voice of reason, Hagrid, but you live in a wooden house. I don't think this is the right place for a dragon. Well, a few days later, they get a letter from Hedwig, from Hagrid, saying that the egg is hatching and to come down and see it. Harry has to tell Ron and Hermione, shut the f*** up, because Malfoy is right over there, definitely listening to us. Well, the three of them, they go down to the hut. They see the dragon hatch. It's ugly as sin. Looks like a broken black umbrella. It's got bulging orange eyes, a long snout with wide nostrils, horns. Hagrid is pleased with himself being its mummy. And then he looks up into the window. Oh, me. There's a student running away from the hut. It's Malfoy. They don't follow him and they don't try and like beat the Can you imagine? He's either gonna go tell on us right away or he's using this as blackmail, because when they come back, nothing really happens right away. We haven't been arrested yet. Next couple weeks go by and Hagrid has named the dragon Norbert. It's just not going well. The whole house is burnt almost to a crisp. The dragon like triples in size every time that the group comes down there to see him. He's getting way too big for this house. I think he's gonna die in this house. They really try to convince Hagrid he needs to be set free. You can't keep this thing. This is not the environment for him. I can't because it needs me. I'm his mommy. He can't survive on his own. You don't get it. Shut up. Ugh. I did write down this part. Harry, he turns to Ron and he goes, Charlie. And Ron's like, you're losing it. I'm not Charlie. I'm Ron. It just like caught me off guard. Your brother, Charlie, maybe he can come by and pick up Norbert and take him to Romania. Tell Hagrid that. Hagrid agrees. He's very upset. He's very sad about it. I just didn't dwell too much on that. A whole couple of paragraphs where he's moping about it. So they wrote a note to Charlie explaining the sitch. They're in the common room. Ron comes in there holding his hand. The dragon bit me. And then Hagrid yelled at me for scaring him. And then when I left, Hagrid was singing him a lullaby. I think he's lost it. I think we need to check him into the clinic. 5150 his ass. Hedwig comes to the window. She brought a letter back from Charlie saying Charlie and some of his buddies coming by on like Saturday night to the tallest tower. We'll meet you there. That way nobody can see us coming and going. And we'll take Norbert from there. Well, by the morning, Ron's hand has swollen up like a balloon. Maybe Norbert has some venomous fangs or something. You have got to go to the nurse. Do you think she'll know what a dragon bite is? He ends up telling her it was a dog bite, but he goes to the nurse, going to see Ron at the hospital, and he looks scared. Malfoy snuck in and told Madame Pomfrey to borrow a book from Ron. He only said that so he could see Ron in this state and laugh at him. Ron says, I shouldn't have punched him because now he's just torturing us with this. We know he knows about the dragon. And what's worse, he took the book that had Charlie's letter in it. Harry and Hermione are like, it's too late to write to Charlie to change the night, so we gotta just do this. Invisibility cloak. They go down to Hagrid's hut. Norbert is in the house rattling the windows. It's time to go. They got him under the cloak. It actually took him a minute to get out to Hagrid's hut because Peeves was making a racket in the hallway. It's a good thing because they get Norbert, head up to the tower. First of all, can you imagine that? 2 11-year-olds under a cloak trying to haul a decent-sized dragon up to the tallest tower. They pass McGonagall pulling Malfoy's ear and he's in trouble. Potter's coming by with a dragon. Okay, now you've lost it. It's a good thing Peeves stopped us because if not, they would have taken off the cloak and McGonagall would have been up there with Malfoy. That would have blown the lid off of everything. Whew. Well, they get up there. This is the only time that I can remember off the top of my head that we have an interaction with Charlie. Charlie comes by with like 4 of his other buddies. They've rigged up between their brooms some kind of harness, and that's about it. Then they take off, and that's all we get from Charlie. They're satisfied with themselves. They go down the tower steps. Not so fast because Filch is there. They forgot to put their cloak back on. You bunch of bastards. Let's just try it again.
Let's just try it again! You bunch of bastards!
No, but like, you idiots. I'm rocking and rolling now. I'm reaching my flow state. Chapter 15, I spoke too soon. The Forbidden Forest. Neville was out and about too because Neville had heard Draco talking about trying to catch Harry and Ron and Hermione in the act, and he was talking about the dragon, and Neville heard this and he's like, I gotta help my friends. He was out too, and so now he's in trouble. McGonagall, she is livid. She asked for them to explain themselves, but nobody answers. Figured you were just trying to get Malfoy in trouble and make a whole ruse to go up to the tower after hours. After hours. Make up an elaborate story about a stupid dragon. Neville's looking at Harry and Hermione like, is that true? For real? I thought you were being serious. And he looks so hurt that his friends would make this story up, but they didn't. It was real. You know, we know it's real, but whatever. He's upset. He's like, no, what the why am I here? But I thought I was helping you guys. 50 points away from each of you. So Gryffindor has now lost 150 points. Right. You're all getting detention. We'll talk about it another time. They all go back to their bed. Harry crawls in there and he's like, I don't want to wake up because everybody's going to see that the points have dropped. What the hell? What happened? They all wake up and everybody can pretty much put the pieces together. All the points that Gryffindor won from the last game that they just won, gone. Oh, what a bunch of bull. Now, Gryffindor has no chance of winning the cup. Even if they won the next game, it doesn't matter. Pretty much everybody, every house, except for Slytherin, they're really happy with them. They're patting them on the back like, thanks, bud. Even Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff wanted to see Slytherin eat it. If it couldn't be us, we wanted it to be you. I went from being the most celebrated person for winning the shortest Quidditch game, the boy who lived, god damn it. Now, I'm the most hated person here. Ron tries to tell him, Fred and George, they lose points for the house all the time. People still love them. People are gonna forget about this. And Harry says, yeah, but they haven't lost this many points at one time. And he says, yeah, you're right. I told Oliver Wood, you know what, it might just be best because everybody hates me, and I really don't want to be in the spotlight right now. It might be best if I just sit out the last game. And Wood says, over my dead body, you hooligan, you bitch. No, you're playing. Now more than ever. We have got to wipe the floor with Slytherin. Nut up. Week before their exams start, Harry's walking around in the corridors and he can hear a crying sound from Quirrell. And he can hear Quirrell saying to himself, no, no, not again, no. And he says it sounded like somebody was threatening him and he was sobbing. Anyway, he walked out. Harry could see him like adjusting his turban. And then Harry peeked into the classroom. On the other side was an open door. Oh, I wonder if Snape just left through that door, bullying Quirrell. He's like, you know what? I've washed my hands of this. I don't care. I'm not getting in any more trouble. So I don't care. Ask me if I care. I don't. But he ended up telling Ron and Hermione what he saw. Snape has probably already figured out how to get past the dog anyway. He's probably figured out how to get past everything. So it won't be long. Hermione tells him, why don't you just go to Dumbledore at this point? There's nothing we can do about it. There's no evidence against him. It's just my word against his. And what, I just got a bad vibe from the teacher? That's not going to hold up in court, ma'am. Next morning at breakfast, they get their notes. They're going to be serving detention tonight and to meet Filch at the entrance hall at 11 p.m. That is very late. That is bedtime. Are you crazy? Filch took them all four of them. His Malfoy's there too. Remember that. To Hagrid's hut, and Harry's like, oh, thank God. Filch says, don't start hooting and hollering just yet. This is not going to be a fun trip here. You're going into the dark forest. Also, Filch had mentioned that he used to have old forms of punishment, and he says, I wish they'd bring them back. I miss the screams. They used to hang kids from the ceiling by chains. They would hang them by their feet or their arms or something. I still keep the chains in my office just in case somebody changes their minds to bring back the old ways. But they go out to Hagrid's hut. He's got a crossbow loaded. Fang is with him. Well, Malfoy, he is like, pardon me. No, I'm not going in there. Can't go in the forest. First of all, it's forbidden. So, flaw. Your rules, not mine. There's things that could kill us. Werewolves and stuff. Filch says, oh, there's more than werewolves in there. And you should have thought of that before you decided to get yourself in trouble. Nighty-night. Malfoy turns around and he flat out tells Hagrid, I'm not going in there. And Hagrid says, it's either go in here with me or you can go back up to the school and be expelled. And your daddy's not getting you out of this one. Let's go. Let's ride. Look, team. SEAL Team 6, this is what we're doing. They're looking for a unicorn. All this silver blue blood everywhere. It's unicorn blood. Unicorn blood is very sacred, okay? Blood splatter. This one has been hurt very bad and we most likely have to put it out of its misery. They split off into groups. Said he already had found one dead last week. Not looking good for the old unis, for the old cornies. Well, Draco's like, well, what if the thing that hurt the unicorn is out there and we run into it? Hagrid says, nothing in the forest is gonna hurt you if you're with me or Fang. And Draco says, fine, but I want Fang. And Hagrid says, okay. He's a coward. He's afraid of everything. Harry, Hermione, and Hagrid go in one group. Draco, Neville, and Fang go in another. Well, Hagrid had told him, send up green sparks if you find the unicorn, red sparks if you need help. It's hard to see out there. The moonlight is shining through. Harry says, could a werewolf have done this? Hagrid says, no, werewolves aren't fast enough. Unicorns are fast, and he's never known any to be hurt like this. They can keep hearing like a slithering underneath of the leaves. They keep turning around, nothing's there. They hear another little... Can you hear that? Hagrid tells him to hide behind a tree, and he loads his crossbow. Who is it? Who the A half man, half horse jumps out. It's a centaur. His name is Ronan. And Hagrid says, oh, hey, we're out here looking for a unicorn. Have you seen it running around or hurt? And Ronan is staring up at the sky and he says, oh, Mars is very bright tonight. Mars is very bright tonight. He keeps saying this over and over again. And then another centaur comes out. This one's name is Bane. And he does the same thing too. And at one point, I think it was Ronan, he says that the forest hides many secrets. But that's all that he got out of him. Hagrid says the centaurs, there's quite a few of them in the forest. They're such stargazers and it's hard to get a straight answer out of any of them. They're not interested in anything that's closer than the moon. They live and die by the planets. They read the stars every night. Hermione. Oh, Hagrid, look. Red sparks are going up on the other side of the forest. Ah, no! Neville. Hagrid runs off. They come back a couple minutes later and he says Draco had jumped out at Neville trying to scare him. Neville just like shot off his fireworks. Look, Harry, I'm sorry, but can you go with Draco and Fang so I can keep them separated? I know all you Dramini people wish it was Draco and Hermione. Harry and Malfoy go the opposite way. Harry can see across the way the unicorn laying down, sprawled out. It's got white pearlescent hair. Said it was the most beautiful, sad thing that he's ever seen. It was dead. See a hooded figure come out, kind of like this, scuttles over to Did that look scary? Scuttles over to the unicorn and starts drinking its blood. Well, Draco starts screaming and takes off running. Well, of course, this makes the hooded figure go, huh? It stood up with it dripping from its chin with the silver blue blood from the unicorn, started moving in the direction of Harry, but then a centaur. Also, Harry started feeling a pain in his forehead and the scar. This centaur's name is Friends, white hair, sapphire eyes, and a palomino body. The hooded figure goes away. He gets scared off. Friends recognized Harry from the scar, and he says, this is not the place for you to be at. Do you know how to ride a horse? Harry gets on top of him. Ronan and Bane come out, and they're like, what the is this? Friends, what the hell are you doing? Why is there a human on your back? The disrespect to let a human ride you like a mule. This is Harry Potter. This is a dangerous place for him to be at. I need to get him out. And they're like, you're not supposed to mess with what the planets have said. The planets have already written out what is to come and what is to happen. You shouldn't rock the boat here. They're going back and forth arguing about, I'm right and you're wrong. Friends, he gets hot and bothered. He gets really annoyed, kicks up and rears up, and Harry's hanging on the back like, ew. Something in here just killed that unicorn. This is dangerous. I'm getting this boy out of here. They walk for a bit, and Harry, he asks Friends, like, are you good? Why was Bane so angry? He says, do you know what unicorn blood is used for? In class, they only use unicorn hair and part of the unicorn horn in their potions. He's like, I have no idea. It's a monstrous thing to kill a unicorn, to kill something so innocent and pure. The blood can bring you back from the brink of death, but at a price. The moment the blood touches your lips, you will live a half-cursed life. And Harry asks, who would do something like that? Who do you think? Voldemort. The hooded figure was Voldemort. Harry was that close to fucking... I was gonna say fucking Voldemort. That is not it. Harry was that close to Lord Voldemort. Harry's like, why would you do that? Why would you drink blood and live a cursed life? Who would want that? And Friends is like, maybe they were drinking it, buying them some time until they could drink something else. And Harry's like, what you mean? Do you know what's being hidden at the school right now? Philosopher's Stone. Immortality. Ferenz asked if he could think of anyone that would be lying in wait for the perfect time to return to power, and Harry's like, in Voldemort. So Hagrid and the rest of the group finds them. Ferenz is like, alright, this is where I leave you at. You can find your way out of the forest, but be careful, bitch. He tells them that the planets have been wrong before, and he hopes that they're wrong again this time. This is such a... oh my god. He tells Ron about what happened. They're talking about how Snape is wanting the stone for Voldemort. Evil! Snape confirmed evil. He said Bane was upset with Ferenz for interfering with what the planets have shown, and that maybe he thinks Voldemort should have killed him in the forest. I'd say about, like, at this point in the book, almost to the end of last book, all Harry had to do was wait for Snape to get to the stone and get it to Voldemort, and then he would be dead. And Hermione had to remind him that Voldemort has always been afraid of Dumbledore. So as long as Dumbledore's around, Voldemort's not going to come near you. Slay. And also, I don't really believe in reading the stars. McGonagall even says it's an imprecise branch of magic. So let's just base ourselves in logic here. They all go up to bed, and Harry opens up his curtain. He sees on the bed the invisibility cloak folded up with a note that says, just in case. Who's just in case? I've got 2 more chapters. Stick with me. Chapter 16, Through the Trapdoor. They were able to make it through their exam week relatively fine. They had to take their exams with special quills with an anti-cheating spell on them. Let me read you some of the exams we had to take. For practical exams, other than written ones, Flitwick had each student see if they could make a pineapple tap dance across the table. I love that, man. McGonagall's test to see if they could turn a mouse into a snuff box. Extra credit, depending on how beautiful they made it. And they lost points if it had whiskers. Snape, his exam, they had to recite how to make a forgetfulness potion. That's so funny and ironic. Now, see, that's the part I would fail at. I can't recite. Clearly, I have written extensive notes. Their last exam was an hour-long test answering questions in history of magic with Professor Binns. So they finished him up, thank God. Also, Harry's scar had been hurting him even more since being out in the Forbidden Forest. In his nightmares, picturing Voldemort there as the hooded figure. We need to do some, like, hypnotherapy or something. Tells Ron and Hermione that his scar's been hurting. I think it's a sign, and I think it means danger is coming. They didn't seem to take it as seriously as he did, and they're just like, okay. He sees an owl, they're down by the lake. Owl flying over top of the castle. It's taking a message to Dumbledore. Seeing the owl because he's thinking about how Hagrid is the only one that writes him letters, and he's like, Hagrid is my friend. Knowing what could happen if Snape got the stone and gave it to Voldemort. He wouldn't do that, and he would never betray Dumbledore. What is up with... And doesn't this all seem fishy? I'm connecting the dots. Doesn't this seem suspicious? What Hagrid wants most of all is a dragon. Somebody just happens to have a dragon egg, happy to get rid of it. They go down to Hagrid's hut to ask him questions. Harry says, do you remember the guy that sold you the dragon egg? What did he look like? Hagrid says, well, I don't know. He wore a hood. Ah, what do you mean? Why do they make these hoods so big? Yeah. The worst thing about prison was the Dementors. Prison Mike. Well, a lot of people, if they're dealing with the trade, you know, magical creatures, a lot of people wear hoods are kind of sketchy. He kept talking about magical creatures and the man kept buying Hagrid drinks. He asked me about magical creatures and if I was okay with taking care of something like a dragon. And he said, well, duh, I got Fluffy. If you can take care of Fluffy, you can take care of anybody. Yeah, you just play him a bit of music and he falls right to sleep. I shouldn't have said that.
I shouldn't have told you that.
3 of them run inside and they're gonna go tell Dumbledore. They're like, okay, enough. They run into Professor McGonagall, okay? And she's like, what are y'all doing in here on a nice day? Go outside. And they said, look, cat's out of the bag. We know about the stone. We gotta talk to Dumbledore. Where is he? And she says, who told you about that? That is none of your concern. Doesn't matter anyway, he's not even here. That owl had brought him a letter from the ministry asking him to come there for something urgent. She leaves. When they're out of earshot, they say, I'm going to get that stone. I am going to stop Snape. I'm going to stop that man. Now that Dumbledore's out of the castle, so they figure Snape must have written a letter saying it was from the ministry, calling Dumbledore out of the castle. So now it's time to act. I'm going tonight. I don't know what y'all are doing, but I'm going. Just then, Snape is right behind the group. Oh my God, get away from me. Get away. He didn't hear anything. Why are you guys inside on a day like this? Go outside or you're losing points. What if I have a skin condition? I can't go outside and be in the sun. He tells Harry, you better be glad it's not me that you run into at night. Pause. Otherwise you'd be expelled if I was the one to catch you out at night. They don't go outside. They're actually devising a plan that Hermione was gonna go keep an eye on Snape and he's in the faculty staff room. If she gets caught, like he comes out and he's like, what are you doing here? She was gonna ask Flitwick a question on the exam or something like that. Ron and Harry were gonna go try and sneak into the 3rd floor. Well, the plan didn't work. It kind of fell apart very quickly because McGonagall again catches Harry and Ron outside of the 3rd floor and she says, you know what? Hell, I'm gonna take more points away from you. Go away. Hermione comes up to the common room and she's like, yeah, that didn't work. Snape came out and I asked for Flitwick. He went back in and I took off running. Ron and Hermione are like, I think we should just pack it up. Just like that. And Harry says, I don't care. I'm gonna try everything I can to get this stone. Because if not, Voldemort will come back. He'll take over the school. He'll turn it into a dark arts school. They all decided they're gonna go out under the invisibility cloak. They wait for everybody to clear out of the common room. We're about to put it on because Neville, where do you, I imagine him in like Dr. Evil. Where do you think you're going? He's like, guys, stop. You're gonna lose more points for Gryffindor. And you're sneaking out at night. What is wrong with you people? Whoa. I thought this was a classy party. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, Harry grabbed the invisibility cloak and his flute that Hagrid made him, because they were going to use the flute to play for Fluffy. Neville piped up and told him they don't need to go out and get Gryffindor into more trouble. He was nervous and shaky, but ready to defend his house against his friends. That's the bravery. That's the courage. I've been trying to reason with Neville. He's not budging. He's like, in the movie, he just literally goes, I'll fight you. Sure, Neville. Scrappy-Doo. Ron and Harry look at Hermione and they're like, can you do something, please? Would y'all get distracted if I look? Oh, look, I just gotta tell you about this spell. I forgot to mention it in my video. What in the He-Man is this? Look, I just gotta tell you about this spell, okay? I was trying to find a filter because I'm ugly right now. Petrificus Totalis spell that Hermione uses on Neville. It's the full body bind spell. Temporarily paralyzes the victim. It causes the victim's body to stiffen and locks them into a rigid soldier-like position, retaining only the ability to breathe off and move their eyes. Temporary paralysis for Neville, okay? That's all I had to say. Okay, bye. So stiff as a board. They say, sorry, tell you later. Get out to the hallway. Peeves is hanging around the third floor. Well, Harry pretends to be the Bloody Baron. This is how I picture. Ah!
Peeves, do not hang around the 3rd door. Why do I keep saying that? The 3rd floor. I'm going to be patrolling over here and I don't want to see you.
Peeves is like, ah! So they go into the room with Fluffy. Snape has already been by. He set up a harp that's playing. They're still under the cloak, so Fluffy hasn't noticed them. Harry starts to play the flute. They come out from under the cloak because the dog has started to drift off. Ron and Hermione pick up the paw, lift up the trapdoor, and they look down and they can't see the bottom. And so Harry passes the flute off to Hermione. He says, I'll jump down there if I die. Go get help. He jumps down there. It's fine. You know, relatively. It's not that far of a jump. They realize they're standing on Devil's Snare. It's a bunch of vines start to actually ravel and tangle and snare you in its trap. Hermione's she gets off immediately. Well, Hermione remembers in herbology, Professor Sprout saying that Devil's Snare like cold, damp places and they hate sunlight and warmth. So she creates one of her blue flames, sends it over to them, backs up, and they're able to leave. It's a little bit more dramatic in the movie and probably just for build tension, but in the book it's very much like ding. They kept moving further and further, most likely miles down into the school. Through one door, and they look around, and at first they think it's birds flying around. On the other side of this room, there's another door that's locked, and they look back up, and they're flying keys. There's thousands of them. One of the keys obviously unlocks the door. There's broomsticks on the other side. All get on the broomstick, flying around trying to find one key. Harry says it's probably the one that's got a busted wing. It looks like it's been used. Obviously Harry catches it because he's the seeker. Open the door, and they're able to get into the next room. This is where we get the chess scene. I don't know if you could figure out the first protection, Fluffy, that's Hagrid's. The second one was Professor Sprout's Devil's Snare. The flying keys was Flitwick's. And now this one, the chessboard, the wizard's chest, they come to life. This is McGonagall's protection. She used her transfiguration for these. To get to the other side of the room, they have to play their way across the room. Ron, he takes liberty and he's like, all right, stand back, ladies. Black pieces on their side, white on the opposite. Harry took the bishop spot, Hermione took the castle, and Ron was a knight. As for me, I'll be a knight.
I'll be a knight.
Since he was the best chess player out of all of them, I have no clue how to play chess. I would be dead in this one. Well, excuse me, obviously, violent. They shatter, they beat each other up. So every move that is made, pieces are just blown to bits. Eventually, they get to a point where Ron is like, I gotta make a sacrifice here. He elects himself, well, we know the scene. Not me, not Hermione, you.
Do you want to stop Snape from getting
the
that
stone
stone
or
or
not?
not?
You two, the best chances we got going forward. I will sacrifice myself. Ron moves his piece over to the queen or some shit. She hit him across the head with her marble arm. Excuse me, ma'am. That is not very regal of you. This opens it up for Harry to go up and check the king. Win the game. Yes! Hermione and Harry move on to the next room. Quirrell's room. It contains a troll in there. And we can see that Snape has already taken care of that one. He's knocked that troll out. Okay, we'll keep going. The last room, which is Snape's. Behind them, a wall of purple flame. In front of them, a wall of black flames. It's a table full of potion bottles, and it has a riddle on there. Read you the riddle, see if you can figure it out. This is very Ravenclaw-esque. Danger lies before you, while safety lies behind. 2 of us will help you, whichever you would find. 1 among us, 7, will let you move ahead. Another will transport the drinker back instead. 2 among our number hold only nettle wine. 3 of us are killers, waiting hidden in line. Choose, unless you wish to stay here forevermore. To help in your choice, we give you these clues for. Is that proper English, Snape? First, however slyly the potion tries to hide, you will always find some on nettle wine's left side. Second, different are those who stand at either end, but if you would move onward, neither is your friend. Third, as you see clearly, all are different size. Neither dwarf nor giant holds death in their insides. Fourth, the second from the left and the second on the right are twins once you taste them, though different at first sight. Do you get it? Because I don't. Do you know, maybe I wouldn't be a Ravenclaw, because you know why? When you go into Ravenclaw's common room, you know how Gryffindors have to say a password to the fat lady to get in? Well, Ravenclaws have to answer a riddle to get into their into their common room. I can get a fair bit of riddles. If I didn't know what was to happen from this, I'd be like, I'm gonna be here for 4 hours trying to figure this out. Well, Hermione, she's like, oh, easy. This is just logic. We have 7 bottles. 2 are wine, 3 are poison. 1 will let them move forward, and 1 will let them go backwards. So Harry says, do you know which one will let me go forward? Tiny little bottle with just a sip, enough for 1 person. Which one will let you go backwards? You drink that, and you go back, get Ron, and go get help. They argue, and then she's like, well, okay. Well, if you insist. Well, she drinks her potion, she's able to run through. He's probably like, I'm gonna watch you and make sure this really works. They both end up going through the flames. You're getting ready to get in the last chapter, baby. Harry moves into the next room, and he's expecting, obviously, to see Snape, right? Right? No. No, 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 no. Don't do that. Chapter 17, the last chapter. This is a man with 2 faces. Yes! Who's standing right there? Professor Quirrell. And he's not jittery, he's not stuttering, doesn't look nervous, he actually looks very cool, calm, and collected. And he's kind of smirking at Harry like, yeah, I bet you would think it would be Snape here, huh? Who would suspect me? Poor little quivering, scared Quirrell. Had him all fooled. Harry is just dumbfounded. What do you mean? What is this? Professor Snape tried to kill me at the Quidditch match, just hexing my broom. And Quirrell says, no, it was me. I was trying to kill you. I can't, it's not funny. And I would have if it weren't for you meddling kids and that dog. I would have succeeded too. too if Hermione didn't push me down trying to start a fire on Snape's robe, broke my concentration. Snape was able to keep muttering his stupid counter curse. What?
What?
Snape was trying to save me? Look, I don't care. I don't f***ing care. Was trying to save Harry the whole time. Very suspicious of Quirrell. At that point when the broom was getting jinxed, Snape was like, who's doing that? Well, when the troll came in on Halloween, he suspected Quirrell. I'm onto you, He said that he wanted to referee the next match and keep a close eye in case something went wrong, but Quirrell wasn't even able to try anything because Dumbledore was there. Pretty impossible for me to try anything. All this is just wasted time anyway because I'm gonna kill you. I'm still gonna kill you tonight. This is where we differ from the movie. Show, listen up, I'm expecting to see this. He snaps his fingers and ropes come out of thin air and they bound Harry up completely still. Quirrell says, I can't have you hanging around because you're way too nosy. You have got to be exterminated. He almost blew the lid off of everything the night of the troll. Everyone else ran looking for the troll. Snape ran to cut him off on the 3rd floor, and he said the troll failed to beat Harry to death, and Fluffy didn't even rip Snape's leg off. This all was kind of going to shit. Now hang on a second while I try and figure this mirror out. The mirror of Erised standing behind him. You remember when Dumbledore said it's being moved to another location? This was Dumbledore's protection. Quirrell is walking around it. This is the way to find the stone. I know it's here. And he'll be far away by the time Dumbledore gets back. So Quirrell was the one who sent him the letter. Oh, and Harry's just trying to keep him talking. So he says, well, I saw you out in the forest with Snape. Snape was onto Quirrell at that point and was wanting to know how far he had made it down to get to the stone to make sure it's protected. He tried to intimidate Quirrell, but Quirrell felt no fear knowing his master, Lord Voldemort, was by his side. You said what? When he stands in front of the mirror, you see what your heart desires. I see myself giving him the elixir of life, but I don't know how to get to the stone. Harry, still trying to get him to talk, he says, Snape hates me. He's always hated me since I got here. And Quirrell says, well, I don't know anything about that, but him and your father, they went to school together, and they did not get along. Hated each other. Snape has never wanted Harry dead. Harry's dad and Snape... I heard you crying the other day in the hallway. This is the first time where it kind of rattles Quirrell. He's not all cocky. It sounded kind of like you were arguing with somebody, and I thought it was Snape, and he's like, no. Sometimes my master gives me orders that I don't always agree with, but he knows better. Quirrell admits that he's weak. What a pawn. He tells him that he's always with him. Voldemort's always with him. He met Voldemort when he was traveling, and he had no idea about good and evil until Lord Voldemort showed him that there's no good and evil, there's only power, and those too weak to seek it. Remember when Hagrid told Harry that Quirrell was on a year-long sabbatical or something? Lithuania. Where did he go? Not Romania. Albania. And he met up with the vampires and a hag. This is where he met Voldemort. I've been a follower to ever see him. Okay, I love this man. But sometimes he does let him down. When he couldn't steal the stone from Gringotts, yes, he was the one that broke it, tried to break it. Well, he did break it. Harry and Hagrid had already taken it, and it wasn't there. And he failed. Once I failed at that, Voldemort said that he needed to be as close as possible and keep an eye on me at all times. He's still inspecting the mirror, and Harry knows I need to get in front of the mirror and see myself finding the stone, and I can protect it and keep it away from Quirrell. Okay, that's important to know. Harry only wants to find it so he can keep it protected. He's still tied up in the rope. Trying to wiggle his way out of it, he falls over. Well, there's a voice behind Quirrell, and it says, use the boy. He undoes Harry's ropes. Harry stands in front of the mirror. What do you see? There was a nasty ass smell too. Let me just say, and stinky, it's getting ripe down here. But Harry is looking in the mirror. His reflection reaches into his pocket, pulls out the stone, shows it, and then he puts it into the pocket. If real Harry, he can feel the weight of the stone fall into his pocket. Shut your damn mouth. Harry got the stone. Quirrell doesn't know this. And he says, I'm shaking hands with Dumbledore. I just won the house cup. The voice behind Quirrell says, he's lying. He is a liar. You lie like a rug. The smell is getting thick. It's coming from Quirrell's turban. So the voice says, let me see him. Show him to me. Do you care what the stone looks like? It's like a scarlet, blood red stone. Forgot to mention that. And Quirrell says, you're not strong enough. The voice says, I am for this. Let me see him. Quirrell undoes his turban, smelly ass turban, buried back of his head. Lord Voldemort. Just his head. He's not strong enough to have a full body yet. Withering away out there in Albania. Infused himself onto the back of Quirrell's head. If you remember me telling you about Christmas time, the Weasley twins enchanted some snowballs to follow Quirrell around and throw it into the back of his head. They were throwing it at Voldemort's face. But the smell of garlic and the stinkiness of it all. Thing is on the back of your head, pale with red eyes and slits for nostrils like a snake. Do you see what I've become? I'm Vapor and Shadow. That'd be a cool duo name. I'm Vapor, I'm Shadow. Only have a form if he shares another's body, and Quirrell's been drinking the unicorn blood to keep him alive, but once he has the elixir of life, he'll be able to have his own body. Voldemort told him to save his life and join him by giving him the stone, or he could end up like his parents, dead. He always valued bravery, and your parents sure had it. He's trying to butter this boy up. Tells him about that night. Now get this. His father was the first one to die. He put up a fight. He tried very hard to protect him, but his mother was not meant to die. It was supposed to be Harry. Harry was supposed to be the main target here. Voldemort goes to kill Harry, while Lily jumps in, uses herself as a shield, and she dies. Harry yelled at him that he would never give him the stone. He'd never join him. I ain't about that life, sir. You can go yourself. Tries to run for the door. Hold the door! But those flames are still there. You know, that potion has worn off. There's no getting out of here. Voldemort tells Quirrell, go and stop him, you idiot. Quirrell grabs onto Harry's wrist, skin to skin. He can't hold on to him. He's like, ow! His skin starts bubbling up and blistering and melting. He can't touch this boy. Harry's scar is on fire because Voldemort's right next to him. It's hurting so bad he can hardly open his eyes. Quirrell keeps trying to pin him down, but every time that he touches his arm, his hands start sizzling. Voldemort just keeps telling him, like, just kill him. Just go ahead and kill him. Well, Harry catches on, reaches up and like grabs onto his face, tries his best to keep going back and forth. Harry's scar, it's so much pressure in his head. He ends up passing out. He hears a bunch of voices at one time, Quirrell and Voldemort yelling, but Harry like falls backwards and passes out. When he wakes up, he's in the hospital wing. Guess who's over top of him? Dumbledore. Ah! Oh my god. Quirrell is Voldemort. Voldemort is on Quirrell. Do you know what I'm saying? Try to explain that Quirrell was trying to steal the stone, but Dumbledore told him to calm down. Well, we know. You've been in here for 3 days. Everything, it's over with. Quirrell's obviously gone. It looks like you've got a lot of admirers that sent you all this candy. Whatever happened between you and Quirrell is between you and him. So naturally, everybody else knows what's happened. Well, they think they know what's happened. Dumbledore did get to London. Then when he was there, he realized, I don't need to be here. I think I need to be back at Hogwarts. He comes back and he came back just in time to get Quirrell off of Harry. He admitted he thought for a moment Harry was going to die. Well, get this. The stone has been destroyed. And Harry says, well, what about your friend, Nicholas? Is he gonna die? And Dumbledore says, yeah, him and his wife got enough elixir set aside to set their affairs in order. We both talked about it, decided that this is the best thing for humanity. Humans tend to choose some stupid decisions. He phrased it a little bit better than I did. The stone was not such a wonderful thing. To be rich and have gold and live forever, humans have a way of choosing the things that are worse for them. Harry's disturbed in a way, well, your friend's gonna die. Dumbledore says, for somebody as young as you, death seems scary, sad, just doom and gloom. For somebody who's been around as long as Nicholas and his wife, it'll be like going to sleep after a really long day. Oh my god, how sweet. That's a good way of thinking about it. They're 650 some years old. I think they're good. To those with a well-organized mind, death is the next great adventure. Pretty much any major dialogue with Dumbledore, he's gonna spit some bars. Harry begins to ask about Voldemort. He stops himself before he says his name. You know who. And Dumbledore says, use his name. Fear of the name increases fear of the thing itself. Again! Okay, we're at 2! Even with the stone gone, is there a way for Voldemort to come back? He says, there are ways, and he's probably out there right now trying to find another body to latch onto. See how well he treated one of his followers when he hit the deck. Voldemort was out of there. He left his follower to die. Once he detached from Quirrell, can you imagine you've been living on unicorn blood for a year? Your main source that needs the blood, Voldemort was like a leech, taking all of his energy, his thoughts, and it's probably best that Quirrell just pieced out of here. Harry said that he still had questions to ask him, would like the truth about things, and Dumbledore told him that the truth is a beautiful and terrible thing that should be treated with caution. He would answer his questions unless he has a very good reason not to, but he won't lie. Harry comes out of the gate, biggest question of all. Why was Voldemort trying to kill me that night? You're not going to like this answer, but I can't tell you right now until you're ready to hear it, until you can fully understand it, and that's where I'll leave it at. And Harry, he accepts it. That part ties into Neville. That's the part I want to talk about so bad. I could talk about that for 20 minutes. That's for like book 5, maybe 6. No, maybe, I don't know, but whatever. He asked why Quirrell couldn't touch him. Oh, this is interesting. And also, in the book, Quirrell and Harry actually shake hands when they first meet, so they're touching skin to skin. Voldemort had not latched on to Quirrell at that point. In the movie, Harry goes to reach out and shake Quirrell's hand, and Quirrell's sitting there like, and he's also wearing his turban already. That didn't happen. He couldn't touch Harry because Voldemort was attached to him. Harry's mother had sacrificed herself for his life. The one thing Voldemort can't understand is love. He couldn't see a love as powerful as a mother's, whose love still lingers after they're gone from this world. It leaves a mark that lies within the skin. One of my favorites is The Half-Blood Prince, which is the sixth book. When we learn more about Voldemort's upbringing and where he came from, built on a throne of lies. Quirrell had so much hate and greed sharing a soul with Voldemort, it was agony being touched by something so good. Dumbledore in the movie sums it up really well. Your mother sacrificed her life for you, and that leaves a mark on you. Harry goes to grab his scar, and he's like, no, you can't see it. It's in your skin. It's love. You can't handle love. Well, Dumbledore also lets Harry know that he was the one that sent him his father's cloak. His father actually only really used it to go sneak down to the kitchen and grab some food at night. He sent it to Harry. Might do you some good. Use it well, just in case if you need it. Harry also asks about Snape, and he says, why did my father and Snape hate each other? Is that true? And Dumbledore says, Snape would never try and kill Harry. Snape hates Harry's father, had done something to Snape that he couldn't forgive. He had saved his life. Now we'll talk about that in the third book. Infuriated Snape because he was like, now I feel like I owe you. Dumbledore says, now that all of this is behind us and that he did his part in protecting you, I imagine he's gonna go and peacefully hate your father's memory for the rest of time and hate your father in peace. This one is very interesting to me. His last question, well, how was I able to get the stone? And Dumbledore's like, I'm so glad you asked. Let me tell you this. This is my trick. I made it so that anybody that wanted the stone but wanted to use it could not find it. Person who was looking for the stone to use it would never find it. They would only see themselves making gold or drinking the elixir but not having the stone. Only someone who wanted to find it but not use it could get it. Does that make sense? Not to brag. Sometimes I'm so good. They end it there, and Ron and Hermione come in for a few minutes because they've heard bits and pieces. I don't know who the hell was talking. Like, how does everybody else know what was going on? Ron and Hermione might have told up to their point. I don't know who else filled them in on what was going on. Harry's like, well, let me tell you, it was worse. They tell him that, the feast is tomorrow, and Slytherin has won the House Cup. Slytherin won their Quidditch match. We lost ours because you were kind of, not there. They asked if Dumbledore meant for Harry to find Voldemort by giving him the cloak, and Harry says, I think so. He gave me the cloak so I would have the choice if I wanted to face Dumbledore. No, what? Face Voldemort myself. I would have the option to. I think he might want us to learn these lessons on our own, like trial by fire. And he does. Dumbledore's like, you're not gonna learn just by sitting here reading about it. He must have known Harry would try it anyway, and it wasn't an accident that Harry found the mirror. The next day, Hagrid comes in to visit, and he's in there boo-hooing. It's all my fault. I told this guy about how to get past Fluffy, and I put you in danger. Oh my god. And Harry's like, you're good? You didn't know that Voldemort was literally attached to his head. Would have figured it out anyways. Oh my god, I'm on my last page! Hagrid says, alright, well, I'm giving you a parting gift. Written letters to all of his family's friends, Harry's family friends, asking if they had any pictures of the Potters, and he made a photo. Oh my god, he made a photo book for him. He has like moving wizard pictures. He can look at his parents. Oh. Alright, we're going to the final feast. Everybody knows that Slytherin is won. All the decorations are silver and green. Man, whatever. Dumbledore starts making his final speech. He also reads off all of points. Let me tell you where we stand. Gryffindor, dead last, 312 points. Hufflepuff has 352. Ravenclaw's 426. And Slytherin is 472 points. So all of Slytherin, obviously, hooting and hollering, cheering. Well, Dumbledore's like, yeah, that's so nice. Isn't that so great? Hold up a minute. I'm not done. I've got last minute points to award. When I watch the movie, it's not to be dramatic or whatever, but sometimes I do get a little bit, aww, especially with the last person. Whatever, let me tell you. For the best game of Wizard's chess ever played here in Hogwarts, 50 points to Mr. Ronald Weasley. Wow. Ron is like, me? For her cool use of knowledge in the face of fire, Hermione Granger, 50 points. For pure nerve and outstanding courage, 60 points goes to Harry Potter. Everybody in the whole Great Hall, except for Slytherin, is jumping up and down because this now means calculated. I'll give you a second. Slytherin and Gryffindor are now tied. And this is the part that makes me want to... I do get a little like, yes! I love this line from Dumbledore. There are all kinds of courage, and it takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to your enemies, but even more to stand up to your friends. So because of that, Neville Longbottom gets 10 points for Gryffindor. He has never won any points for this stupid house the whole year. This is the first time he's won any points. And everybody dog piles on top of Neville. Oh my god, make him houseboy, I'm not kidding. And Dumbledore's like, I think we need to change the decoration in here. Ranges from green to red, scarlet flags. Gryffindor has won the House Cup. Snape, like, reluctantly is shaking McGonagall's hand like, good job, bitch. He seemed to go right back to where it all started with him and Harry hating the very sight of him. Well, their exam results came back. We don't hear about anybody that's failed. Everybody passed. Hermione had the best scores. Even Neville passed. In the book, it says that he had a great score in herbology, which kind of masked the terrible score he got in potions. They have their bags packed, ready to go. They have a letter with them saying that they're not allowed to use magic outside of school. If they do, expulsion, I'm sure. If you do, you blow up. They ride the train back to King's Cross. They make it through the barrier. Molly and Ginny are there waiting for all the Weasley boys. Well, Harry goes up to Mrs. Weasley and he's like, thank you so much for my Christmas present. I loved it. They go over to meet the Dursleys and they're like, oh, it's nice to meet you. You must be Harry's family. And they're like, let's go. And so everybody else around them, they're like, oh, Harry, I'm so sorry. I don't care. I just had the best year of my life and I cannot wait to come back. So Ron tells him like, well, you're welcome to come out to my house anytime you want. Hermione says, yeah, just remember to write to me all the time. I'm gonna have a great time at home. I'm gonna have a grit Tim. My family doesn't know anything about not using magic at home, so I'm about to fuck Dudley. I am going to torture this boy. That is the end of book 1. The Sorcerer's Stone, Philosopher's Stone. I'm not gonna touch it. I knew it. You stay. Stay. That is the end of book 1. The Sorcerer's Stone, the Philosopher's Stone, whatever the you want to call it. Do you know what pisses me off is that I bought these as a box set. Why is the first one like that? I like this print, but none of my other ones are like that. Anyway, what are you gonna do? Where do I rank this? I don't know. I'll probably put it either 2 or 3 out of 7. Right now, number 2. Subject to change. I do love it. Just a classic. It's a good, quick read. I'm gonna use my love potion to be a bookend. Great read for kids. That's what's so funny about all this too, is that this series, it's a kids series, children's book series. That's what it all started as. It does a good job of aging with the characters. Like, it matures each year. By the time we get to the last book, you can tell that we're grown young adults. I think I've got like a packet of about 30 or 40 pages here. Thank you. My work here is done. Thanks for watching, Sweaties. I know this one took me forever to get through. We did it. We did it, Joe. Movie-wise, I think I'll put this one number 3. It's really only for nostalgia reasons, but if you look at some of the CGI in this movie, awful. It's not good. Take it with a grain of salt. It was like 2001 or something. This isn't a review channel for the movie. I hope you enjoyed this. Check out my video of me getting this whole thing set up if you want. You don't have to, but it'll be there if you want to. Did I cover everything that I wanted to cover? If I didn't, we've got 6 more videos to make. We'll have to see when we get there. I don't know. But I think I might have to make like part 1, part 2. Like when I get to Order of the Phoenix, the 5th book, that's the biggest one. Unless y'all want like a 7-hour video, I will not promise you at all. I think I might have to split them up into into separate videos, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I'm making this up on the spot. I hope you enjoy. I love this series with all my little heart. Yeah, I think that's all. That's it. All right, I've had enough now. I'm gonna go. Whatever. I gotta turn my air on. It's so hot in here. Oh, spooky. Oh, this is scary. Oh my God. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Okay, I'm done.